When Kang Hyun-moo entered the dungeon, he received a notification that he had died. His life in the dungeon lasted 34 seconds. He knew he would die in a place like this, but after each death, he came back to life in the same place. The next time, he lasted 7 seconds and 12 minutes. Even if he dies, he comes back to life again and again in the same hell. He doesn't know how much longer he has to endure this. And he doesn't know what awaits him at the end. But he still kept fighting because there was only a little left. The shelter was very close, and all he had to do was get there, but he died again. This time he managed to hold on for almost 8 hours. This painful death repeats itself endlessly. He died in various horrific ways, and it's just awful. Who would agree to go through this hell, except for someone as crazy as him? Kang Hyun-moo died again for the umpteenth time because he couldn't defeat his goblin opponent. One day, dungeons began to open all over the world. At that time, the Awakened Ones appeared, and the world entered a new era. However, an incompetent person with a bright future has no opportunity to develop their skills. Such was the fate of Kang Hyun-moo. He earned his living by collecting magical power waste, and today was another wasted day for him. Such was his life in the sewers. But then he saw a magical stone and wanted to get it, but fell because he was caught by a wave. A girl approached him and asked if he was okay, and he replied that it didn't matter. She asked if he was trying too hard. Kang Hyun-moo has a miserable life and considers himself to be like trash, unable to change anything. His co-workers asked him what he was doing there and why he went there. He replied that it was nothing. He didn't want to tell anyone about his discovery, so after work he went home and watched the news. They reported that today the Tisan clan, led by Lee Jae-hye, successfully completed a raid in the 5-star dungeon of Tebek. This was the 3rd raid on the 5-star dungeon. The manager who led Lee Jae said that the success of the raid was the result of the hard work of all the clan members. Kang Hyun-moo remembered his conversation with lawyer Robert Lee. First, he wanted to express his condolences and came to give him his father's belongings. Holding this item in his hand, Kang Hyun-moo looked through the news and thought that he would also like to rise up. Lee Jae said that this strategy had been particularly helpful to them. He was glad that it had shown Korea's full potential. Kang Hyun-moo also wanted to rise higher and was curious to see how far he could go with his own hands, so he wanted to test it. He squeezed the object in his hand and then found himself in some strange place. It was like a completely different world. On the notification screen, he saw a welcome message to a dungeon with a difficulty level of hell. He didn't understand what was going on or how he got there. He entered the apocalypse zone where enemies were waiting for him. He kept dying, but then decided he'd had enough. After spending a little more than 5 days in the dungeon, he died again. But the next time, he decided that he would not give up so easily. So he fought desperately against his opponents, knowing that if he died, he would end up here again, and it would repeat itself over and over. But in other words, didn't that mean he wouldn't die for good? After that, he finally destroyed the goblin. Kang Hyun-moo died again, and this time he lasted a full 12 days, 6 hours, 58 minutes, and 4 seconds. Over time, he grew stronger and was able to defeat many monsters in his path. He thought about hell and the apocalyptic star. A large number of undead surrounded him on all sides, and he almost lost to them, but then he managed to escape. Kang Hyun-moo believes that whether it was hell or the star of the apocalypse, it doesn't matter. After defeating the undead, the system announced that the quest was complete. This time, his lifespan is 36 days and 3 seconds. He received a notification that the broken star Gallia is watching him. He is also being watched by the hungry star Yogalem and the whispering star Monstrel. He was surprised that even stars that never stop whispering were watching him, but he decided that he must deal with them all no matter what. The day he found the magic stone was the same day he entered the dungeon. If he was really that great, today he would be able to claim his destiny. University assistant Yuman asked him if he wasn't trying too hard. They asked him what he needed there because it was just normal water. Not pollution, but water mixed with mana and crystal moss. Usually, ordinary people like them would be doomed if they made a mistake. That's why they asked him not to overexert himself. Crystal moss collector Kang Hyun-moo said that was probably the right thing to do. After work, he sold the magic stone and was upset that he only got 30,000 won for it. He doesn't know what to do with it. He believes that there is no justice in this world. 30 years ago, with the appearance of the dungeons, the Awakened Ones appeared and the world entered a new era. But it didn't do him any good. An incompetent person with no future has no opportunity to develop his skills. There is not even the slightest chance. Lawyer Robert Lee approached him and said he was looking for him to give him his father's belongings. He asked him not to worry. Han Hyun-moo apologized and said that he had no parents, and thought that life at the bottom was all there was for him. The only thing he received from lawyer Robert Lee was a pendant. After that, he went to the specialized industrial area of Manhwa. He told Yumi about the pendant and said that it didn't seem to have any value. She said that it was a fire starter. This information surprised him. Yuman said that it was an item that hunters used when leaving dungeons. As far as she knew, it could only be used in dungeons. Kang Hyun-moo was surprised that this thing was for him, but he had no intention of going to a dungeon. She said that wasn't what she meant, and he asked what she meant then. Yuman asked if he had heard of director Lee Jae. It's been a pretty popular topic lately. He replied that he wasn't interested and that his bus had arrived, so he went home. When he got home, he saw in the news that a raid on the 5-star dungeon Tebek, led by Lee Jae, had been successfully completed. This was the 3rd time in the world that a 5-star dungeon had been cleared. The success of the raid was the result of the hard work of all the clan members. Lee Jae said that this hunt in particular showed the full potential of Korea and that he was satisfied with it. He is the most powerful person in the third generation of the corporation, and Lee Jitae also has a wonderful appearance. He is a man who has been using his abilities since birth, while on the other hand, all that Kana Hyunmo has is this useless pendant. It's not that he's being capricious like a child, but he just wants to say that he could do anything if he had even the slightest chance. After that, something started happening with the pendant, and he took it to the basement. The system notified him that a maximum increase had occurred. His body received mana and it spread inside him. Kang Hyun-moo was surprised that he had mana. After that, he faced various difficulties in order to achieve the impossible and earned the title of the strongest in Hell. He also obtained the first rank in Hell. His effect increases with the change in difficulty level, and he earned the title of SSS Class Luck. He was surprised that he was the last survivor and did not understand what was happening, so he started shouting to see if there was anyone else there. He looked around for someone but found only crystal moss, the same kind he couldn't get before. In his opinion, it would be very valuable. Maybe a few 100,000 won. So he became curious about how much it would actually cost. Maybe even a few million won, or tens of millions. Kang Hyun-moo couldn't believe that this was really happening, and he thought the moss was very beautiful. But after he touched it, he received a notification that he was paralyzed. He couldn't breathe and his stamina was significantly depleted. He also received a notification of an enemy attack, but he didn't understand what it meant because there was no one else around. After that, he received a notification that he had been destroyed by fine dust and died after almost 5 minutes in the dungeon. When he woke up in the same place, he thought it was all a dream and received a new quest, his first night in Hell, where he had to survive until dawn. Seeing this, he began to run away from there, thinking that he did not know who had done this but wanted to take revenge for his miserable life. But he died every time, and in the 8th round, he said he couldn't do it anymore. He didn't know what he had done wrong. The first test is prayer. Having died again, he still passed and found himself in the 11th round, and his resistance to poison increased, as did his resistance to paralysis. The second test is fine dust. It is impossible to breathe it, and if you inhale it, you can die. In this round, he died again. In the 14th round, he realized that in order to live longer, it would be best to continue breathing. So he turned to his mind and asked what it thought about this. After that, his resistance to paralysis and poison increased. He remembered how he had been taught to breathe more deeply, not just with his chest. He could inhale much more than his lungs could hold. Kang Hyun-moo tried it and it worked. The man praised him for doing everything right and said that was how it should be done. Then he said that of all the children he had seen so far, he was the most talented. Therefore, he was eagerly awaiting his results. Kang Hyun-mo passed level after level, but he still died until he began to understand what exactly he needed to do. On the 28th round, he felt his body become very light, which he found strange. Then he asked if he had reached a new level. He received a notification that the poison in his body had reached a critical level, but he had acquired a rare skill called Poisonous Blood. Therefore, he would now be immune to poison. Kang Hyun-moo did not understand what was happening, so he thought about it. He realized that if he inhaled this fine dust, he would feel resistance. The dust would accumulate and cause poisoning. But then he said that this was nonsense. There is so much crystal moss here that he can just kick it up with his feet. If it really was that, then it was great because he could get a lot of money for it. Then he received a notification that he had to collect moss. His inventory activated and the crystal moss he was holding in his hand disappeared, which frightened him. Then he looked at the system. He saw that it was all real and that it really was crystal moss. After that, he heard a noise but didn't understand what it was. Turning around, he saw some insects approaching him. The system notified him that they were 3rd level insects. He said that he already understood and then started to run away. But they caught up with him and he shouted, "What kind of mosquitoes are these?" They surrounded him on all sides, and the system announced that his level characteristics were increasing with the title of the strongest in Hell. After that, he died again, and this time he spent 6 hours, 18 minutes, and 1 second in the dungeon. Then he woke up and saw that he had passed the level. He had poisoned more than 100 monsters at once, and his poisonous abilities had increased. Kang Hyun-moo realized that the mosquitoes had been poisoned when they drank his blood and then died. He then received the status of sick. He doesn't understand what's going on or where he is. He constantly has to die and then come back to life. In his opinion, this is like a blessing, and he is doing great on his own and is happy. Then he noticed another skill. But he doesn't understand when he managed to acquire the dismantling skill again. This is considered noble even for an ordinary skill. At first, he wanted to break a chair with one leg missing, but there were still those huge mosquitoes next to him, so he wanted to test it out. He acquired the skill of disintegration, so he decided to try it out. He managed to dismantle the chair. Kang Hyun-moo said that those who sent him here had completely lost their minds, but if he was able to acquire such a skill as disassembly, then maybe that wasn't all. Maybe he could also get a skill that allowed him to assemble objects in the same way, so he was determined to achieve this. He still got the normal production skill and was very happy that he succeeded. Now he has 2 precious skills, and they are very difficult to obtain. He would have achieved this much later if everything had gone according to the original plan, but now he can do it, and that's great. So now he needs to build a shelter. He doesn't know what else he will encounter in this strange place. Maybe in the future he will encounter some other strange and scary beasts here. So for now, he needs to find a safe place to stay alive as long as possible, and after that, he decided to take a closer look at how large and luxurious the crystal moss was. He was curious to see how much he could get from it and whether he could use this crystal moss. Then he found a newspaper and saw that it said something about a star. The system notified him that he had gained a general understanding of the language. He found it strange that everything depended on skills. Then he read about double stars and twin stars. Next, he saw the names Adam Fort and Lee Jite, 5th rank. He wondered if this was the same Lee Jite who was the head of the Tessin Guild. He found it strange that the newspaper mentioned the place where he came from, so Kang Hyun-mo understood a little. The place where he came from was completely destroyed, but what good would it do him to know that if he couldn't change anything? But now he had to do everything in his power. After that, Kang Hyun-moo used his decay skill. He took apart the mosquitoes that were near him and realized that it was difficult. Even if he simply used disintegration, it was very difficult, but he got a lot of useful items. The needles of the hellish mosquitoes, their wings, and their blood. He wondered if there was anything he could do with them. Then he tried using his crafting skill and created hellish darts. It was like a consumable item, and even if it was a rare consumable artifact, it was easy to make and sounded pretty good. He used almost all the materials and only had to make the last dart, but by this time he was a little tired. Kang Hyun-moo used crafting again, and the system notified him of a huge success. He created an unidentified legendary egg. The system notified him of the creation of a legendary artifact, and his crafting abilities increased. To find out what was in the egg, he had to observe it. He had a 50-50 chance. It could be hatched with the right conditions or rewards. Kang Hyun-mo hid the egg in his pocket and decided to take a break and immerse himself in his thoughts. But then he saw a goblin approaching him. He didn't understand why the goblin was there. Kang Hyun-mo peeked out and realized that the goblin had noticed him, and after that the goblin immediately attacked him. So he decided to run away and climb the stairs, thinking that this goblin had completely lost his mind. Then he used his inventory to grab some weapon and defeat the level 20 red cap goblin. Kang Hyun-moo tried to fend off its attacks and realized that this goblin was fast. Then he noticed that it was trying to say something to him, but he couldn't understand him. Then Kang Hyun-mo took a dart from his inventory and told the goblin to try it, then threw it at him. The goblin noticed that one of the darts had hit his hand and blisters appeared on it, so he just cut it off. Kang Hyun-moo thought that if there was blood on the dart, then what happened was poisoning. After that, he noticed that the goblin had disappeared, and then he saw him attacking him from above and realized that he was probably going to die. The goblin struck him and said that there were still people left, then left. The system announced that Kang Han-moo was starting to play with the privileges of the last survivor. Kang Hyun-mo said he would repay him for all his suffering. After that, he received a notification that he had completed the quest. He completed the quest first night in hell and was glad he did it. Then he received a silver chest as a reward. The reward increases depending on the difficulty level. But then the silver chest was replaced with a gold one. There were 14 days left before the start of the next quest. Kang Hyun-mo took his pendant, thinking that now he would be able to return. He opened his eyes because he noticed the rain and then realized that he had returned and was very happy about it. Kang Hyun-mo took the pendant off his neck and was angry that his father had left it to him. At first, he wanted to destroy it, but remembering everything that had happened, he couldn't. Yumin noticed him and ran up to him, asking how he could have ended up there. Then she said that if he wasn't protected, he could get poisoned by mana. She took off her outer clothing and put it on him. She suggested that they go somewhere else. They went to her house, and Yumin offered him a remedy for mana. If he didn't know about it before, he should definitely use it now. Kang Hyun-moo said that it wasn't necessary and that he was fine. Yumin became angry and asked if he was being too frivolous about it, since he had been dealing with the remains of Crystal Maw. Did he really think he had to die to finally regret it? And wasn't he afraid of that at all? Kang Hyun-mo apologized. He said he would definitely take advantage of it. Then he took a shower and asked what day it was. Yumin replied that it was September 11th. He couldn't believe it, and Yumin asked if something had happened because she hadn't been able to contact him for 2 days and had to work alone. Kang Hyun-moo was surprised that only 2 days had passed. He felt as if he had spent many long years there. Come to think of it, how did he end up in an industrial area? He must have been at home and then ended up here. Yumin looked at his body and he asked her what was wrong. She said he couldn't stay like that, so she would buy him everything he needed. Kang Hyun-mo asked about his clothes and if he could wear them. She said he couldn't wear them. His clothes were very dirty and torn, so he couldn't use them anymore. So she asked him to wait a little and promised she would return quickly. After she left, Kang Hyun-mo opened the notification screen but did not understand what it was. He decided to open the box he received as a reward for the quest. He opened the box and received a notification that the reward would increase under the influence of the SSS level luck title. Kang Hyun-mo received the legendary skill Combat Assistant. Legendary skills are usually rare. They are special because they are rare. There are only 7 people in the world with legendary skills. And he just got it, and probably became the 8th owner of a legendary skill. Combat Assistant is probably a skill that helps him, but there is no further explanation. Yumin returned and brought him clothes, then asked what he was doing because she saw him waving his arms. She said she would pretend she hadn't seen anything. Kang Hyun-mo also asked her to do so. But she noticed that he should go to the hospital even though he looked healthy. That's why she brought him to her home. But if he was a talented person, he didn't need to worry about being infected with mania. Then she asked him if he was talented, and if so, why he was working as a magical waste collector. Kang Hyun-mo said that was true, but in fact he had only recently become a talented person. Then he asked her about what she had said earlier, that she was researching something. Yumin replied that she was and that she was researching crystal moss. He said that was wonderful and asked if he could show her something. She asked what exactly, and he decided to show her his magic moss. He said it was his personal possession, but he was unsure of its value per kilogram. She should know about that. If she was researching crystal moss, she would surely know more than him. Yumin was surprised and said that couldn't be true. She told him not to say that because it was simply impossible. Then she asked him where he got it. Kang Hyun-mo asked if it mattered. Yumin said that of course it was because he knew how difficult it was to find crystal moss of such purity. This sample was not even 4th grade, so it was most likely a 5-star crystal. Kang Hyun-mo said that she had said she was working as a miner for research. She replied that it was true, and Kang Hyun-mo said that he wasn't going to give it to her for now. Instead, he would tell her how to get it. Yumin was disappointed but agreed. He told her to find a way to sell it. Yumin asked what he was talking about. With such purity, he would need more than 1 or 2 certificates. Kang Hyun-mo asked if it was a big problem, and she said that it wasn't small at all. And that was the problem. So after that, he simply divided it into 2 pieces and said that everything was ready. Yumin wanted to stop him. Then she lunged at him. He said it hurt, but he had another one even bigger than this one. So Yumin calmed down. She asked if that was really true. He replied that it was and asked if they could sell it now. Yumin said yes. Kang Hyun-mo said that was great, now they had 2. And above all, she mustn't tell anyone where she got the crystal moss. And especially not to tell anyone who gave it to her. She said that in that case, it would be better to divide it, but that it was a waste of time. Then she said that it was because he didn't know its value. It could only be obtained from the first open dungeon. It was a pure crystal. It is valued as carte blanche, and he must break it with his own hands and sell it. Kang Hyun-mo apologized to her and understood how it all looked. Then he said that in any case, her fate would depend on how well she did her job. She asked if she should leave then. She said that in that case, they would buy clothes together tomorrow, and that he should go to sleep now. Yumin said she had to go back to the place where they met yesterday for a while, so she would come back soon. Kang Hyun-mo thought she was a scary woman. In a week, they were supposed to meet with a man to sell crystal moss. Yumin asked if she had to go with him. He said it was just in case, and she asked if he really didn't think it was a dangerous deal. It wasn't what he had asked her to do, but many people did that when they were on the verge of social ruin. They say that all the remaining moss is being bought up at a premium. Yumin thought that he was watching too many movies and dramas. Kang Hyun-mo wanted to take a different route, and she asked him where he was going, because they were going in the wrong direction. But he was thinking that anyone could spot them. They arrived at the place where the meeting was supposed to take place, and Kang Hyun-mo noticed that a man was looking at them. But it wasn't the person they were looking for. Then they approached the man they were supposed to meet. Yumin greeted him and said that she was with her partner today. The man greeted them and said his name was Park Hee-so. He extended his hand to Kang Hyun-mo to greet him. From the handshake, Kang Hyun-mo realized that this was a very strong man, but if he attacked them now, he would be able to defeat him. But then he tried to calm down because he didn't want to fight anyone. After that, they showed Park Hee-so the crystal moss. Park Hee-so asked if he could give them money where he usually did. Yumin replied that he could. So he told Mr. Kang Hyun-mo that it would be good if they met him next time. These words surprised him. Yumin said that it was strange because he had never said goodbye like that before. Usually things happened differently. Kang Hyun-mo thought that maybe Park Hee-so knew that he had gotten the crystal moss. Yumin asked him how he knew that. After all, somewhere in the dark, he would pull out a knife and demand everything he had, and he wouldn't give him any money. That was probably what he was thinking. Then she asked him why he looked so upset. He shouldn't worry too much because it was just a deal he had made. She patted him on the back and then asked him to tell her about his other feelings. For example, what it was like to have 100 million, because the money had been deposited into his bank account immediately. She showed him that the money for the crystal moss was already in his account. Park Hee-so asked if everything went well, and he replied that they had also secured all the items that had been released to the market. If you put them all together, it seems quite large. The man asked if it was really true and how such things could be sold on the market. Then the man took out a stone and asked Park Hee-so what he thought of it. It was a sample that could only be grown in a 5-star dungeon or higher. Only a very strong hunter could have done this, and he was the only one. If you can find a 5-star dungeon, it is possible to hide it. It could have been a foreign clan, but they have no reason to be interested in Korea, so how did his interlocutor find him? And was there anyone else with him, but we'll have to keep a closer eye on him. In any case, Park Hee-so passed the test. He also did an excellent job. Park Hee-so said no. The man said to gather it yourself in the dungeon where the crystal moss grows, and he asked how strong he needed to be. Park Hee-so said that at the very least, he needed to be as good as the boss. The man said that was right, so he would like to ask him to find out about a partner and research assistant named Yumin. Park Hee-so said that would be done and called him Boss Lee Jite. After that, several days passed. Kang Hyun-mo was doing pull-ups on the horizontal bar to improve his muscle strength. In his opinion, if he weren't in hell right now, he would have already done 1,000 pull-ups. But so far, he had only managed to do 150. It was much harder to move here. He didn't know how much time had passed since he had arrived here. Then he saw a notification on the screen that there were 18 hours, 14 minutes, and 58 seconds left until the next quest. Having gone through this several times, he was beginning to understand a little. Time spent in hell flows the same as in the outside world, and the time remaining until the quest is set in real time. There is one problem that occurs during his return. Every time he returns to the real world, his location changes. He knows everything else, but he cannot figure this out. Kang Hyun-mo shouted why his location was changing. He couldn't understand it at all. Then he thought about his combat assistant. This is help in the game and can possibly be considered cheating or fraud. The fact that he got a forbidden skill means something, namely that at this level he simply cannot survive without it. Kang Hyun-mo activated the combat assistant skill. After that, he felt something strange. It was as if he could concentrate more and more on a single point. Then he struck the punching bag again and destroyed it, and the result surprised him. It seemed that this skill had memorized his actions, modified them, and improved them. Surely this was the purpose of the combat assistant. He liked the result and thought it was incredible. After a while, a new quest called Friend of Newbies began. In this quest, he had to defeat a scarecrow made of 5 newbies. This surprised him because he was supposed to complete this quest on the first level, and now he is already on the 7th level. He does not remember seeing a scarecrow anywhere near him at the very beginning, so he decided that he needed to pass this level too. So he got dressed and decided to move to a new place. He went down and saw 5 scarecrows and said that it wasn't even a horror movie, but something even worse. Kang Hyun-mo noticed that the level of the newcomer scarecrows was unknown. He wondered if that was all he had to do. After all, these were ordinary scarecrows. He thought they should have been made a little simpler, and he was concerned that they had no level. Kang Hyun-moo hoped that they would not start moving suddenly, and these thoughts terrified him. Therefore, he decided that he should first try to find out what was special about them, so he should not forget to be cautious. Kang Hyun-mo threw a dart at one of them and waited for some kind of reaction, but they did not move. He rejoiced and thought that they must indeed be scarecrows, in which case it would not be difficult to defeat them. So he decided to try to attack them, but even putting all his strength into the blow, he felt nothing. After that, the opponents recognized each other. The scarecrows began to perceive him as their opponent, and he finally saw that the novice scarecrows were at the 7th level. Thus began the first level battle. Kang Hyun-mo wondered if his level would also increase, so he decided to check it out. Fortunately, these things were slower than the goblin he had encountered earlier. After that, he began to fight them. In fact, the 7th level is equivalent to bodyguards or 5 years of military service. But here, with that level, he was just a beginner. Kang Hyun-mo activated his combat assistant skill and decided that his opponents would meet their end. But they grabbed him from all sides, and he shouted for them to let him go. 4 dummies held him down while the 5th struck him, but then he managed to break free and strike his opponent in return. After that, the dummy of the newcomer updated the information about the opponent, and the 2nd level began. They grabbed him again, and one of them struck him. Kang Hyun-moo shouted for them to let him go. After several blows, Kang Hyun-mo's physical strength increased, as did his resistance to bleeding and tolerance for pain. But his health dropped below 10%, and the system notified him that he had to start playing with the privileges of the last title. Kang Hyun-moo thought that maybe he should run away, but he didn't even hit them. So he said that they were using martial arts, but he could do the same. Before that, he decided to use his skill and use the right balance, then created a rare evil deck. It was a fierce, solidly built body. Its defense was weak, but its attack power was quite strong. So after that, he went on the offensive. He managed to damage one of the scarecrows, and after that, it updated its information about the enemy. Some changes occurred with them, and now the scarecrows of the newcomers had weapons, which frightened him. They immediately attacked him, and he died after surviving in the dungeon for 5 days, 8 hours, 4 minutes, and 16 seconds. Next time, he decided to use a different tactic and fight them one at a time. He wouldn't be able to defeat them all at once. Even if he destroyed a few, he wouldn't be able to do anything to the others, so he left one and tied up all the others. He used his combat assistant skill, and it really worked. If you compete with them one-on-one, you can win. But to do that, you had to break your opponent. He delivered a powerful blow, and then the information about his opponent was updated. Then the 3rd level began. Kang Hyun-moo decided he had to try at least once. Depending on how they become stronger, he also feels his strength increasing. But still, he couldn't win. Kang Hyun-mo died many times in a row, realizing that this was not even a global martial arts competition. He did not understand how many types of martial arts his opponents were using. Kang Hyun-moo thought he would never die fighting with his bare hands. So after each defeat, he tried again and again to defeat his opponent and finally reached the 4th level. He was delighted that it had finally happened. But at the 4th level, another surprise awaited him due to a change in the novice's dummy. His eyes were injured, and then his opponent bit his leg. Kang Hyun-mo said that it was like a dogfight. After that, he died again. After 9 attempts, Kang Hyun-mo realized 3 things. The first was that the 4th level of combat was the end. The pattern did not change after that. Second, the behavior of the dummies does not change. If there is even the slightest anomaly, you must stop what you are doing to correct it. And third, he realized that there was no need to break them. The dummies stopped moving perfectly when they received a certain amount of damage. In other words, he didn't need to break them. The result he achieved thanks to these 3 facts helped him win. Kang Hyun-mo defeated several scarecrows, and the system announced the end of the battle. He said he knew that. Then he wanted to deliver a powerful blow to the last scarecrow, so that everything would finally be over. After that, the battle ended. The quest for a new friend was finally complete, and Kang Hyun-mo shouted. Then he looked at the dummies and said that it really looked amazing. He fell to the ground and said that he had truly fought them on equal terms and asked where they had found this new friend. Kang Hyun-mo is his own teacher and thinks that these guys taught him how to fight. Then he decided to look at the reward before returning. His reward increased due to his SSS class rank. He received the legendary Cradle of Heaven. This effect stimulates growth or completely restores a damaged body. Kang Hyun-moo did not understand what it meant to promote growth and what it was all about. He knows which part of the body it refers to, but how to check it. He is pleased that it is a legendary class. However, he does not know how to use it, and it is not clear enough for him to appreciate it. Kang Hyun-mo thought long and hard about how to use it and said that if he put it on his head, he might become smarter. But the attempt was unsuccessful. After a while, he realized that nothing was working, and this confused him. If you think about it, even if he tries to use it to injure himself, he can already be considered dead. And when he came back to life, all his body parts would also return intact. Surely this piece of cloth was useless to him. so he decided that he would just sell it when he returned. It was a legendary item, so it would be worth a lot. But then he remembered something, namely the egg he had obtained from the 3 mosquitoes. It said that it would work on him, so this thing might work on him. He covered the egg with the cloth, but it had no effect, so he decided to just sell it. But then something started to happen, and he saw something hatching from the egg. This made him panic a little. He didn't know what would come out of it and thought that if some kind of monster hatched from it, he would never be able to defeat it. But then he saw a little fairy in the egg and said that it was even smaller than he thought. Kang Hyun-mo wanted to touch her, but she bit his finger. Kang Hyun-moo screamed and said that it must be a monster that wanted to eat him. He shouted that this was just some kind of joke and what kind of reward this was. Then he heard the fairy say that she was hungry. Kang Hyun-mo took a candy out of his pocket and told her to at least eat that. But she didn't like it, and he asked if she didn't want it. Then he asked her what she wanted to eat, and she pointed at him. Kang Hyun-moo said that she must be a cannibal monster. The fairy began to drink his blood, and he told her to stop. She said she would just stop the bleeding, so he should wait a minute. He thought it was a mosquito egg, so she must be a little mosquito fairy. She sounded just like a mosquito. The fairy said she was done and he felt his arm hurt. Then she said that it was quite a filling meal, so now she wanted dessert from her slave. He grabbed her and asked her to do it again. Then the fairy said that it was indeed a wonderful meal, thanked him, and called him her husband. Then she thanked him again for the delicious food and called him her butler. Kang Hyun-moo decided to let her go. And then he said that his name was Kang Hyun-moo and asked what she was. She thought about it but could not say anything. After that, she said that she did not remember. Kang Hyun-moo said that she was indeed a fairy. She became angry and said no. Then she said that she remembered who she was. She was the fairy who was promised to appear at the end. Kang Hyun-moo asked if that meant he had reached the end of the world. The fairy replied that no, she had promised to eat everything alive in the world. Kang Hyun-moo thought that maybe he should destroy her right now. How could such a tiny thing eat everything? He thought it was nonsense. Come to think of it, his blood was so poisonous that it had hurt the goblin's hand. The fairy asked why he was so scared. Kang Hyun-moo didn't understand why she was fine even after drinking so much. But he doesn't see any hostility from her, so he can't even activate his combat assistant. And he doesn't know her level either. Judging by her appearance, she won't hurt him. But will he be able to tame her and use her as a pet? The fairy called him a butler and asked if she could eat because her stomach was rumbling. So he replied that she could eat the whole world or something. Kang Hyun-moo decided to give her a name and said that she would be called Lenian because he had to call her something. She said it was a wonderful name and called him her slave. Kang Hyun-moo said it was great that she liked it. Lenian said she liked it because it sounded like the word for apocalypse in the language of the fairies. This answer frightened him. Then he said that if she was going to follow him, she had to promise him one thing. She asked if it was just one thing, and he said yes. He noted that people cannot be eaten, including his butler. He didn't know about others, but he couldn't be eaten. She asked if that was true even when she was very hungry. He said that even if she was so hungry that she would die, it would be better to eat someone else than him, and asked if she understood. Instead, he would give her some of his blood. She said that was wonderful and that fairies were not picky. In his opinion, if they were not too picky, that was fine. Lenian asked the butler who they were and if they were people, pointing to the scarecrows. He said that it was the glorious battlefield of the victor. Then he noticed one of the scarecrows and asked why it had fallen apart. He couldn't do that. On the notification screen, he saw that he had a new attribute. Kang Hyun-mo wondered if he should use a skill to activate it. He picked up the scarecrow and said that he didn't know anything anymore and that his head hurt from thinking, so it would be best to do it himself. Kang Hyun-moo struck the dummy and was able to break it. Lenian asked if he had done it and said it was very cool. Then she asked him to let her try too. After that, she struck one of the dummies and destroyed it. Then the opponents began to recognize each other and the dummies rose. They confirmed their awakening and unlocked themselves. Kang Hyun-moo did not understand why the awakening happened so unexpectedly and thought that he would have to fight them again. But then he noticed that the scarecrow was pointing in another direction. Kang Hyun-mo asked what was there. In the place where the scarecrow was pointing, there were many broken things and furniture. Kang Hyun-moo decided to sort everything out and see what was there. Lenian said that it smelled very nice and called him a butler. Then she noticed something ahead. She said that it looked like what they needed. They noticed a skeleton, and Lenian said that the wonderful smell was coming from it. After that, she decided to eat it. Kang Hyun-moo was surprised that she was eating it, then got angry at her and grabbed her. He said that people who had died could not be eaten. Lenian remarked that he was very spicy. Then Kang Hyun-moo found a letter. The letter was full of mistakes and talked about darkness from the very beginning. 3 years had passed since the level of difficulty had increased, and this horror was only getting worse. Children who were born died from the poisonous air. One of the awakened with the ability to purify took his own life. The awakened ones also couldn't stand it and died. Along with them, hope continued to disappear. Kang Hyun-moo believes that this is true. Looking at the letter and the message at the entrance, hell is the future of the world. There's also a high percentage of those who have awakened who will take their own lives. The letter said that most of the survivors, including the writer, feel the same way. 3 days ago, a priest did the same. And yesterday, Professor Park Hae-sok took his own life. Lenian found something and asked if it was edible. He said it was a fire. It's a little different from the one he has. Lenian asked if it belonged to the skeleton. Kang Hyun-moo told her to give it to him. Lenian agreed, but after he took it in his hand, something started to happen. Kang Hyun-moo doesn't understand what it is. He felt a terrible pain in his hand. In a moment, it was over, and he saw a pattern on his hand and asked what it was. After that, Kang Hyun-mo received a message that the stars had chosen him. Then a portal opened and seemed to begin to swallow him. Lenian said goodbye to him, calling him her butler, and told him to take care of himself and live. Kang Hyun-mo asked her to come back. After that, he found himself in a completely different place and began to call out to Lenian. Then he received a message that the leading star Barul realized that the fragment of the star had been absorbed by him. Barul is disappointed in his values. Therefore, Barul renounced the fragments and left him. Kang Hyun-mo did not understand what was happening at all. Then he said that he was very annoyed and asked the stars who he was to be disappointed. He tapped the notification screen and said that this was the first time he had heard of stars and what they were. After that, the data was unlocked. Kang Hyun-mo learns that the owners of the stars are beings who occupy their own absolute territories somewhere in the universe. They lend out their own fragments, which are endowed with powers. The star is waiting for something, specifically for its clan to become the ruler and expand its territory. Kang Hyun-mo doesn't understand why they are interested in him. Then he received a notification that user Kang Hyun-mo possessed one of the star fragments, so the stars wanted to bring him into their circle. Kang Hyun-mo realized that what Lenian found was not a fire, but a fragment. After that, he heard a sound, and then he saw the fragments approaching him. The mysterious star monstrel finds in him a charm that blinds everyone. Ardon, the victorious star, offers him command of an army of steel and fire. The hungry star Yogalim says that they are looking for a snake to eat the whole world together. The broken star Gallia offers him to rule the world from the darkness. They see his potential and direct their energy towards him. Kang Hyun-mo asks what this is about, and the system informs him that these beings want to invest in him and see what he is capable of. So he asked if it was an investment. The system informed him that he had to choose a star to follow, but he didn't like that. He said that even if he was given permission to choose them all, common sense dictated that he needed to know what they were like. Only then could he choose. He received a message that the broken star Gallia was smiling and plotting something. He ruled the crowd from the darkness. With the help of daggers, poison, and conspiracies, it is a secret society made up of a wall, and the weeping star Verde, father of sorrow and melancholy. He commands an army of lifeless bodies and loves to see despair, futile hopes, and helpless struggle. The hungry star Yogalem is a snake of greed and desire. All the inhabitants of the county's estate suffer from constant hunger, and she wants to devour the whole world. Monstrel is a whispering star, and it is a human being. She incites in the light and is greedy in the darkness. She shines brightly even in bright places. The next star is the victor Ardent. He is a ruler who advances with fire and deals with his enemies with iron. Wanting to set the world on fire with unprovoked hatred and resentment, he craves to rule over ashes. Kang Hyun-mo asked why he needed all this. They all look like destroyers anyway. The system announced that the stars were interested in beings similar to themselves. He said that it turns out he is a ruler with a personality disorder and anger management issues, greedy and inhuman. That is his true nature. Then he said something and really ended up in hell. And maybe it's because he's a really bad guy, but that doesn't mean their desires match. Moreover, he is just trash in many ways, so there is no point in digging so deep into himself. He does not even want to think about it. It's impossible for him to be pure and innocent, but hasn't he lived with shame? Maybe there are bad moments he doesn't know about. But whatever the case, he believes he is better than these creatures. So he decided to ask if anything would change if he did choose someone. The broken star Gallia showed him what his future could be. He thought about how powerful stars are. The system informed him that he must choose a star to follow. Kang Hyun-mo thought that because of what he had gone through, he could not lose something valuable. So he asked if there was a price he had to pay. The system informed him that he simply had to serve and follow the star, and that was all. Kang Hyun-mo asked if that was really all he had to do, and read on the screen that stars raise families, and families act on behalf of the will of the stars. And that was all. He asked again if he had to choose right now, and the system informed him that choosing a star was a rare opportunity. The more they get to know him and see that he is going through trials, the faster they promise he will grow. Then he asked if they meant that they had nothing to give him right now. The system said that the stars were offended by his impudence. Kang Hyun-mo thought that for some reason they were misinterpreting his answers and that they were telling him to watch his language. He said that free power without expenses is good, but let them tell him something. After all, they found him, not the other way around. Today was the first time he had seen them, so he didn't even know what they meant by choosing only one star. He couldn't trust them, and they didn't even have a contract. At the very least, they weren't going to make any kind of deal, and he asked if that was true. After that, the winning star Ardon lost interest in him. The other stars gave him time to think. Kang Hyun-mo said he didn't know whether to go or stay, then thanked them for not bothering him, and said he would try not to think about it for a long time. After that, he returned to the same place and asked what had happened. Then he saw the star and told her to fly away. The whispering star monstrel touched him and awakened some of his abilities, then disappeared. Kang Hyun-mo received the legendary skill of mastery. He was surprised by the new skill and said that it was a generous gift. It's really strange that they just give away legendary skills like that and that no one tried to stop the disaster in hell. He was sure that there were many other people there besides him. What if it was on such a scale that even the awakened ones couldn't prevent it? In that case, there is a chance that these stars created hell, so he decided that it was worth learning more about them. When he returned to the present, 3 days had passed, and he still didn't know where he was. In hell, all he had to do was be strong. But when he returns to reality, he realizes that there is still something to worry about. For example, when he returns to the real world, he does not know where he will end up. And when he returns, he looks like a vagrant, so he has to walk home carefully and avoid strangers. A boy who saw him mistook him for a homeless person. Kang Hyun-moo came to Yumin and said he needed to buy a house. She asked why so suddenly. He replied that he meant to buy a house like a hospital with strong walls and a room for disinfection. Yumin replied that they were not in a position to think about that now. Kang Hyun-mo asked why and if he really had no home. She said that he had a lot of money, but he had earned it illegally, and besides, he had no stars and was just an ordinary person. Moreover, he was not even registered as an awakened one. These words were a real blow to him. Yumin said that she didn't mean that he couldn't buy a house and that it was just a misunderstanding. Although he was offended, he agreed with her. As she said, it would be foolish to buy a house right away. He also needed to find a house with suitable conditions. In connection with the purchase of a house, he could arouse suspicion from those around him, even though he had few acquaintances. But if he could pay the huge sum right away, he would first register as a capable person and then strengthen and raise his rank. After that, more stars will pay attention to him. Kana Hyun-moo is upset that he has to choose only one star. They all possess tremendous power and he wants to have the same. He would like to have everything they offer. But how can he know when the end of the world will come and humanity will disappear? If he gains powerful strength, he will be able to survive and the whole world will be at his feet. So he must somehow obtain all the power of the stars. Yumin told him to take his sticks and stop showing off and eat faster. He said he was already eating and then turned on the news. In it, Lee Jae, the leader of the Taeseon clan, announced his plan to go to the Pekto dungeon. Blocking the dungeon was not only a long-held dream of their clan, but also meant peace and security for the Korean peninsula. Yumin was surprised that they were actually going to do it. This was the first time since the collapse of North Korea. After it collapsed due to flooding, it had been neglected. Monsters appear outside the dungeon, and since the Pektu dungeon has 5 stars, the monsters are also 5th level. Such monsters cannot even be compared to weapons imbued with mana. It is risky to raid such a place. But Lee Jae was the first in Korea to master the tactics, so it's worth a try. Before that, all the clans said that an expedition to the north was impossible. Kang Hyun-mo said that it still seems unclear. The news reports that there are 3 days left until the ability registration test. This is the biggest test of the year, and next year the Taesong clan will continue their expedition to the Pektu dungeon. They are going to hire many awakened ones for this expedition. Kang Hyun-mo said that he needs to pass this registration test. Yumin said she had prepared food and asked if he would like to finish it. She thought that he needed something to do. Kang Hyun-mo apologized and said he would eat. After that, he decided to take the test anyway, but there were so many people that it was impossible to get in. He didn't know how long he would have to wait. The man standing behind him told him to move forward, calling him old. Kang Hyun-mo turned to him and asked what he had just said. Then the man called him a student and said that he must be here for the first time. Then he asked if he had come for the test. Kang Hyun-mo remembered that there was a time when he was given a unique rank at the shelter. He was very young at the time, but why was he the only one to receive it? Kang Hyun-mo said that he had come for the test and asked what was going on. The man replied that he knew that, and just looking at the crowd gave him goosebumps. They don't separate the newcomers from the others. And also my current hunters, so it's a complete nightmare. The lines are mixed and it's full of people. Kang Hyun-mo asked if the hunters were also mixed. The man replied that this was true. Since Taesung was conducting a large-scale public recruitment, everyone was in a hurry. Kang Hyun-moo asked if he had also come to look at the new vacancies, and he replied that he was too lazy to participate in this. He was there to update his registration level. He didn't know his level, and it would be good if he could raise it. The man hopes that the administration will evaluate and approve him. Kang Hyun-moo realized that this was a level registration, so he would earn points. The abilities of the awakened are incomparable to weapons, and if you evaluate a person that way, it's obvious that he will become obsessed with advancement. Then there will be some control over the awakened, which is quite reasonable. If he did something to stand out, it would be noticed immediately. But he wasn't going to do anything like that. The test for the awakened consisted of 3 tests, including a personality test. There is also an assessment of abilities and skills. The verification of biographical data is considered a mere ceremonial aspect of bureaucracy. This is not a problem, and almost everyone passes it. During the character assessment, the first test ends with the collected blood being stamped on a test strip. All subsequent tests are conducted to identify abilities. First, a status check is performed. The boy who took the combat power meter test received a score of 140 and proudly emphasized this. The boy standing in front of Kang Hyun-mo received 87. For normal men, the score is around 100. But it can be both lower and higher. Next was Kang Hyun-moo. He was told to put his hand on the sensor. Hunters are bad only because their abilities are high and no one cares about their numbers. The man told Kang Hyun-moo that there was a bullet on the underside. So he had to hold on to it. Kang Hyun-mo tried to find it inside the device and asked if it was it. He did as he was told, but then saw the surprise of the people who were testing him. The man did not understand what was happening and asked why the score was so low, and if something had happened to the numbers or if something was broken. He said that he had just looked at it and it was broken, and how could the rating be so high? Even when Lee Jae tested it, it was working fine. But that's only because it was a long time ago. Kang Hyun-mo asked if he had broken it. The man replied that he hadn't and that it was just malfunctioning a little. It was a common occurrence, so they would adjust it now. Kang Hyun-mo thought that he probably needed to control his strength. After that, he took the test again, not knowing if it changed depending on the amount of force used, but he tried carefully anyway. But the result was still too high and they thought that something had happened to the server, so they asked him to wait while they checked it. He waited for the result, and from that moment on they were divided into 3 groups. People with attack system skills were on the far right. People with defense system skills are in the center, and if they have buffs or there are people who are undetermined, they should go to the far left row. But he was waiting for the result, so he was asked to wait until they checked everything and the lab workers knew how to do it. In that case, he probably belongs to those who have not yet been identified. Kang Hyun-moo doesn't know, but it seems to be the case. All those who were undetermined were offered to take a basic test, so he decided to try. Kang Hyun-mo was asked if he would take the hunter aptitude test, and he said yes. So the girl gave him some papers. But she noted that this time the test would be a little different and might seem a little boring, but the hunters looked strong. He could get injured or killed, and very few people earn a lot of money. Most hunters don't earn much. Therefore, they do other work as well. Kang Hyun-mo said that it was not for the money. The girl asked why then. Perhaps for honor or power. Kang Hyun-mo replied that it was because of a sense of duty to protect humanity. No one knows what the dungeons of the distant future will be like, and what will happen when the level of difficulty becomes too great for humanity to handle. The girl agreed and said that it could be possible after all. Then she gave him some papers with his registration certificate, instructions, and contact information in case of an emergency. She also hinted that the topic of this exam was the underground world. Kang Hyun-mo said that if he read it, it would be very helpful. He then remarked that he was very curious to know what the underground passages looked like. Lee Ji-tae asked his subordinate if everything was ready. He replied that yes, there were no problems. The red butterfly was already in place. It seems that many clans are targeting them, but there is no need to worry. After all, they probably participated in achieving T-san's goal. Lee Ji-tae said no. It was more likely not for T-san, but for North Korea. They had all the talent, intuition, and skills. And they had ignored all the clan's invitations to join until they heard the news about North Korea. If they had applied, he would have accepted them. Then Lee Jae-hee asked about the others. The subordinate replied that they were all below level 20, and the red butterfly is beyond competition. But then the subordinate said that there was one among them who had special abilities. He was awakened with the poison blood skill. Lee Jae became interested in him. The subordinate said that there were photos and videos from the testing. How can he tell that it is different from ordinary toxicity? Lee Jae said that it was indeed different, and that it was wonderful. But poison blood is a skill with many flaws. If he is wounded, he could harm his colleagues as well. Therefore, this must be taken into account. Kang Hyun-mo waited for the test with the others. A man approached him, gave him an object, and then left. Kang Hyun-mo asked what it was, but he did not answer. After that, the participants were told they could go in. Everyone went in and found themselves in the Chokwon dungeon. This is the Yonsan Talent Management Office. Now, the new hunters are in a space that recreates the atmosphere of a 2-star dungeon in Ukraine. This was reported by Lee Ji-hye. The goal of this test is to collect as many cards as possible which they received upon entering. The theme of this exam is the dungeon. They have to gain experience in the dungeon for 3 hours. Each person gets 1 card. There are 1 to 3 monsters in this dungeon, and the person who collects the most wins. In other words, not only monsters become prey, but they also become prey. One of the participants suggested moving together. Kang Hyun-mo separated from the team and said he didn't like it because it was bad. The guy said that now they had defensive skills. Even the owner of this skill, Kang Hyun-mo, said that they all know that. According to the rules, the prize goes to the person who takes first place. If they go together, they have to share, and if they share, then who will be number 1? The guy asked if that was his reason. Kang Hyun-mo asked if there was any other reason. Another man said that the 4 of them would have to compete. Kang Hyun-mo told them not to be upset and left. But this man grabbed him and asked if he preferred to crawl away on his own. Maybe he wants to give his card to the others. If so, let him give it to them and leave. Kang Hyun-mo said, okay. Then he hit him and said that he wasn't even going to ask him about it. After that, he turned to the other team members. He asked them who was next. The guy who had suggested they form a team gave up immediately. Kang Hyun-mo asked if he really thought he would leave right away after he gave up. The guy gave him his card. Then Kang Hyun-mo asked him what he would do without it if he gave it to him. The guy replied that there was no penalty for losing. Therefore, not having a card was not considered disqualification. Besides, the person he had just knocked down had a defense skill. And with the rest, it would be impossible to win. Kang Hyun-moo noted that this was true and reasonable. In that case, he didn't care and let him do whatever he wanted. Lee Jae, watching this, said that it was similar to the actions of a red butterfly, stealing cards from everyone who entered. If the members of the red butterfly, who already had skills similar to those of 2-star awakened ones, gathered together, they would be able to pass the 3-star dungeon. Lee Jae's subordinate said that this was unbelievable. Lee Jae added that if they received support, they would be capable of even more. Even so, there is no need to try too hard to get a high score right now. Time is passing and only talented people will remain. Endurance is an important test, and on their way, they will encounter monsters that have been prepared for them. Even such talented awakened beings as red butterflies will have to fight. The fun will begin from this moment on. A subordinate asked Lee Jae what it was, and he replied that it was an autonomous android developed by GEW Industries. It is an android that uses spores and skin material from a mushroom monster caught in the Chernobyl underground to attack with gloves. Its official title is Mushroom Droid. This name is considered a kind of synopsis of the best technologies. It has excellent combat abilities as well as excellent endurance and mana reflection. In addition, it has a low repair cost, since the spore component of the epidermis is considered a regenerative material. A subordinate asked if it would be difficult to defeat him. If that is indeed the case, Lee Jite said that it would not be so difficult. This is because it is weak against multiple attacks. It is necessary to carefully form a team based on numbers, and then it will be possible to strike back. The problem is that if we act alone as a red butterfly, it will take a lot of time to get used to it. The card is embedded deep in the android's body, so it will be difficult to retrieve it on our own. Meanwhile, the others are preparing to detain the red butterfly. Lee Jite asked to wait a moment and said that something strange had happened in one of the zones. Kang Hyun-moo met this monster and said that he was expecting a real monster, so this is complete nonsense. In his opinion, it even moves easily. Kang Hyun-moo immediately attacked it and said that it has too low abilities. It was even boring for him. Kang Hyun-moo defeated many such monsters. Then he picked one of them up and tried to tear it apart. After that, he received a card and was surprised that it was so easy to get. In fact, he thought the task was too easy. Kang Hyun-moo was surprised and asked himself if it was really that easy. Then he heard that he needed to pay attention to the fact that the game time was 34 minutes. More than 30% of the cards are held by a few awakened players, so they have the most cards. The Red Lotus is in third place in terms of the number of cards. This participant collected 7 cards. Second place goes to the Red Butterfly. During the exam, she managed to collect 9 cards. And first place goes to Kang Hyun-moo. He managed to collect 16 cards. Kang Hyun-moo was proud of himself and said that it was obvious. It would have been much more interesting to compete with the goblin, but with the scarecrows, everything was very simple. But he decided to check something. He took the skin of a mushroom monster and then said that he thought it was specially treated material, but it was a monster. The material was similar to that used to make hell scarecrows. Now it was clear why it was so strong. He gathered the material and said that maybe he could make something out of it. After that, he used his crafting skill and created leggings from the monster's skin. He also made arm guards and decided that he would need them. After that, he said that now all that was left was to catch all the others. The trial continued, and Kang Hyun-moo had already collected 67 cards. The Red Butterfly had 51 cards. The Red Butterfly did not understand why she could not overtake him, and then she saw that someone was trying to catch her. She quickly dealt with her attackers, but then she saw that even more participants were approaching her. They surrounded her on both sides and asked if she was still confident of victory. But then she heard someone call her sister. The Red Lotus said that she was rushing too much and could get hurt at that pace. But the Red Butterfly replied that she didn't have enough points. Red Lotus said that points weren't that important. In any case, they were going to achieve their goal of going north. She had already collected enough cards, and weren't her actions tantamount to self-destruction? A boy from the team said that if they combined everything, they would have 88 pieces. The Red Butterfly said that was impossible. Red Lotus told her not to be so categorical and then asked where she was going. She said they were too slow. Lee Jite asked his subordinate who this Kang Hyun-moo was. The subordinate replied that he was participating in the test for the first time. His statistics and skill assessment were postponed. Lee Jite asked if he was the same one with the poison blood skill, and he replied that he was. Lee Jite thinks he has experience in dungeons and acts like an experienced hunter. In that case, he could be the one who entered the dungeon without permission. The subordinate asked if he thought he was a fraud. But he has no criminal record or history of license revocation. Lee Jite said that he might be from another country. But are there strict rules in other countries? In that case, it could be true. Lee Jite thought it would be great if the 2 strongest and best people on the test started fighting. Kang Hyun-moo tried the mushroom monster's skin but spat it out and said it didn't taste good. After that, he felt nauseous. He said that it was true and that he would not eat it even if he felt like he was about to die of hunger. After that, he felt someone approaching him. Only an awakened person could move that fast. A red butterfly approached him, immediately struck him, and then asked if he was alone. He said that he had 150 subordinates guarding the area, so why didn't she compete with them? The red butterfly said that he was alone after all and offered to compete with him for first place. Kang Hyun-moo saw that she was at level 14 while he was only at level 7. He was confused by the fact that his level was half hers. He didn't understand what kind of power she had and barely managed to block her blow. Kang Hyun-moo realizes that if she hits him again as hard as she did, he will die. Without a combat assistant, this would be a big problem. She attacked him and he tried to dodge her attacks. A combat assistant in battle studies the opponent's movements well. Thanks to this, he can dodge, but at the same time, he doesn't have a suitable moment to counterattack. Kang Hyun-moo said, "Is he really going to end like this?" He had kept his skill because he thought it would be dangerous to use it in public. Or it would be great if he had the same level of skill as her. First of all, he cannot be at that level because he is in poor shape. Because he was already starting to feel tired. After that, he activated his endurance ability. The red butterfly tried to attack him again, but he struck her, and then told her to give him her cards. She realized that she had lost to him, but asked if it was just a skill. Kang Hyun-moo replied that it didn't matter. But then he was unexpectedly attacked by Red Lotus. Kang Hyun-moo didn't have time to understand what was happening, and asked what was going on. The guy on her team recognized him because he had given her his card at the beginning of the test. Red Lotus asked if it was too unexpected. The guy noted that they had met again and that his name was Red Snake. Red Lotus approached Red Butterfly and told her to rely on her. She asked what was wrong with her hand and then asked if he had done it. Red Butterfly told her to stop and called her Rena because she wouldn't be able to defeat him even with her. Kang Hyun-moo said that it wouldn't hurt for her to listen to him and that she could do it. Then he asked her to just leave him alone. After that, it was announced that 3 hours had passed and the game was over. It was time to announce the results. Kang Hyun-moo realized that if it weren't for that woman, he would have definitely won first place. Third place went to Ha Yun-taek with 21 cards. Second place went to Kang Hyun-mo, who collected 69 cards. And first place went to the Red Butterfly with 88 cards. The Red Butterfly did not understand what was going on. Rina said that she did it. Kang Hyun-moo said that she gave them to her. The Red Butterfly said that she didn't understand anything. Kang Hyun-moo said that there was nothing to understand and was about to leave. The Red Lotus asked where he was going and said that he had done it to her hand. And now he's just leaving without even apologizing. Kang Hyun-moo thought that he should be discreet and think twice. She was definitely surprised because if he had come to find a team member, he would also have been surprised to see her injured hand. Moreover, he would not have understood what happened because there was no one to explain it to. And if he listened to him, he might have thought something wrong. For example, that he was going to rob the Red Butterfly, but he fought the right way and won. But then why did those bad guys get first place since he fought with all his heart? Rina said she knew he could hear her, but he used the rope and grabbed her. Red Butterfly asked her what happened, but she couldn't say anything and was very scared. It was as if she had seen something terrible, and then she started screaming, calling for her sister Haru. That's the Red Butterfly's name. Kang Hyun-mo just wanted to try to scare them, but it turned out that he was stronger than they expected. He felt uncomfortable, so he decided that now was the right time to leave through the wasteland. Lee Jite's subordinate asked if it was because of the Red Butterfly's carelessness. She was too confident and sophisticated, and because of that, she lost her vigilance. In Lee Jite's opinion, everything had gone too well for this guy, and he didn't even know what to do with him. This guy has such abilities without even reaching the 10th level. It will be easy for him to catch up with hunters who have already proven themselves. A subordinate asked Lee Jite what was going on. Did he really want to arrange a meeting with the Red Butterfly? He replied that he did not. First, he needs to meet and talk to a friend named Kang Hyun-moo. Kang Hyun-moo was not feeling well because everything had been fine with his combat assistant until he used his stamina. But this skill takes too much mana. He needs to hold out in this state until he returns to hell. He thought that he shouldn't have gotten involved in all this because he had almost no mana left. Then a man approached him and asked if he was Kang Hyun-moo. He replied that he was and asked who he was. The man said that he was the deputy head of the Taeseon clan, Tae Min-soo, and congratulated him on passing the test. They had learned of his abilities. Therefore, the Taeseon clan offered him to join their ranks and guaranteed his support. He gave him a business card with which he could contact him. He said that working alone he would not be able to achieve great results, but they could help him with that. Kang Hyun-mo asked if they could make him a star. Tae Min-soo apologized because he didn't understand what he was talking about. Kang Hyun-mo asked if they would promote him to stardom. Lee Ji-tae watched the battle between Kang Hyun-moo and the Red Butterfly and said that it looked like a martial arts movie. Tae Min-soo approached him and apologized. Lee Ji-tae said that it seemed like he had been rejected. He replied that that was correct. No matter how good the conditions were, he wasn't interested. Lee Ji-tae said that was what he thought. Strong people are proud. Lee Jite asked what else he said, and Tae Min-soo replied that Mr. Kang Hyun-mo mentioned some star. These words surprised him. So Lee Jite asked him again. Tae Min-soo replied that young people often use slang and that he didn't know anything about it. He asked if he had any guesses about it. Lee Jite replied that he had never heard of it before, and asked if the Red Butterfly had received their proposal. Tae Min-soo replied that it was in their plans. Her goal was to join the expedition to the north, so there should be no problem. Lee Jite praised him for his good work and said that he would go first so they could see it tomorrow. Tae Min-soo wished him a safe journey. The words about the star confused Lee Ji. He didn't want to jump to conclusions until he understood what it meant, so he decided to follow up. Yumin took Kang Hyun-moo away from the test, and he was looking through business cards. Yumin asked what they were, and he replied that they were journalists' business cards. They were also from managers and others. When he was about to leave after the exam, they burst in and pounced on him. Yumin said that wasn't what she meant. She was interested in the large box he had downstairs, so he decided to show it to her. Before that, he had talked to the Red Butterfly Haru, and she apologized to him. This happened because Hong Ren wanted to be everywhere at once. Kang Hyun-moo realized that she was talking about that upstart. She was obviously silent because she was very scared. Kang Hyun-moo said that it was all in the past. Haru gave him the first place award and said that it was originally intended for him, so he should accept her apology. So when he received it, he thought it was better than nothing. They were gloves with a strong grip that increased muscle strength and protected the hands. Yumin said that it was wonderful and that she had sold the new piece of crystal moss that he had brought to Park Hiso. Kang Hyun-mo asked why it was for him again. She said that he had been buying a lot lately, so she would buy this moss even if they sold it somewhere else. He asked why he needed so much. Even if these crystals are so valuable, why would one person need so many? It must be someone hidden and quite influential. That was the only way to demand such a large quantity of crystal moss. In that case, it would be much more useful to contact him directly without Park Hiso. Kang Hyun-mo thought about him and decided that he was not a very strong opponent. Yumin asked if that was all the reward. He said that was correct and that there must be something else in the prize, so he decided to check the box and found something. Yumin asked what it was and said that she suddenly felt uneasy. He found a check for 50 million. Then he said they had to go after it, so they changed their destination and arrived at the association. Kang Hyun-mo said that the association was no joke, and that there was a prize at stake in any exam. Yumin said that this was why turning to hunters was no joke. But in reality, hunters are worthless in the eyes of the civilian population, and he also had to be careful. Kang Hyun-mo said he wouldn't waste his nerves over the money he had spent, and then he smelled something. He looked around and told her not to go with him and to stay in the car. Yumin asked what was going on. He asked her to leave and close the car door, and not to leave until he came back. He decided to go around the building and check everything, then said it wasn't funny. Kang Hyun-moo saw people lying behind the house and asked what they were doing there. Then he saw Mr. Park Hee-soo. He told him that they hadn't seen each other in a long time, and that these guys were members of a Japanese Yakuza organization. Even the market overseas knows about the existence of the unknown crystal moss. And not only them, but even the best hunters are looking for the source of the crystal moss. If he hadn't taken care of them, Yumin could have been hurt. Kang Hyun-mo asked what he wanted, and he said he had a proposal. It was to form an alliance with the Taesan clan. Kang Hyun-mo said that he had recently been refused and was surprised that Taesan was behind him. Park Hee-soo said that they were investigating everything about him, but so far they had learned little. It seemed as if someone had deliberately deleted the data. Kang Hyun-mo was surprised by this. Park Hee-soo said that his crystal moss can only be found in high-level dungeons, and that's not all. He heard that he had performed well on the test. Could someone with such abilities really be working as a sewer cleaner? So it's a little strange. Kang Hyun-mo told him to wait a little. Park Hee-soo said he didn't know what organization he was in or what it was about. He asked if he wanted to work with the clan because he wasn't very good. Kang Hyun-mo thanked him for his help. Then he noted that he was making a big mistake regarding the organization. Park Hee-soo said that even if that was the case, he had probably chosen the wrong path. It would be a little rude, but he asked him to understand. Kang Hyun-mo asked him to wait and wanted to say that he meant something completely different. But Park Hee-soo tried to attack him and he dodged. Kang Hyun-moo asked him to listen to him until the end and just talk. Park Hee-soo was surprised that he attacked him in such an awkward position, considering that there was almost no power in his punch. But after the blow, he was surprised and thought that perhaps the first place prize did not belong to the red butterfly. Kang Hyun-mo said that from that moment on, he would defend himself. Park Hee-soo said that he had dared to take the difficult path, so if he didn't hear his words, he had no choice but to become stronger. Park Hee-soo threw his cloak at him, and Kang Hyun-mo said that it was no longer funny, and then saw that his cane was actually a sword. Therefore, he activated his combat assistant skill and called him a crazy old man. Park Hee-soo immediately attacked him. Kang Hyun-mo realized that he was in danger because his opponent was already very close and could attack him with his sword. So he jumped over him and was glad that he managed to get around him and end up behind him. But in a moment, Park Hee-soo attacked him again. Kang Hyun-moo realized that he had to make a grab and managed to catch him. He grabbed him by the shirt and held his arm with his other hand and said that now they would finish this. Kang Hyun-mo grabbed him with a rope. Park Hee-soo asked if it was an illusion technique and then remarked that he was creating some kind of nonsense. After that, he hurt him and said that he deliberately did not kill him because he did not intend to take his life. Now let him answer who is behind him. Kang Hyun-mo laughed and asked what was so funny. Kang Hyun-moo asked if he had forgotten anything. After that, he remembered the toxicity of his blood and Kang Hyun-moo attacked him. He said that despite his strength, his tolerance for poison was not that great. After that, he struck him. But Park Hee-soo pushed him away and took out the antidote. He said that he could see that it was a wonderful medicine. Kang Hyun-mo told him to share what was left. Park Hee-soo said that it was not funny. Moreover, he had caused him great harm, and how could he even continue to stand? Then he asked if he had any healing skills. Kang Hyun-moo asked if he was going to continue. He advised him not to do so. Park Hee-soo said that he was there to make him an offer, not to compete. Kang Hyun-moo pointed out that he was the one who attacked first. He replied that he thought he would understand if he tested his skills, but he encountered strong resistance, so he asked who was in charge of all this. Kang Hyun-mo said that there was no one like that, especially since he had already said that he was alone. Park Hee-soo then asked where the crystal moss came from. Kang Hyun-mo said it was a manufacturing secret. After that, Park Hee-soo remarked that if he transferred to Taesan, he would receive many benefits, but he replied that he had decided not to conform to anyone. He added that he didn't even know if they were right for him. Park Hee-soo remarked that he spoke so easily about such nonsense. If he was going to continue talking such nonsense, he would just leave. Kang Hyun-moo thought that he was an opponent who had just lost this network. He had excellent skills as an awakened one, but he could also be clever and cunning when it came to information. Therefore, he decided that he should not give up so easily and asked why Taesung was so attractive. Because they say that they have fewer abilities, unlike the almighty Ren, who took 3rd place. And the average level of ability is lower than that of His Majesty, who took 2nd place. So Taesan and Lee Jite must be manipulating the media. But why not invest in him while he is still inexperienced? Park Hee-soo said that there are 2 main types of people who talk like him. He is either naive and knows nothing about the world, or they are losers who have fallen under the illusion that they could achieve success like Lee Ji-tae. Kang Hyun-moo asked what kind of nonsense that was. That's what someone who almost lost to him a while ago would say. So don't take out your rusty sword. Park Hee-soo attacked him and said that if he wanted to destroy him, he would have made sure he couldn't resist in the first place. Moreover, there are people in the Taesong clan who are stronger than him, and on top of that, there is Lee Jite. So would he understand if he explained it that way? Such an ability is only given from the 10th level, and it's no joke. Kang Hyun-mo asked if Lee Ji-tae was really that strong. Then he said he would show him that he was better than Lee Jite. He asked him to say to what extent he should be compared to Lee Jite, for it to be acceptable. Park Hee-soo said that Lee Ji-tae reached the 20th level in less than 6 months after becoming a hunter. This was possible thanks to him. The Taesong clan also helped him. It would take an ordinary person at least a year to achieve this. So it would be difficult for him to prove that he was better. Kang Hyun-mo asked him to give him just 2 weeks. This will force them to accept that he is better than Lee Ji-tae, and then he will work with him. Park Hee-soo said that this was a serious offer. He doesn't know where he's going to train, but he hopes it's better than Lee Ji-tae's environment. Kang Hyun-moo said that he has a really cool place with a great environment. After that, he went to hell to become stronger by defeating his enemies. There, he fought a goblin. Then he shoved his hand into the goblin's mouth and told him not to try to spit out what he was putting in his mouth, and to chew it very well. With the help of his poisonous blood, he passed the level and is now on the 15th level. Ardon, the star winner, is watching him. Seeing the notification about this, he looked back. Then he felt a sharp pain in his hand and realized that he couldn't treat his body like that. Then the fairy Lenian appeared before him and said that this was indeed the case. The fairy did not want to be near the butler because he was competing so fiercely. Kang Hyun-mo asked her where she had been all this time. She noticed his hand and asked what was wrong with it, and asked for permission to help him. He thought that if he died here, he could come back to life, so he could compete without pitying himself. Moreover, he only gets stronger, which is a great improvement compared to how many times he had been destroyed before. And now he had never lost his life. The only problem was with the monster that had been defeated by his poisonous blood. But this was not the goblin he had encountered for the first time. That goblin was unlike the others and was perhaps even stronger than most of those here. Then he saw another goblin and didn't understand when it had appeared. Then he asked Lenian where she was going to hide. He noticed that she had disappeared again without even warning him. It was the goblin he had met for the first time. He asked him why he was looking at him like that. Did he really want to pay tribute to the monsters he had destroyed? But he shouldn't waste time and hurry up. After that, they began to fight, but Kang Hyun-moo was unable to defeat the goblin. He died after spending 12 days and almost 7 hours in hell. He received a quest and must defeat the enemy on the only wooden bridge of the goblin with the black hand. This goblin cut off his own hand during their first encounter. Now he has a hook instead of a hand. He must be very angry about the death of his companions, but he must defeat him because he is just a goblin. He can catch him with a trap as usual. He has prepared a poison-soaked nail as a trap. He also needs a pit to catch him. While he was thinking, he didn't notice the goblin approaching him. He immediately destroyed him. After a while, he found himself on the 6th stage of the quest, facing the enemy on the only wooden bridge. Kang Hyun-mo asked the goblin if he had lost his mind because he had killed his people, and if he shouldn't let him rest. To be honest, he had attacked him first. The goblin attacked him, and he repelled the attack and said that it was fine, so let him attack. But after that, the goblin attacked him again and hurt him. Kang Hyun-moo thought that he was just crazy and that he couldn't compete with him. So he wondered if he should just hide after he came back to life. There is an old saying. It says that hatred breeds hatred, but forgiveness is true victory. But he could forget about this goblin and focus on improving his level. The goblin said it would be nice if he gave him such a victory. Insults should not be forgotten, and remorse should not be left behind. Those who offended him must pay for it, and if he cannot make them, he should just run away. But then he will go mad with shame. The level 20 goblin in the red hat, Kursun, once again destroyed his opponent, and noticed that this person was no longer showing up. He thought that he had finally died for good, but he was not yet sure. His ability to resurrect was the only thing he had. He was incapable of doing anything else, but he had to remain vigilant because he did not know what to expect from him. He had to make sure that he never came near them again. Another goblin told him that they were in big trouble with the other villagers. Kursun said he had warned them not to go so far. The goblin said that the villagers had been hurt. Someone had poisoned the drinking water. Therefore, he had to return immediately. They returned, and the goblin said that someone had poisoned the water they used for drinking. Now they would no longer be able to eat the animals they raised on the farm. Kursun asked who had done this. The goblin replied that there were enough monsters outside who wanted to conquer them without needing to do this. But Kursun knew who had done it. He was the only one who could have done it. But the goblin did not understand how he had found out about their village and, judging by everything, had been following him. Kursun thought that he should have locked him up somewhere instead of killing him. After that, another goblin approached him. He apologized for understanding that he was busy but asked him to take a look. The little one was still looking for him. Kursun looked at his son and his eyes filled with tears, but then he decided to go and take revenge on that boy. The goblins tried to stop him, asking what he would do with the boy who would come back to life even if he destroyed him. They should just give up their revenge, and then he would no longer bother them. So they suggested retreating and moving to a new place right away. But Kursun said no way. Another goblin asked if they were whispering, and he said yes. In that case, it was inevitable. Then they saw that a member of the reconnaissance team who had left some time ago was also poisoned. He reeks of poison, so it becomes clear to everyone who did it. Kursun said it could be a trap, so he asked them to return. He may be deliberately leaving such traces. This meant that he was trying to keep them away from the village. The goblin said that he should also go and asked what he would do when they returned. He said he would stay here and deal with him. His skills are growing faster than expected, but that's not enough to win. Kursun learned everything about him when he destroyed him again and again. His breathing, his gait, even his mannerisms. He can destroy him even with his eyes closed, so let him leave this matter to him. The goblin said he understood and asked him to take care of himself in case he came back to life. Kursun told him not to worry about him and that he would definitely return. So they took him at his word and left. He decided to find his rival. Kang Hyun-moo tried to attack him, and Kursun told him to stop thinking that he would just die peacefully. After that, Kang Hyun-moo said he would give him a chance right there and then to destroy him. Kursun asked what he meant. Was he really trying to buy time with some kind of delusion? Kang Hyun-moo suggested that he think very carefully. After all, if he really used the poison, would his tribe survive? For now, they would stop dying. But he didn't know what would happen after that. Because after he died, he would come back to life? And would he be able to stop him again? Kurson said not to touch them and just let them live. Then he threatened to cut off his hands and feet and make him suffer. Kang Hyun-moo said that even if he died, he would still come back to life, and he could be sure of that. Kurson said that threatening his family would not make him submit completely. Kang Han-moo said that he only wanted revenge. He did not want to harm his innocent family, but he could not continue to endure this humiliation, so he could not act otherwise. Kurson threw down his weapon and asked if that was really all it would take to save their lives. In that case, he didn't need to hold back. Kang Hyun-moo said that he was his only target. After that, the goblin said that he must keep his promise. If he died, he had to leave and not touch his tribe. Kang Hyun-moo said that now it made sense. He bent down to pick up the goblin's weapon, but Kurson took advantage of his distraction and struck him, then pounced on him. He asked if he really thought he could be fooled by such nonsense. He knew that someone like him would try to deceive him. So this time, his death would be even more painful than he had promised. Kang Hyun-moo called him naive and told him to destroy him. After that, they continued their battle. Kang Hyun-moo grabbed the goblin and then struck him. He said that, to be honest, that was enough for him. After all, he had given him a chance. Kurson said that those were his arrogant words again. Then he attacked him and didn't understand what was happening. It was obvious that he was hurting himself, but how could he recover so quickly? Kurson thought that he must have a skill that he didn't know about. Kang Hyun-moo attacked him, and Kurson didn't understand when he had become so strong. Kang Hyun-moo asked if he was starting to feel strange, not understanding what had happened, since he had died so many times in a row. Isn't it easy to get confused when you think only about that? There's nothing special about it, and now he looks careless. Until now, he had never been in a battle where he was destroyed with a single blow, so he misunderstood. He can destroy him whenever he wants, but this oversight became his downfall. Kurson said no, then noted that a man should not doubt himself because he would do everything as usual. Now he will deal with him as he did before. Then he tried to attack him, but Kang Hyun-moo struck him first. He said that this time it would not be so, and that it seemed he was very late, so now he should hope for the best. Because he's not going to act like someone who isn't careful, Kurson asked him to wait a little and said he was confused. He apologized to him for destroying him and asked him to stop and listen. The other goblins would not survive here without him. If he dies, everyone else will die too. He doesn't want that for his family either. Kang Hyun-moo laughed. Then he asked him again if everyone would really die if he destroyed him. Kurson replied that they would all wander around and eventually die. Kang Hyun-moo said that in that case, if he destroyed him, he would pass on his experience to them. After that, he destroyed the goblin. Now he truly understood everything. For defeating the goblin in the red hat, the quest was complete. As a reward, he received a golden chest. Kang Hyun-moo was surprised that he had risen 3 levels for the destruction. There were 21 days left until the next quest. He realized that revenge gave more experience. Then he received a notification that the Star Gull was watching him with concern. Then Lenian appeared before him and asked if the battle was over. Kang Hyun-moo said that he had finished examining him, so she could eat him. He wanted to understand what gave him so much strength. His physical strength was too great to rely solely on weapons. Surely there was something that set him apart from other goblins. Then he saw some marks on his hand. He decided to examine it, but in an instant, something strange began to happen. Kang Hyun-moo received a notification that the Star Gull, who was worried, was guiding his hand. All the symbols on the goblin's hand began to gather in a circle. Kang Hyun-moo thought that this was probably not the end, and asked what was happening. After that, he received a notification that part of the Star of Destruction had entered him, and he had gained the legendary skill family. Kang Hyun-moo returned to the real world and came to Yumin to talk to her, so he woke her up. Then he asked her why she was so surprised and if she hadn't heard him come in. She asked if he had eaten yet. After that, she got up and asked him to wait a little because there was nothing to eat at home. He wanted to talk to her. Yumin said she would quickly go to the store, but he took her by the hand and asked her to wait because he wanted to talk about something. Then he wondered if he should tell her the truth. Yumin said that Park Hee-soo had come 2 days ago. He asked if anything special had happened with him and she replied that he had gone somewhere. But why did he ask about him? It was unlikely to be related to the crystal moss. If he was interested in what had happened while he was away, the more she thought about it, the less she understood. Yumin asked what he was doing and what he was hiding from her. Kang Hyun-moo asked her to calm down and just listen to him. She said that if he got her involved in something, he should take responsibility for it, and that it wasn't her concern. So let him tell her why she was always waiting. What was going on and why did he disappear so suddenly and then reappear just as suddenly? He never told her anything, and it was uncomfortable. Kang Hyun-moo grabbed her and told her to calm down and promised to explain everything. Of course, he could understand her reaction because she was also involved. And when something strange happened, she didn't pay attention, so it's no wonder she's so upset. Especially since he always got help from her. Every time he needed it. He doesn't know what he would do without her. If he continues to keep these secrets, something might happen to her in the future. In that case, he would be left alone, and if that really happened, it would be bad. Then he would definitely go crazy. So he decided to tell her everything after all. Kang Hyun-moo asked if he remembered the bonfire he had shown her. Yumin asked if it led to a dungeon that looked like hell. He said that it was true and that was why he disappeared so often and couldn't know how long he would be gone. Yumin asked what would happen if he couldn't come back one day. Kang Hyun-moo replied that that was why he told her about it. No matter how long he is gone, he will return in any case and asks her to be his beacon. Yumin agreed but said that she probably didn't want to be just a beacon, so he should tell her if he needed her. And then she would save him. Kang Hyun-moo said he needed to leave because he hadn't washed in 100 years. Yumin said that she hadn't showered today either and suggested that they take a bath together. Such an unexpected proposal surprised him. The next day, he remembered that he had missed his meeting with Park Hee-soo, so he had to hurry. While thinking about how to contact him, he remembered the worst. Kang Hyun-mo came to meet Park Hee-soo and offered him a ride. Then he said that he knew that 2 weeks ago he was at level 7. He asked if he had managed to rise 13 levels in that time. Kang Hyun-mo said he had been a little delayed because he had some problems. Park Hee-soo said that he found that hard to believe. Then he apologized and said that they couldn't verify it. Kang Hyun-mo asked what about their business. Park Hee-soo asked if he had given his consent. Since all the problems were caused by his return, they would not ask him to join their organization. And the price of moss would increase by 15%. Kang Hyun-mo said that if they did that, he would want double the payment. Park Hee-soo asked why he was starting again and what the reason was this time. Kang Hyun-mo said that if they broke the agreement, he would need more, especially since he had already done so much for them. Park Hee-soo said that he was talking too much, and that despite all his efforts, nothing had changed. Kang Hyun-mo asked if he really thinks his anger will solve all the problems. Then he asked if he knows what a monopoly is. After that, he took out the crystal moss and said that he knew how valuable it was. No one else but him could obtain it anywhere else, so he had a monopoly on it. Let him just imagine what would happen if he continued to treat him so coldly. Park Hee-soo said that this was too much. He had already set the price compared to the highest grade crystal moss from the 5-star dungeons, and he even added 15%. Even if it's rare, he can't set such a high price. Kang Hyun-moo said that in that case, he has no choice. He hid the crystal and said that instead he would give him something interesting. Kang Hyun-mo gave him something and told him to open his hand and look. There was nothing special about it, but let it be a pledge. Park Hee-soo decided to take a look at it. He opened his hand and saw that it was Urhast's ring, which doubles all the senses of its owner when worn. Park Hee-soo asked if it was a legendary item. Kang Hyun-mo said that it was and that he knew that someone like him would understand it right away. It could double the owner's senses, and he was willing to bet that even Lee Jite himself could not give him anything similar. So he asked if he understood now. It was much more useful than Lee Jite. So let him keep this item with him until he realizes that it is better. Park Hee-soo has no doubt that the ring is real and that it is definitely a legendary item. Even when compared to the gloves he had seen before, Park Hee-soo said that if you look closely at the shape, there is another ring connected to it. He asked if he had the second ring. Kang Hyun-mo said that was unlikely, and noted that he had only found this one. Park Hee-soo said that they would have to find it someday. Kang Hyun-mo said that if he was satisfied, they should continue their conversation. He said he would pay him double as he had wanted, but because of the quantity, it would not be easy for Yumin. So let him inform him and make sure that the tax collectors don't find anything. Kang Hyun-moo thinks that he is experienced and will do everything he asks. But he won't just leave it at that. He has Elhart's obedience item. He is tracking the owner of Urhast's faith. He also reduces the abilities he has gained by 50%. Park Hee-soo asked if he needed anything else, and he asked what this machine was called. After that, Kang Hyun-mo called Yumi. She replied that she was a little busy because she was at school, but he asked her to come out. She doesn't understand why he's asking her to come out when she's so busy, but she goes out anyway. She saw him standing next to a cool car. Kang Hyun-moo asked her when she was going home. A large crowd had gathered around the car. Everyone was wondering who he was and if she was his girlfriend. Yumin asked him where he got it, and he said he borrowed it from Park Hee-soo. Then he asked if they could go on a date on the way. Yumin asked if he had driven there himself. Kang Hyun-mo replied that he had and that it wasn't difficult, but he wouldn't mind learning a little. Yumin asked if he had lost his mind because he didn't have a driver's license, so she got behind the wheel. Kang Hyun-mo didn't imagine their date like this and was even a little scared because she was angry with him. Park Hee-soo trained Kang Hyun-mo and told him that the clan was not just a gathering of awakened people. It was a place where hunters trained and prepared for battle. Advertising, housing, clothing, training, bonuses, medicine, transportation, accounting, work, and so on. Every hunter gets everything they want. It's like a small company, and for them, Taesung has the best conditions. You can lose a lot by not joining, and not just money or fame. Kang Hyun-mo said that even so, he would not join. After that, Park Hee-soo struck him in return, and then he said that his reaction had improved. He really wanted to see him regenerate, so it's a shame that didn't happen. Kang Hyun-mo said that his ribs must have been hurt after that, and asked if he had thought about how long he had lasted without any skills. Park Hee-soo said that to find out, he needed to train a little more. He asked where else he could go if not to Taesun. Was he really going to join the luxurious Twilight world? Kang Hyun-moo said that it was too unclear there. Park Hee-soo said that it was true. The only thing known was the name of their leader. If you look at the organization that ranks third among the awakened, can it be called omnipotent? Kang Hyun-moo said that he had thought about them, but had heard that they were too inconspicuous and accepted almost everyone. But some people find their friendliness unpleasant. Then he decided to strike Park Hee-soo and thought that this was his chance. But he caught him, injured his hand, and said that it wasn't bad. And then he said that he was curious to know if it could be healed by putting his arm back in place. Kang Hyun-moo thinks he is an unpleasant old man. Park Hee-soo said that it must have been the same last time. Kang Hyun-mo asked if he was satisfied now. He replied that, to be honest, he was impressed with his progress over the past 2 weeks. In that case, their check was complete, so now he should say why he called him. Kang Hyun-mo said it was to return the car because it was wrong. Then he asked if he had heard anything about the stars. Park Hee-so asked if he meant the awakened ones. He replied that that was not what he meant. He was interested in whether he knew, for example, about the Apocalypse Star, the Crying Star, and the Fragmentary Star. He heard about it from the best rankers, including Lee Jite. Then he asked if it was something only the chosen ones knew about. Kang Hyun-mo replied that he didn't know for sure. Park Hee-so said that the best ranker from China, Xiao Ji, had told him about a group called the Five-Star Association. It was she who created the dungeon, and the Association of the Awakened Crusade uses the Star of Bethlehem as its symbol, but there is probably much more to it. Kang Hyun-mo said that he knew nothing about the 5 stars or the Star of Bethlehem and that he had to find out. Park Hee-so said that there was something important. He asked if he wanted to go down to the dungeon, calling him son. Kang Hyun-mo asked why so suddenly. Park Hee-so said that if he was not going to work for someone else and set a goal to achieve the same success as Lee Ji-tae, he had to attract people. It certainly wouldn't hurt because he needs to socialize. He doesn't know in which dungeon he is practicing. Moreover, he still has no official confirmation of his origin from the dungeon. Therefore, it is difficult to find any information about him. If everything remains the same, he will look like an inexperienced hunter in the eyes of others. Kang Hyun-mo asked what he wanted from him. Park Hee-so replied that he had to go to the dungeon. Even geniuses need to know the basics. But he promised to help him with this and would tell him a little later where exactly to go. So let him wait for this news from him. After a while, Kang Hyun-mo arrived at the dungeon and wondered why he had decided to come here in the first place. This was a 1-star above-ground dungeon called Cheonggae. It was located on Cheonggae Mountain. In this dungeon, newly selected hunters can test their abilities. In addition, many people gather here, just to admire the scenery. After that, the girl addressed all the registered awakened ones. She asked them all to gather around her and counted them. There were 4 of them, and with Kang Hyun-mo, there were 5. The girl introduced herself and said that she was a guardian from the luxurious Twilight clan. Her name was No Na-il, and she was pleased to meet them. Now she would explain everything. The awakened ones smelled alcohol on her. No Na-il said she would tell them why they had been assigned a caretaker. There are many who are arrogant and who come and immediately start fighting with others. Because of this, there have been many incidents. To prevent this from happening, they need to be watched in the dungeon. Therefore, a mid-rank hunter from each clan will accompany them. No Nail explained everything and said that now they understood. They just need to not fight each other, and everything will be fine. Now she has to tell them something about the dungeon. Surely everyone knows that the more stars a dungeon has, 1 or 2 and so on, the better it is. There are static dungeons and there are those that change. In dungeons that change, the territory is constantly changing. This unpredictability makes the dungeon much more difficult to navigate. Unchanging dungeons, on the other hand, are always the same. Therefore, they are much easier to pass through. Moreover, they have static 1-star dungeons, and it is difficult to come up with anything simpler. But even here, anything can happen. And if something does, she will help, so they shouldn't worry. You can do whatever you want with monsters. After that, Nonail got bored. She apologized to all the awakened ones. And then she said that she had had a little too much to drink yesterday. Kang Hyun-mo didn't like that. No Na-il asked all the awakened ones to introduce themselves, starting from the left. The boy said his name was Park So-moon and he had 2 stars. Kang Hyun-moo was surprised by the information about the 2 stars. The girls' names were Han Nagan and Kim So-yeon. They each had 1 star. The next member of the team was Kim Soo-hwan. He also had 1 star. Kang Hyun-mo thought that there were 5 people in the group, 2 girls and 3 boys. No Na-il asked Kang Hyun-mo to introduce himself. He said his name and that he had 1 star. After he answered, she approached him and looked at him for a long time. Then she asked his name again and asked if he was from Song Elementary School. He replied that he didn't, and she asked if he was from Shinhyun Middle School or perhaps Seoul University. Kang Hyun-mo replied that he wasn't. She couldn't remember where he was from, probably because of her hangover. But then she said it didn't matter and asked if he had his equipment. Kang Hyun-mo replied that he had and took a stick out of his inventory. But Niall said that it was a rather unusual ability. Still, she was confused that his weapon was a stick. Kang Hyun-mo replied that despite its appearance, it was special. It was a goblin's bat and an item that could drop after a monster's death. Park Seo-moon asked if he was mocking him. What kind of children's toys are these, and does he really think a stick is funny? How does he even plan to destroy monsters with it? Then he took his bag off his shoulders and showed him his weapons. He believed that at least that many weapons were needed for battle, so let him look at everything. He said that he needed to buy real weapons, not junk. Even someone with 2 stars knew that. After that, Park So-moon tried to attack him, but No Nail immediately stopped him and knocked him down. Then she took his weapon and asked if he had lost his mind. It is forbidden to show weapons outside the dungeon. It could scare the locals. Sure, he's a newbie, but does he really need to be taught that? Park So-moon apologized to her. She gave him her hand to help him up and asked him to keep his nerves in check. Then she said it was time to go. Kang Hyun-mo thought of her as a mid-ranking hunter from a large clan. Of course, she was no match for Park Hee-so, but she wasn't bad either. It would be a great idea to put her to the test. Kang Hyun-moo pondered this and noticed that behind him, the goblin Kurson had climbed out of the mud and was watching him. After that, the whole team went into a 1-star dungeon. Upon entering, Nona Il said a warm welcome. What they needed to find was inside, but it was no ordinary jungle. The further they go, the more goblins they will encounter on their way. She asked if anyone present was familiar with the dungeons. Pak Soman raised his hand and said that they needed to find a fire pit. No Na-il said that was correct. When they reach the goblins, they will see a cave. They need to find a fire there, and that is the first condition. A fire is a stone that allows you to leave the dungeon after passing through it. Kang Hyun-moo thought that it was just like hell here. No Na-il said that there was a reward for each condition, but they were beginners and should stick to one. Until things get really bad, she won't help, but she will watch from the sidelines. So now they can begin. Park Someone immediately took command and called everyone together. He suggested that they start by dividing up the tasks. Goblins have a keen sense of smell, so they need to cover their scent with grass. They could also be attacked by snakes, so they should protect their heads. Kang Hyun-moo said that it looked strange and asked why they were doing all this. Park Samoon asked what was strange about it. He learned these methods from a famous hunter's YouTube channel. He doesn't even have any equipment, so he should just listen. No Na-il tried to stop their argument. Then she asked Kang Hyun-moo to stop going against everyone and work with the team. He should also explain what he found strange. Kang Hyun-mo asked why they needed grass, especially since goblins have a good sense of smell. As if they couldn't tell the difference between fresh grass and dry grass, there was no need to worry. In that case, you should worry about your ankles. After all, what kind of goblin would attack from above in such a dense forest? Park Samoon asked if he considered himself the smartest and then lunged at him, but Na-il stopped him and struck him. Then she said that in her opinion, Park Samoon's words were correct, but only 10 years ago. The streamer Park Soman was talking about is now going through a 3-star dungeon, and he hasn't been in a 1-star dungeon for a long time. Therefore, such tricks no longer work. The more you encounter monsters, the better you can understand them. But Kang Hyun-moo's words are understandable. It seems like he knows something, but Na-il asked how you can gain experience with such knowledge without practice. It's as if he has already encountered many goblins on his way. Kang Hyun-mo said that he just learned it. This is his first dungeon. So where did he meet them? Moreover, it's illegal. Park Seo-moon said that it seemed like he had looked it all up on the internet. After that, a goblin unexpectedly crept up on them. Kang Hyun-mo noticed it and immediately knocked it away with his knee. Then he asked everyone what was wrong with his stick. The team members wondered why he hadn't even used it just now. But Na-il said that if he continued in the same vein, nothing good would come of it. Goblins began to appear, so they had to end their arguments. Now they had to continue through the dungeon. The whole team successfully defeated many goblins. No Na-il just watched them all work. After that, Park Someone suggested taking a break. No Na-il noticed that they weren't confused and had done well. If they continue like this, they will quickly finish clearing the dungeon without any trouble. Still, the atmosphere in the dungeon was a little strange. Before the battle, the goblins looked scared. They wouldn't be afraid of a bunch of novice hunters. Something was definitely bothering them. She decided to check it out herself after they finished. Then the hunter saw something and called out to No Na-il, asking if this was supposed to be the case. They found a pile of destroyed goblins. One of them was chained to a tree, but they came from the other side. No Na-il declared an emergency. So she told them to come back as soon as they got the fire and to stay close to her for now. Not only had they been destroyed, but they had also been mocked. This doesn't happen in a 1-star dungeon. She doesn't know who could have done this. Maybe a human or maybe something worse. In any case, it's dangerous. Not only for the goblins, but they also need to leave quickly to prevent injuries. But Na-il noticed that Kang Hyun-moo was not with them and asked where he had gone. Then she went to look for him. The goblin noticed her and watched her. She continued to search for Kang Hyun-moo. An hour ago, the team was successfully defeating the goblins. Kang Hyun-mo noticed that this place was not like hell at all. The weapons were poor quality and there was no strategy. The guard was very calm, so he decided to leave and clear his head. In an instant, he disappeared and quickly reached another place in the dungeon and used his family member skill. Kurson appeared before him and Kang Hyun-mo told him to prepare for his first task. He had acquired this skill after defeating Kurson. Thanks to the family member skill, he can summon and resurrect a body that has recently died. But that's not all. He can also resurrect them in the real world. Kang Hyun-moo gave Kurson the task of destroying all the monsters here. Kurson asked which ones, and he said goblins. Kurson was angry that he was asking him to destroy his own kind. Kang Hyun-moo said that if he refused, he might have to raze his entire tribe to the ground. So he told him to agree and start carrying out the task of destroying them all. Kang Hyun-moo felt some strange feelings. It must be because of Kurson. It seems that they are connected by their skills and can sense each other. What he felt was a vile and unpleasant feeling, but it seemed that Kurson denied it. Kurson approached the goblin and said, "Is that really a goblin? It can't speak and doesn't even have a weapon. It's just a creature in some dirty rags. Could they both be goblins? So don't make him laugh because it's not a goblin." After that, Kurson destroyed the goblin, and Kang Hyun-moo understood what that feeling was. It was hatred for his own kind. He didn't want to believe that someone like him could be so worthless. The other goblins saw Kurson and were very frightened. He immediately attacked them, called them vile, and said that they were finished. Kurson began to mercilessly destroy everyone in his path, and Kang Hyun-mo said that it was wonderful and that he would return soon. No. Na-il searched for him with the others and thought that he must have died. Then she remembered that you can't scream for so long in the forest. Kang Hyun-mo came out of the bushes and said he had found her. No Na-il called him crazy and asked if he had completely lost his mind. Who allowed him to act on his own initiative? Kang Hyun-mo said he needed to use the restroom. Then she calmed down and asked if he was hurt. Kang Hyun-mo replied that he wasn't and asked what had happened, because everyone looked tired. No Na-il said that he would explain everything later and that he should follow them for now. They would return as soon as they found the fire. Park Sam-soon noticed something and asked if there was a fire pit there. No, Na-il said that they had found it and that they could return now. Then Park Seo-mun immediately ran to the fire. No Nail wanted to stop him and said it was dangerous and asked what he was doing. He wants to get out of there as quickly as possible, and judging by her reaction, everything becomes clear. That's why he doesn't want to stay there. He said that they needed to get out of there as quickly as possible, but then Kurson grabbed his leg with his hook and knocked him down. Park Seo-mun was frightened, not understanding what was going on. No Na-il immediately ran to protect him and struck the goblin. No Na-il is a middle-class hunter from the luxurious Twilight clan, one of the 3 strongest clans in the Republic of Korea. Kang Hyun-moo was curious to see what she had against the goblin, so he decided to watch their battle. The family member skill allows the user to control those who have succumbed to its effects. However, there is one drawback. If the target's level is higher than the user's, control will be limited, but Kang Hyun-moo fixed that. If Kang Hyun-mo dies, Kurson will also die, and if Kurson dies, his entire tribe will die with him. The disappointment that followed led to something terrible. Perhaps it was not just disgust for his own kind, but pain that was bursting out. And it's even comforting because these newbies can't even move. But that girl, Nona-il, is much more important. Kang Hyun-moo wondered if a mid-ranking member of the luxurious Twilight clan could defeat Kurson, who was at level 26. Kurson heard her and then rushed to the other hunters. No Nail tried to stop him but was wounded again. Kang Hyun-moo thought that if she couldn't defeat him, he would be disappointed. No Nail doesn't understand what's going on. Why did something so powerful appear in a 1-star dungeon? His equipment is better than most hunters. Besides, he is very cunning. Nona-il thinks it's too much to be wounded by a goblin. It's impossible. So she decided to use her acceleration skill, and everyone noticed that she had disappeared. Kang Hyun-mo mentally addressed Kurson. He told him to deal with her quickly. No Na-il unexpectedly sneaked up behind Kurson and struck him. Kang Hyun-mo felt the same pain as him. Nona-il used her acceleration skill again. For a short time, this skill allows the user to move twice as fast. If she hesitates, others may get hurt. Therefore, she had to act quickly. She decided to deliver the final blow and end it. But Kurson used smoke bombs. Nona-il wondered if it was really a goblin. Then she heard someone behind her say not to move. Turning around, she saw that the goblin had captured Park Seo-mun. The goblin said that if she moved, he would be dead. No-nail was surprised that he had taken a hostage, but she was even more surprised that he could talk. Kurson told her to drop her weapon. She couldn't understand how this was possible. It was impossible. And things like that didn't just happen. She couldn't believe that he could talk. So she decided to assess the situation first and think about what to do. First, she had to ensure her safety or call for help. If she let him go, they could get caught, and that would be even worse. So she decided she had to act and then apologized. She said it wasn't necessary. Park Seo-mun asked what she meant. Kang Hyun-moo said she couldn't do that. A senior officer cannot let his subordinate die just like that, so he decided to intervene and threw a stone at them. Kaisen dodged the attack along with Park Seo-mun. Kang Hyun-moo said that the stick had increased his strength, even to the point that he was able to pierce a tree with a stone. But Niall asked him if he had lost his mind. This is not a situation where one can act recklessly, so it's better not to meddle and just stand quietly. At first, he stood behind her, but then she saw that he was suddenly in front of her. Kang Hyun-mo asked her if she didn't like it, but she didn't understand anything. Kang Hyun-moo was even more disappointed in her than he had expected. After all, she was trying so hard. Even though her opponent was not very skilled, she was still a professional. He did not think they were that weak. If No Nail ended up in hell with Kurson, she would die immediately. Kang Hyun-mo turned to Kurson in his mind and asked if he had given permission to destroy people. The way he attacked No Nail and was about to destroy the hostage shows that he still does not obey him properly. At this rate, he could destroy someone. Kang Hyun-moo asked No Nail's caretaker if she would take responsibility with her life if Park Seo-mun died. He does not condemn her, but it would be worse if she also lost to the goblin. Isn't it too inhuman to sacrifice a human being? Kang Hyun-moo also couldn't do anything, and if they left, they wouldn't achieve anything, and he didn't want to just waste his time. He picked up a stone and said that now the reason was clear. Therefore, they should move forward. Kang Hyun-mo threw the stone and deflected it with his stick. The stone flew straight at Kurson. After that, No Na-il immediately attacked him, realizing that every mistake could cost lives and that no casualties could be allowed. Therefore, she decided that she had to do everything herself. But Kang Hyun-moo stopped her and went on the attack himself. He began fighting the goblin and then warned him mentally that danger was behind him. No Nail decided to attack him unexpectedly, but Kurson managed to react and struck her. After that, Kang Hyun-mo also attacked him and mentally said that it was better than getting stabbed in the back. Kurson continued to fight No Nail and noticed that Park Seo-mun was nearby, so he decided to take advantage of him. He lifted him up and threw him straight at her. No Nail couldn't hold on and fell with him. Then Kurson approached her. Kang Hyun-moo realized that he was in trouble again and that in order to avoid it, he needed to find the right moment to leave, so he decided to mentally appeal to him. He said that was enough and that he should leave now. Kurson used a smoke bomb. No Nail didn't understand what was happening. Then she saw that the goblin had disappeared and became angry. Kang Hyun-mo thought about how this was his first trip to the dungeon. But hardly anyone would believe what had happened here, and yet it was over, and he hoped that would be enough. No Nail got up and decided to check everything, then said that there were traces of blood and she would follow him. Kang Hyun-mo and the others should leave quickly. Kang Hyun-mo realized that he had to do something to prevent them from meeting. He wanted to stop her, but she didn't listen to him and quickly ran after him. After that, they all returned from the dungeon. No Na-il asked if none of the tasks had been completed. The man replied that they had, but it didn't seem like the dungeon had changed. It was just as static, and all the hunters who had entered at the same time as her had not noticed any changes. He wanted to help her and the hunters, but there was nothing he could do. No Na-il decided to just be glad that everyone had escaped without serious injury. After the conversation, No Na-il decided to take a walk and immerse herself in her thoughts. But unexpectedly, Kang Hyun-moo crept up on her. He greeted her and she was startled by his sudden appearance. Kang Hyun-mo asked if she was okay because she didn't look well. No Na-il asked him why he had appeared so unexpectedly and what he wanted. He replied that it was nothing special and that he was just curious about how their battle had gone. She took out the goblin's hat and said she had found him, but he didn't look like someone had dealt with him. Probably the other goblins noticed that he was wounded and attacked him when they had the chance. She took the hat as evidence, because this needed to be investigated further, and besides, she had completely forgotten to thank him. But Na-il held out his hand to him and praised him for his excellent work. Because of her, one of them almost died. But thanks to him, he was alive, so she had to thank him for that. Kang Hyun-moo said that it was no big deal, but he wanted to know more. He was curious if he could go to a 2-star dungeon with his skills. No Na-il wondered where that goblin came from. It is quite possible that he belongs to the 3-star dungeon, so she can tell him about his abilities. No Na-il said that, to be honest. His abilities surprised her, and that he was like a hunter who had returned after a break. Kang Hyun-mo said that wasn't the case, and she asked if he had gone to a 1-star dungeon because of his rank restriction. He replied that it was true. After that, she asked which clan he belonged to. Kang Hyun-mo asked if she wanted to know something about him. No, Na-il said no way and apologized for it sounding weird, but that's not what she meant. It was important to her that a person with such skills had decided to go to a 1-star dungeon, and with a guardian at that. And it didn't seem like he had worked in a team before, so she suggested that he visit their clan, Luxurious Twilight, sometime. But Na-il is sure that he will look for a clan and she can vouch for his skills. Moreover, he could be a great team member, and he will definitely be promoted. She said that if he belongs to a clan, he can apply to go through more difficult dungeons. And they would actively promote someone like him. Kang Hyun-moo said that it would probably be better for him to think about it some more. She said he would need help to pass the difficult dungeons. He replied that everything had been fine until today. Moreover, he didn't like sharing awards and achievements, so maybe they could work things out just the two of them. As for the promotion, he was waiting for a good recommendation. After that, the employee went to the office of the head of the research team. He entered the office and she said that if he wasn't the right person, he should just leave and ask if something important had happened. The man said that there was something very strange going on. They still couldn't determine his rank. The head of the investigation team threw coffee at him. She said she had asked her not to bother with such trifles as determining rank. He said that maybe 5 stars would appear. It wouldn't take her long to check. The head of the investigation team asked if she was sure it wasn't a mistake. The subordinate replied that everything was working properly and they had checked. They also checked for drugs and interviewed the caretaker. They checked absolutely everything. The head of the investigation team said that if it really was 5 stars, she would say it was interesting. And if there were 6, she would have shouted. And if there were 7, she would have told him to keep quiet and check everything again. But this time she doesn't know how to react at all. After that, another subordinate who had received the results entered the office. He asks her to look at the documents that came from the Gangnam Ability Center. They checked everything 3 times, but the result is the same. It's about Kana Hyun-mo again. Then another man came in and called her boss, Do Won-kyung. The luxurious Twilight clan had just called them. They said that if they were given the results before the official arrival, they would pay $1 million in cash. Do Won-gun asked for the name, and the subordinate said it was Kang Hyun-moo. She told him to ignore the offer. He asked why. After all, they were being offered a whole $1 million. She threw the documents at him and said that it wasn't worth a measly $1 million. Then she ordered him to find out everything about Kang Hyun-mo, his blood type, place of birth, where he lives, and everything else, and not to let anyone else find out. A subordinate asked what to do with the official report. She said to leave everything until they found this person. Now let them get to work. She sent everyone to do their jobs and wondered who this Kang Hyun-mo was. In addition to classification levels, there are other ranks among the awakened. There is a higher level for each one. 4 stars is 50 levels, 3 stars is 40 levels, 2 stars are 30 levels, and 1 star is 20 levels. If the level of a certain rank reaches this value, it is impossible to rise above this level. There have been cases where, due to the actions of mana, the ability level has risen from 0 stars to 1 star. However, there have been almost no incidents of rank increases. Recently, Kang Hyun-mo reached the 20th level and became interested in how to raise his rank. Then he listened to Yumin. She decided to help him and had an idea. Kang Hyun-mo asked if it was really possible to find out this way. Yumin decided to conduct an experiment using his blood and said that it would definitely work. The Awakened Management Department is conducting level assessments due to budget issues, but more information can be found in their laboratory. She is an intern and has not even defended her doctoral thesis yet, but she is still considered a talented lab assistant in the field of mana. This field dealt with the awakening of gifted people. To this end, experiments were conducted to increase ranks. But in any case, it's still just a blood test. Yumin asked if there was any standard for activating poisonous blood. She was also interested in whether there were enough test tubes for analysis. But in her opinion, there should be enough, and she would be able to find out a little later. After that, Yumin gave him the documents and he asked what they were. She said that these documents were related to rank promotion. If you are exposed to highly concentrated mana for a long time, it means that there is a high probability of promotion. Perhaps he already knows its composition. Kang Hyun-mo said he knew one way to prolong the effects of mana and then went to hell. This method remains to be found only here. There are 9 days and almost 5 hours left before the start of the next quest, and he must enter the Ring Star. This is usually how long he stays here. That's how long he's spent here, and it would be better if he stayed in hell and spent this time wisely. He needs to continue growing. And in order not to waste time, he decided to try out his assembly skill. Kang Hyun-moo said that this was incredible because with this skill, he could create a legendary weapon. He created a bloody legendary dagger and received a notification that the hungry star Yogolem was watching him. Kang Hyun-moo was delighted that it really worked. The crystal is a rare item that can be obtained with the decomposition skill. It is made of the strongest material possible. By combining rare items, you can obtain legendary class items. Lenian said that, in a word, it was an incredible material made of crystal moss. It could also be useful in other ways. Rumor has it that if you put it under your head, it improves blood circulation and purifies energy. Kang Hyun-moo said he needed more. He then ordered Kurson to bring half of his rare equipment. Kurson asked what that meant. Kang Hyun-mo told him not to worry because he would not forget about him either. The hungry star Yogolem continued to follow him. 9 days had passed since he arrived in hell. He decided to use the legendary item for his left hand, Oset, and the bloody legendary dagger. Everything here was very old, so it would be perfect for a hideout. And if he repaired everything, it would be quite nice. So he decided to destroy the wall. At first he was bothered by the fact that the glove was only for his left hand, but he quickly got used to it. Over the past 9 days, he did everything to make sure he created artifacts because he couldn't increase his level. So he started by strengthening his skills and endured the pain of his body melting in acid. Now the acid has been added to his poisonous blood. Unfortunately, he is still disoriented in hell, so he asked Kurson to draw a map of everything around him. He thought that would be enough, but decided he shouldn't stop there. Kang Hyun-mo constantly received notifications that the hungry star Yogolem was watching him. After that, he received a notification that a quest had been found. The quest began at the bottom of the pyramid. He has followers and must try to survive for 48 hours. 48 hours of pursuit await him. As in the first quest, if he dies, everything starts over. He received a notification that the hungry star Yogolem is following him and wants to give him a test. Accepting the test increases the reward and difficulty. Kang Hyun-moo is surprised that the difficulty can be higher than that offered in hell, and he is intrigued by the reward for completing it. For the last few days, he had been looking for other ways to increase his rank and couldn't find any clues related to this. Therefore, he decided to accept the challenge, hoping that it would help him increase his rank. Other stars also began to watch him. He does not understand why the stars Vertigal Monstral, Arden August, and Ergunen suddenly began to watch him, and does not know what is going on at all. A quest was found for him at the bottom of the bowl, and it has already begun. He is being pursued by Yogol's followers. He must survive for 48 hours. A curse was also cast on him, and he saw the word delicious on the screen, and did not understand what it meant. Then he asked if that word meant his body. Then he noticed that something was happening to Kurson and Lenian. He said that this was madness and asked them not to touch him. Lenian remarked that the butler had been delicious and was now pretending that this was not the case. Kang Hyun-mo jumped away from them and asked if she knew anything about his poisonous blood. She replied that she did and that it tasted like spices. They can only be tasted in the banquet hall of Yogolem. They say that he awakens an incredible appetite in those around him. Its taste and smell are also incredible, and instead, if you eat the object of the curse, you can become addicted to it. After that, you can become a zombie who is constantly searching for that taste. She assured me that she was fine, because she is a fairy who promised to stop. Many hungry stars do this, and these hellish zombies do nothing but eat and eat. Kang Hyun-mo noticed Kurson, who seemed hypnotized and was drooling on him. So he hit him. Kurson said he didn't think it was strange. Kang Hyun-mo told him to spit it out or wipe it off. Then he said that besides this strange curse, being trapped meant that everyone would chase after him. Kang Hyun-mo said he wondered where all those people were, and then he saw someone trying to get to them. A swarm of mosquitoes flew toward them and bit Kang Hyun-moo, but in a moment they began to fall and die. He began to crush them with his foot and said that they were just mosquitoes. Then he said that it was a little strange and that it was time for them to move on. Perhaps it would have been too unexpected then. Mosquitoes are the main group among Yogolem's followers. Lenian said that Yogolem was the most skilled at tracking. Kang Hyun-mo asked if that was really true, and she said that mosquitoes move very quickly. Therefore, everyone else would seem almost invisible. In a word, a mosquito would find him. Kang Hyun-moo went outside and saw feathers falling from the sky, and realized that everyone was coming. All of Yogolem's followers in the vicinity would come here. Then he saw pigeons sitting on the roof of the building and on the wires. He asked if they were followers and then said that Yogolem had unusual taste. After that, the pigeons attacked him. Mosquitoes also joined them, and Kang Hyun-moo began to run away from them. He asked Kurson when he would deal with all this. Then he asked if there was a place for him in his village. He said that the birth rate had recently increased. Kang Hyun-mo replied that he didn't really want to. Then he thought that they had prepared well for this test. But he was confused as to why mosquitoes and pigeons were under such a strange curse. He knew that the star Yogol had been watching him all these days. This quest was designed with the intention of thoroughly testing him. They reached the cliff and tried to jump over it. Kang Hyun-mo asked for at least someone who could fight properly. As he jumped, he saw some creatures waiting for him below. He landed and was glad that he had worthy opponents and said that he should have brought these guys to him earlier. Then he said that he was very pleased to meet them and immediately went on the attack. But these monsters were stronger than him. The monster immediately grabbed him. Kang Hyun-mo realized that he was in trouble. After that, the monster destroyed him and he died. His total lifespan was 2 days, 1 hour, 16 minutes, and 15 seconds. Every time he returned, he died in the same place. He could not defeat these followers of Yeogalem. This repeated itself over and over again. So he decided that the only way out was to stop it all. The hungry star Yeogal watched him and told him to stop. Enough of following him. He decided that he just needed to run away. After his last death, it all started again. There were 47 hours and almost 40 minutes left until the end of the quest. The hungry star Yeogalem continued to watch. Kang Hyun-moo said that he had planned this from the beginning, and that it would be interesting because he had left him no choice but to play hide and seek. Why didn't they just fry him right away or steam him? That would have made him easier to eat. Kang Hyun-mo wondered where Kurson would run to in such a situation, but now he would only get in the way standing nearby, but he himself could not do anything and did not know what to do in such a situation. Then he thought he heard a voice telling him to go to the right alley, so he decided to listen and ran to the right. Then he asked why and why exactly the right alley and wondered why he hadn't thought of that. The voice told him that it was his idea. He asked what the sounds were and if he was talking to himself. The voice said that he was and that he should now turn right into the next alley. Kang Hyun-moo thought that he had completely lost his mind from losing his life too many times. Then the voice said that it was saying this so that he wouldn't go crazy and would do everything right. But that many people thought that way. Kang Hyun-moo didn't understand what was happening to him and said that he had no choice, especially since it wasn't the first time he had died. Then he asked if some kind of spirit had entered him, and the voice told him that he was not a spirit. Kang Hyun-mo ran out of the alley and turned right and saw the monsters running after him crash into a wall. He said that was great, so now they could continue. Kang Hyun-mo ran on and saw someone else terrifying on his way. Then he asked what it was and what he would have to face this time. A huge spider stood up in front of him and a voice told him to stand still and crouch down. Kang Hyun-mo did as he was told. Then he noticed that the spider's attack had stopped all the monsters that were chasing him. The spider shot its web at them and they couldn't move. Kang Hyun-mo saw that it was a level 87 Black Widow. The voice told him that this was wonderful and that he was safe as long as Yeogalem did not lose his mind. Kang Hyun-moo asked who was talking to him. And how did he even know about this lovely creature? The voice asked him who he thought he was. Then it explained about the place where the stars are silent. They could live there without following the rules of this world. Only she could whisper to him. Kang Hyun-moo said that it was her again, the star whispering to Monstrel. She said that everything she was doing now was the height of disrespect to Yeogalem. But everything that had happened up to that point was just a coincidence, so he shouldn't worry about it. From now on, he should not make a fuss and pretend to be thinking about a plan. Otherwise, the clever Yeogalem will get angry. Kang Hyun-moo wondered if she could read his thoughts. She said it didn't work when he was thinking about talking to her. He mentally said that was fine and asked what she wanted from him. Monstrel said that Yeogal wanted to hand him over to his followers so that they would destroy him and he would raise his level. But she wants him to finish everything before the absolute end comes. She wants to make him her follower. Kang Hyun-mo replied that he knew that and asked why she was so interested in him, especially since he is not even better than the goblins themselves. She said that they need a new player. It is a hopeless situation, and everyone is coming up with a plan to get out. He asked what the words player and plan meant. She replied that he would find out if he became her follower. Then she asked if he would want to join her if he found out why the other stars wanted him. Kang Hyun-moo asked if she thought she was better than the others, and she replied that of course she was. She was easier to deal with than the other stars, so let him love her, praise her, worship her, and listen to her. It's not humiliating at all because they will have a romantic relationship. If he wants, she will give her warrior back everything he gave her. Kang Hyun-moo felt a very tender feeling. It was as if he was dissolving into the depths. The more he behaved like a man in love, the more strength he gained. He is desired by everyone, and isn't that what he wanted? Surviving in this hell alone is too painful. Then Kang Hyun-mo received a message that the star Gaul was watching him with concern. After that, he seemed to come to his senses. He told Monstrel that it would sound sad, but he already had a girlfriend, and then asked if she had gone mad. He also asked her if she had any advice on how to get rid of the spider. She said that the hero shouldn't have just one woman, but first she thought that if he ran around Yeogalem, he would calm down. But still, it would be better to find some other way to pass this test. But if he refused the easiest way, there was probably nothing left but to take the most difficult path. Small spiders began to crawl on Kang Hyun-mo, and he asked what was going on. Monstrel asked to be allowed to finish their clumsy game. The small spiders wrapped him in their webs. Kurson and Linian began to search for him. They came to the place where everything had happened. The goblin saw a large number of cocoons and asked if he was sure he was in the right place. Linian replied that he was. Then she said that everything was ready, so he should hurry. They found Kang Hyun-mo wrapped in cobwebs. Kurson freed him and took him out of the cocoon, but noticed that he was unconscious. Then he lifted him up. But even after that, he couldn't come to his senses. Linian whispered in his ear and called him butler. Then she told him to wake up and hit him. After that, he finally came to his senses. Kurson said that she should have moved more slowly. Linian told him to wait and asked the butler if he had completely lost his mind. Then she told him to give her some of his blood and everything would be fine. Kang Hyun-mo told her not to deceive him. Linian pointed out that he only woke up because of her, because without her, he would not have been able to do anything. He asked her to be quiet and said that she was the reason he had died again. This made him very angry. Kang Hyun-mo said that he practically had to start the quest from the beginning. After that, he decided to find something. So he made his way through the cobwebs in search of something and didn't notice what he had stumbled upon. But then he saw an orc and was frightened. He doesn't know why the orc is here or what is happening to him, because he didn't react to him in any way. Then he saw that there were a large number of small spiders sitting on it, and that it was connected to a web. He wondered if he might be here as bait, but Kurson disagreed with him. Kang Hyunmo called him his slave and told him not to argue with him because he knew these spiders. But Kurson said that was not what he meant and asked him to look at the object on his left hand. Kang Hyunmo looked at the orc and then looked at his hand. Kurson said that he had never seen anything like it before and asked what it was. He noticed that there were 6 fingers on his hand. It looked like it was done with the help of Oset's glove. Star Monstral told him not to finish the game. After that, he decided to check something in the system. He opened the notification screen and Lenian asked the butler what it was. Kang Hyun-mo asked if she remembered how they found a skeleton last time. In that food warehouse, they found a lifeless body, while searching to see if there was anything interesting there, and if it could be used in the future. Lenian said that now she remembered and called him her butler. Kang Hyunmo took Admiral Ren's legendary monocle and said that it used a little magic when you looked through it. Therefore, he must analyze the item. After doing so, he saw that the item in his hand was Oseta's 6-fingered gauntlet. It was a legendary rare item. Kang Hyun-mo saw such a status for the first time. This gauntlet helped to capture the target. He thought that all weapons made before were considered fake or low-quality items. A rare item must be a class higher than legendary. The gauntlet uses mana to pull out the Black Widow's web. It can be worn on either hand. Kang Hyun-mo said that if it was a toy, then he would forgive him. Kurson watched him and thought that he needed to escape from there immediately. Meanwhile, the monsters were searching for him and trying to find his trail. Then they smelled something and started following the scent. The smell led them to a tunnel. After that, a mosquito flew out and landed on one of the monsters. Then other monsters began to attack it and bite it. Tisco Maria are 3rd level and belong to the Kan Hyunmu clan. He can control them with his gauntlet when he uses Black Widow spider webs. Now Kang Hyunmu is confident that he will defeat all these monsters because they will destroy each other. He sent a few more mosquitoes to them and they began to bite several monsters. Kang Hyunmu said that this was very good and they drove all the monsters into the tunnel. They all eat and eat. Until he received the quest, he managed to figure something out by conducting various experiments with his followers. Of course, the number of people that could be placed in a jar was limited. Therefore, he could not conduct research on Kurson. But small creatures such as mosquitoes could be placed in a jar in large quantities. This would not have been possible with ordinary monsters. As a result, the mosquitoes died from poisoning by the poisonous blood. But then he was able to resurrect them, and as a result, they gained some resistance to the poison and were revived to some extent. But only with this level of intelligence could he deal with low-level creatures that were not endowed with intelligence. Kurson said that they don't even know how to use their brains. Kang Hyun-mo agreed with him. He said that it wasn't that he was weak, but thanks to him, he had found a very good place. It was a great place to survive against the ghoul. There were several exits, so there was no need to isolate themselves. At this rate, he could survive 48 hours without doing anything. But then Kang Hyun-mo felt ill and collapsed. Kurson ran up to him and asked what had happened and decided to help him up. Kang Hyun-mu said that he must have lost a lot of blood and that it was an unexpected bout of anemia. He lost even more blood than he expected. He might not survive considering how fast it was flowing out. Therefore, he realized that he had to find another way. Kang Hyun-mo noticed someone making their way through the web toward them. They went straight ahead, destroying the web with their swords. So they must know that the webs are just a trap. Kang Hyun-mo told Kurson that he would go first. Surely, unlike ghosts, these were very intelligent guys. Kurson asked his boss what he meant. Kang Hyun-mu said that it was narrow there, so they should spread out. After that, he decided to count the number of his opponents. But he realized that there were more than he expected. After that, a soldier approached him. He was surprised that it was a human being. But then all his opponents began to approach him, and he realized that he was dealing with zombies. These were hungry level 22 zombies. The leader ordered them to grab him. After that, they pounced on Kana Hyun-mu. He decided that they would be easy to deal with, just like ghosts. He began to destroy them with his dagger, which had the ability to inject the owner's blood into his opponent. Kang Hyun-mo told them to look at themselves. They were crooked and dry and probably very hungry, so it was time to eat. After that, the leader of the zombies told them that he was running away. Kang Hyun-mu realized that he had a problem and that he had to get out of there quickly. The zombie asked what they were doing and said that he should not run away, so they should catch him quickly. Kang Hyun-mo climbed to the surface and thought about where to hide. They were at the same level as him and had undergone combat training. But would those words work since they were humans? And the key word here is that they were humans. And this delicious smell must be the work of yokels guys, so talking won't help here. One of the zombies climbed out with a weapon and started shooting. Kang Hyun-mu was wounded. All the other zombies also climbed out. One of them said that it was easy to get used to these legs. The leader ordered him not to shoot anymore because he wasn't worth the bullets. Kang Hyun-mu said that if he wasn't worth it, it was a great relief. He didn't know what to do, and then he felt that it had become too quiet around him. He remembered his blood and then noticed that the monsters in the tunnel had found him by the smell of blood. They would have been useful in the sewers, but at a moment like this, there were no options. Kang Hyun-mo saw a notification on the screen that there were 46 minutes and 46 seconds left before the start of the next quest. He didn't even have an hour left, and he had to destroy 100 of these monsters. The zombie told the boss that everyone was ready, and the boss told them to wait. Kang Hyun-mo received a notification that his health had dropped below 10%, and that the game had started with first-person advantages. Kang Hyun-mo thought that excitement was the worst thing. The chief zombie said to destroy him without mercy. The zombies and other monsters pounced on Kang Hyun-mo. He decided to use his crystal mana, and it entered his body. After that, his mana was completely restored. So he told all the monsters that now they would get what they deserved. After that, the monsters lost control of themselves. He had just made the ghosts that had been bitten by his mosquitoes feel much stronger because of his scent. That is why he preferred these big guys to himself. The truth is very close, and that is what he has learned. The ghosts and zombies began to destroy each other. It all looks as if humanity is on the brink. Then Kang Hyun-mo noticed that someone had used a gun. Then he saw the zombies and didn't understand why they were still in control. Then he tried to calculate the range, hoping that the bullet wouldn't fly that far. The leader of the zombies told them to get ready and prepare for a volley of shots. Then he ordered them to shoot, but they didn't have time to do anything because Kurson destroyed them. He told the boss that they would leave their words of gratitude for later. He took out the Winter Reaper's scythe and said it would be useful in the future. The scythe has the ability to track living creatures nearby, and every time the owner destroys an enemy, it casts a charge of ice on all nearby enemies. This sickle is used by ghost slaves known as the Winter Duke's Scythe. Kurson began to destroy all the monsters. He said that they would pay for it in the future. Kang Hyun-mo thought about how he should tone down his arrogance. The zombies said that they were caught and that they were just a human and a goblin, so they should be taken. He took his weapon and noticed that it was covered in ice. After that, Kurson destroyed him. Kang Hyun-mo thought that last time this weakling would have started complaining if he had asked him for help, but even after he gave him this weapon, he remained on his side, which was really impressive. Now he looks like a slave to materialism. Kang Hyun-mo didn't notice the monsters creeping up on him, but he managed to dodge them and saw that the zombies were continuing to destroy them. But there were more and more of them. Kang Hyun-mo wondered if their numbers were really increasing. He didn't even have enough mana to stop it all, and he wanted to maintain control over it. After that, everyone's attention turned to a swarm of mosquitoes. Mosquitoes are nocturnal creatures. They had recently awakened. It was all because of the smell of his blood, but usually they all woke up at night. Now there were many more than there had been before. He had some minor problems with manufacturing, so in this case, he decided to look at the effect of spider webs. Kang Hyun-mo wrapped his body in cobwebs and said what a lovely family he had. The mosquitoes immediately attacked the monsters and began to bite them. Then he suggested that the monsters continue fighting if they wanted to. With such a battle, the smell of blood spread around. It was very difficult for them to tell the difference. Moreover, with this effect, the monsters stood as if they were in a pit. Kang Hyun-mo wondered where Kurson had gone. He couldn't find him, but in any case, this would be enough. At this rate, he wouldn't die before his time, but his body began to itch from wanting to deal with the monsters. He told himself not to be so greedy and to be patient. After all, he shouldn't forget that his goal was not to destroy them all, but to hold out for 48 hours. Kang Hyun-mo didn't notice a zombie sneaking up behind him and biting him. He asked him if he had completely lost his mind. After that, Kang Hyun-mo destroyed it and thought about how it had distracted him and that he was running out of blood. Kang Hyun-mo noticed that all the zombies and ghosts were gathering around him, attracted by the smell of blood, and he thought that this was the end and didn't know what to do. He thought about how he had become helpless again and lost control of the situation. If he had enough blood, everything would be fine. But then he had an idea and decided to use the mosquitoes from his family. The mosquitoes began to bite the monsters, sucking their blood. Then they rushed to Kang Hyun-mo to replenish his blood supply. Kang Hyun-mo thought that it was probably a little rude of him, but he had no other choice at the moment. After that, he gained incredible strength and began to turn into a real monster because the blood of zombies and ghosts was flowing through him. He began to destroy monsters by biting them. Kang Hyun-mo moved very quickly and none of the monsters could catch him. He also gained hungry blood as a function of poisonous blood. Its characteristics are toxicity, infection, acidity, and the blood of a hungry person. Consuming the blood of hungry people improves physical abilities by 30%. The effect ceases when all hungry blood is consumed. While the effect is active, the carrier experiences intense hunger and quickly absorbs food into their body. However, there is a risk of death because the body consumes food on an empty stomach. During such a diet, the carrier looks good. However, there is a disadvantage in the form of weight loss after some time. Kang Hyun-mo said that something was wrong again. It turns out that he will become stronger by taking as many nutrients as possible from the bodies. At this rate, he won't even have enough blood left to bleed. Kang Hyun-mo looked at his hand and then felt an incredible hunger. He feels like he is losing weight and is dizzy from hunger. Kang Hyun-mo destroyed the zombie that attacked him and drank its blood. Then he said that now he was full of strength again. Then he noticed that the stars Yogolem Ardan Augustro and Monstrel were watching him. He said that it seemed to be just like that. He must have been causing people to die and slowly subjugating them. He also looked down on them from above. Just as a god looks down on people from a mountain, Kang Hyun-mo asked how they felt about that. He released his energy to destroy all the monsters. Then he rose up and began to destroy them with his weapon. Kang Hyun-mo was able to defeat many monsters, but then he lost control and fell. In an instant, he noticed a monster approaching him. Other monsters also surrounded him on all sides. They all pounced on him and began to bite him, but then he managed to break free and continue destroying them. Kang Hyun-mo said that he would not leave a single one alive and would destroy them all, so let them just come to him. The zombie thought that this was a place where he was not allowed to come, and that he had not been invited to dinner or enlisted in the army for a long time. But this delicious guy had spoiled him. This country must disappear. But if only he still had the flesh of the remaining troops in his entourage. He didn't understand who this guy was. Kang Hyun-mo noticed him and approached him. The zombie asked him not to come closer, then found a weapon and decided to kill him with it. But it didn't work because Kurson used his weapon. The zombie started yelling at him to get out of there. Kang Hyun-moo destroyed him, and the quest was finally complete. The silver chest turned into a gold chest as compensation for the increased difficulty. After that, the golden chest was changed to a gift chest from Yogel. The bonfire will be activated until the next quest. The taste curse was also removed, and it no longer tastes good to monsters. There are 28 days left until the next quest. Kang Hyun-mo noticed that he still had time left and felt very hungry. He thought that these monsters would no longer die of hunger. He couldn't think about anything else but food and thought he would die of hunger. A moment later, he heard a noise. He didn't understand what it was, but he was glad that it wasn't the end. A large number of monsters were approaching him, and they were very strong. They were incomparable to his previous opponents. But he was intrigued by what was at the very top. A creature descended upon him and said that he was not in the right place to enjoy such an inappropriate meal. This was Kavo, the demon of laziness and gluttony who was at the 118th level. Kavo said that his face looked familiar, so he didn't need to introduce himself. Kang Hyun-moo thought that he could probably see right through him. Kavo asked how he had risen to such a level. The Hungry Star was not interested in this, although he thought that there were no people left. Then he asked if there were other survivors. He said that there probably weren't any and that he was like he had fallen from the sky, but in any case he was pleased to meet them. When the lights went out, he was sure that after Johan and Maria Kelly, there were no people left, but could they have hidden? He couldn't believe that his dear friend was in such a miserable place. Kang Hyun-mo asked why he suddenly needed these bodies. Kavaro applied something to his injured leg and said that was enough and he could go now. If he doesn't want to try the high-class dishes that satisfy all his desires in this wonderful setting, then he can follow him. Kang Hyun-mo said that it seemed he was the leader among Yogulem's followers. Kavo said that perhaps that was true. After that, Kang Hyun-moo said that he refused and did not want any restaurant tours. Kawao laughed. Then he said that he appreciated the joke about the tours, but he had misunderstood it. He must have dared to guess what the lowest desire was. And that is appetite. Yogulem's hunger is endless. Power, organization, money, strength, all of it has been consumed, just for pleasure and enjoyment. When he was human, he didn't get what he wanted. He was principled and naive. All his abilities are nothing but suffering. That is why he could not contain his anger. But even a boy like him has desires and anger. That is why he will get his just desserts, and most of them have no conscience. Kang Hyun-moo said that there was no arguing with that. Kawaro said that we must move forward and take as much as possible, and asked if he was not interested in how high he could rise. That is why they are a snake that will take care of the whole world. Absolutely everything will belong to them. The snake will be at the very top. Kavo suggested that Kang Hyun-mo choose one of the scales. He said he couldn't do anything about it. Yumin was waiting for Kang Hyun-mo. He had been gone for a long time, and she was worried about him. Kavo said that it was very wise of him. Kang Hyun-mo got up, taking his hand. But then Kavo felt a sharp pain in his hand. He pushed him away and said that he was like an animal. But now he didn't look like a zombie. Kang Hyun-mo asked if he wasn't tasty and if it was the taste of a traitor. Kavo asked if he said traitor. Then he approached him and said that his mouth already hurt, so he should just die like the last human being. Kang Hyun-mo thought about how he couldn't die. Substitutes are necessary in the game they were used to playing with each other. He remembered Monstrel's words that they needed a new player. The situation was changing, and everyone was trying to find a solution. And he was the new player and the new solution. Kavo could set the position anywhere, but he wasn't going to reject the opportunity out of fear. So he said that if that's the case, he's ready to die. Kavaro asked if he would break, build, and break again. Just let him use his mouth properly, and now he must shout. And then he asked the traitor if he found it funny to think about it again, and if he had fallen from the sky. Did they try to destroy the people on the side of the monsters? So let him be silent now and die. Kang Hyun-mo received a message that he was being watched by the monster star Augusto. After that, he pushed Kavo away and fell down. All of Kawaro's subordinates were frightened, and he told them to calm down. Then he fell to his knees and said that he didn't want to break the rules. Kawao hadn't been so worried in a long time. He was frightened by his return, so he told everyone to leave. Kang Hyun-moo came to his senses and realized that Kavaro had run away in fear because he had seen something in the sky. Then he stood up and shouted that he would do whatever his heart desired, even if they destroyed him or beat him to a pulp. Even if they burned him to ashes, no matter what they did, he would do whatever he wanted. Kang Hyun-moo was lost in thought and saw Yumin asking him if he had returned. He came to his senses. Lenian told him to look at her leg. She had come to find him when she thought it was all over. But at that moment, his eyes were filled with green sparks, and then he bit her. Kang Hyun-mo wondered if it was after he lost consciousness. Lenian said that everything was fine and that she had taken care of his food. Kang Hyun-moo asked what she meant. But then he decided to forget about it and went to look at the awards he had received for his suffering. Kang Hyun-moo opened the gift box from Yogolem. He saw a platinum card. He had never seen anything like it before. He had only seen silver and gold cards. Then he saw that a regular sword had fallen out of the card. Kang Hyun-moo thought that he was just unlucky. But then he said it was too early to be upset. If it came with a gift platinum card from Yogel, it was worth checking out. Kang Han-mo looked up information about the sword and saw that it was a glutton. It was an ordinary original sword. It absorbed weapons and took away their abilities. He said that it was still a sword used by rulers. Although it was an ordinary weapon, it was original. Kang Hyunmo asked Lenian what she thought about it, and she said it looked good. If Lenian thought so, it must be really good. He decided to try giving him his sword, so he put it to him and told him to eat it, but nothing happened. Kang Hyunmoo was disappointed. It seemed too simple to him, and he felt like he had been tricked. Still, he decided to try again, hoping that it would work. It did work, and his new sword absorbed the one he had received earlier. At first, he didn't understand what was happening, but then the sword completely absorbed the weapon. He was surprised that he had so easily changed his rank to legendary. The sword gained the abilities of the blade and the same appearance. Kang Hyunmo told Lenian that he already liked it. She said that he liked everything that had a high rank. Kang Hyunmoo said that was true and that with this thing, he would become stronger. Lenian said that her butler was satisfied, and therefore she was also happy. So she hoped that he would become even more delicious. Kang Hyunmoo thought about what she was interested in and then said that he had to go somewhere. Lenian asked him where. He said he had to go back. Kang Hyunmoo arrived at the place where they found the skeleton and said he couldn't just leave these things here. If he knew the name of this person, he would erect a monument to him. Since these people remained here until the end, they must have been rangers. His recent zombie opponents had human intelligence, but they attacked him when they smelled him. There was also someone who led them, a man named Kavano, or rather, a creature that used to be human. He was also the one who led Kurson and Lenian. Kang Hyunmoo wondered if he was really different from them. Then he reassured himself that of course he was different, because he hadn't gone mad with greed. That is why he makes him feel this way, competing in a world full of people like them. This man defended people on his own, because they are very different, but then he decided to drive these thoughts away from himself aloud. But now it was time for him to go. He decided to check if this bony old man had any identification. He wanted to know who he was before returning to the real world, so he asked for at least a hint. Kang Hyunmoo opened a drawer in the desk and found a notebook. He thought that it must be his personal diary, so he decided to look through it, thinking there might be some clue about him. In it, he read that high-ranking items were not the only value in this world. Even a single book with valuable information can change the world. Kang Hyunmoo was delighted that all the information was here. From the appearance of the first dungeon to the end of humanity, every event was recorded here, including the place, time, and even how to prevent it. If this is true, then he has the key to saving humanity. Kang Hyunmoo went out into the street and said that this man was cool and that he would make good use of his efforts, because he cannot let such a treasure slip away. And with it, he will be able to change what is coming. Maybe he will fix everything. Or, on the contrary, ruin it. But if you think about it, the only goal is to save humanity from this hell. Kang Hyunmoo returned to reality, finding himself in the forest, and saw a woman calling out to Maru and asking him to come back because they needed to go home. The woman asked Maru not to scare her, then saw a man and became very frightened. After that, Kang Hyunmoo asked Yumin out to a restaurant and told her about his adventures. Yumin apologized and said that it was really very funny, but no matter how bad he looked at the time, he couldn't be called a zombie. Kang Hyunmoo said that was true and that it wasn't worth calling the police. Yumin was bothered by one question. She asked why he asked her to teach him how to spend money. In their day, cars and luxury items could easily be considered wasteful. But she knew very well that he wasn't like that. She was just curious and thought he probably wanted to experience the life of a rich man. Kang Hyunmoo said that he had been working like a dog all this time, so he wanted a proper rest. Yumin said that she thought he considered such a life hypocritical. He said that you can't judge something if you haven't experienced it yourself. Only people who have never experienced such things and are incapable of empathy behave rudely and frivolously. Yumin said that she thought he wanted to become rich. Kang Hyunmoo replied that he could not completely deny it. He was just a bad guy, but he wasn't going to use growing up without parents as an excuse. He was who he was, and he would remain the same, even if he had parents. Yumin called him cute and said that he was truly the best man she had ever dated. He was confused by the word dated. After all, she was a graduate student, so when did she have time to have several relationships? It even sounded strange. And where do graduate students even have free time? And how often does she go to restaurants like this? Shouldn't she be in the lab until the moss grows? Yumin said she only leaves to meet him. And besides, her research advisor is special, even when it comes to sending specialists to the industrial zone. Since they had already started talking about work, the results of the study on how much mana was left before the rank upgrade arrived while he was away. Kang Hyunmoo said that he had tried to find out himself but couldn't find anything. Then he decided to check something on the notification screen. He saw that he was now at level 26. The last time he checked, he was at level 20, and he didn't understand where the extra 6 came from. He found it hard to believe. Yumin said that according to the results, his rank was missing. He asked how he was supposed to understand that. Was this good or bad? Maybe she could explain. Yumin said that it would be better to discuss it elsewhere. Meanwhile, Kurson, who was at level 26, was destroying enemies. But after destroying them, he felt that something was happening to him. He became stronger and his level rose to 27. So now he is the Hobgoblin Kurson. Kang Hyunmoo was reading a book, and Yumin asked him if it was difficult to read a book in German. It was all thanks to his foreign language skills. He said that he could read it, but he didn't understand any of it. Yumin said she guessed that might be the case. So she prepared a short summary. It was a very brief summary of the text. She showed him something in the book and asked him what it looked like. Kang Hyunmoo asked if they were virus cells. She replied that they were red blood cells. This was the result of a blood test with crystals that she had taken from him in the basement. Since mana mainly accumulates in the dungeon, many crystals are formed when blood is collected. They are considered an indicator. It is most often used to determine rank. 2 stars correspond to needle-shaped crystals. 3 stars correspond to triangular crystals. But his crystals are round. That is, they do not correspond to known shapes. No one has ever seen round crystals before. With the exception of one type, Kang Hyun-mo asked what other type there was, and she replied that they were monsters. This answer frightened him. Humans said that this did not mean that he was a monster. There are slight similarities with their cells, but otherwise he is just like humans. It's just that crystals have the greatest effect on the result, and mana has a huge impact on the human body. He might even belong to a high rank that has not yet been discovered. There are rumors that there are 5-star monsters. He may even be a 6-star. Yuman asked what he thought about it. Kang Hyun-moo said that he was obviously not a first rank. He only received a message that mana had awakened in his body. There was no information about his rank. Yuman said that last time he said he stopped at level 20. Kang Hyun-mo said that was no longer the case. She asked what level he was at now. Kang Hyun-mo replied that he was at level 26. Yuman didn't understand how that happened. How did he rise 6 levels in just 11 days? She thought about how he looked completely different when he returned. It must be because he raised his level. Yuman said that now she definitely couldn't investigate him on her own, and that maybe she should look for an assistant. Kang Hyun-mo asked if that was necessary. He didn't want anyone to find out that he might not be human. Then he asked if she had told anyone about it. Yuman said no, but she thought they had found out something. Kang Hyun-moo asked who exactly, and she replied that it was the Sejong Research Center. He asked who they were. Yuman replied that it was the name of the Ability Investigation Department. She had sent him letters from there. They investigate everything there. Absolutely everything related to skills, items, and dungeon. They also determine ranks. And she is sure that now they will postpone the announcement of the ranks because of his results. It was after the results appeared that he started receiving love calls. The research center must have been interested in him from the beginning. Only the director of the center can do that. Kang Hyun-mo said he thought it was just spam. Yuman asked if he really meant it and if he wanted to reply. He said they needed to find out what they knew about him. Yuman agreed with him but was upset. Kang Hyun-mo suggested that she go with him. Yuman asked where. He decided to help her dry her hair with a hairdryer. He said he would try to find out something about them and that she should continue to behave as usual. Then he asked her if it was difficult for her to sit in the lab all the time and offered to buy her some equipment. Yuman said it wasn't cheap. He replied that he would buy her a house then. A huge house in a quiet neighborhood, solid as a bunker. Kang Hyun-moo thought about it. Yuman shouted that she was hot. He apologized to her for not paying attention. Then he said he couldn't be a burden on her all the time. Yuman asked what about her, and he said he would take her with him. Yuman said that he had more scars than last time. Kang Hyun-moo explained that he just didn't have enough potion. Moreover, he couldn't say that he was being reborn. Yuman asked if it hurt, and he replied that it would soon stop. After that, she bit his arm and said that he smelled good, and that she also wanted to leave her mark on him. Kang Hyun-moo couldn't shake the thought that he really might be a monster. He remembered the recent events when he destroyed monsters and drank their blood. Training brings back even such disgusting memories, but he simply had to remember the entire battle recorded in his combat log to master those techniques himself, so he decided that he needed to continue training. After that, he received a notification that he had studied the fragment. Kang Hyun-mo noticed that the pattern on his hand had changed, so he decided to take a closer look at it. He learned that the star fragment had the ability to absorb family members. This was the first time he had heard of such a thing. Moreover, there was something incomprehensible written in the note, but he was curious about what kind of ability it was, so he looked at the information again. He learned that it could not only make a defeated enemy a member of his family, but also absorb a follower. He can also gain nutrients, experience, abilities, physical strength, and mana from them for a short period of time. He doesn't understand what this abnormal ability is. It's like absorption in classic games, and it would be useful in the Echolim quest, so he wondered if they were related. Park Hee-seo approached him and asked why he had called him, especially to the sports field, so he must have another request. Kang Hyun-mo said he was impatient, but a request is a request, so he should just wait there for now. Park Hee-seo remarked that he didn't like this and asked what he had come up with this time. Kang Hyun-mo saw that he was at level 40. He also has the skills of double cut, concealment, and breath holding, so now everything became clear to him. Park Hee-seo was angry and asked if he really thought he had enough free time. Kang Hyun-mo said he didn't expect any less. Despite his ordinary skills, he was quite cool, so he would have to try hard to make him believe what he was about to say. They had a lot to talk about, but first he wanted to correct his rank. Kang Hyun-mo gave him his item, and Park Hee-seo saw that it was at level 26. Park Hee-seo said that this item and the shape of the crystals are difficult to verify, even with evidence. Kang Hyun-moo said that there was nothing else left to do. Right now, the Sejong Center is silent. They have postponed the announcement of the results once before, but this is the first time something like this has happened. Kang Hyun-mo said that Yuman said that the clan and inner crews strongly objected. Park Hee-seo replied that the level of users is equivalent to money. It's not that simple, and someone will definitely contact him soon. Park Hee-seo said he understands that he is not a simple person. Kang Hyun-moo remarked that in that case, he would have to change sides and called him old. Park Hee-seo replied that he was grateful for the offer. But the ties that bind his old body are not so easy to untangle. Kang Hyun-mo said that he was not just saying that. Right now, he could get away with a simple verbal oath, but who knows? Maybe next time he would have to kneel and fall at his feet, especially after he catches Lee Jite. Park Hee-seo said that his defiant gaze did not scare him. Kang Hyun-moo doesn't consider himself defiant because Lee Ji-tae is just a stepping stone he will overcome to climb even higher. So he asked Park Hee-seo if he would do him a favor. Park Hee-seo asked what kind of favor. He said he wanted to introduce him to someone very special. After that, he decided to call a member of his family, but he didn't understand what was going on because he noticed changes in Kurson. Park Hee-seo immediately took out his weapon. Kang Hyun-moo tried to stop him, and Kurson asked if the boss had called him. He hadn't been in touch with him for a long time. That's why he even thought that his boss had passed away. Park Hee-seo was surprised when he heard the goblin call him boss. Kang Hyun-moo told Kurson to stop joking around and asked him what had happened. Kurson replied that it was all thanks to the scythe he had given him. He liked it so much that he had been desperately fighting a Kulame. Park Hee-seo asked if it was some kind of Pokemon. It was interesting that he had a monster subordinate and one that could talk, but he was asking him for a favor. So it must be something important if he called this dim-witted goblin. Kurson didn't like those words. He approached him and asked if he had just called him dim-witted. Park Hee-seo noticed that he was very fast and strong, and wondered if he was really a goblin. Kang Hyun-moo told him to stop. Kurson called him old and asked him to repeat what he had said. Then Kang Hyun-moo told him to calm down again and threatened to destroy him. Then he asked the old man how he liked that. He really was different from ordinary goblins. Park Hee-seo said he would put away his sword. As he had heard, a strange goblin had appeared in the one-star dungeon. It had frightened the newcomers. Kang Hyun-moo asked how things were going with No Na-e. Park Hee-seo replied that it seemed to be difficult for her. Kang Han-moo said that his request was related to him and asked if he could leave him somewhere. Park Hee-seo asked if he was asking him to leave the monster. Kang Hyun-moo replied that that wasn't what he meant. He just needed to send him somewhere, more precisely to a dungeon. He had read something in a magazine he found in hell. It said when a great tragedy would happen, who would be the main figure in it, who would die and when, and how the earth would meet its end. The catastrophe that will happen in the near future is an invasion that will appear in the Dungeon of Cold on the mountain of the same name. In 10 minutes, the walls will be destroyed. Somehow they will be blocked, but after that, the corruption of the armed company will be exposed. And after the close connection with the hunters is revealed, the confusion will continue. But that has not happened yet. Therefore, he must prepare for the blockade. Of course, he will use his own methods to do so. Park Hee-seo said that he still cannot imagine what kind of monster he is dealing with. Kang Hyun-moo asked if this monster had bribed him with a sweet gift. He thanked him for all his efforts, but it was obvious that he had his own view of the situation. In that case, he doubts the wisdom of his prophet. Park Hee-seo said that it would be difficult to raise it by 150% again. Kang Hyun-moo told him not to talk as if he were stealing from him. It was only twice as much, so he offered to simply double the payment. Park Hee-seo thought that he was not just a thief but a real robber. Therefore, he said that if the source of supply was not the only one, he would hardly be able to remain intact and safe. Kang Hyun-moo said that he should listen to him until the end. He would also double the flow of goods. Park Hee-seo was surprised that he would increase the volume of supplies. Until now, he could not even imagine that he would dare to do such a thing. But since they had a shortage of goods, perhaps it was worth agreeing. Kang Hyun-moo said that high-ranking hunters get everything they want and have enough money. Therefore, there was only one explanation for his urgent need for crystal moss, to become even stronger than he already was. Yumin finally decided to buy a house, and they decided to look at one option. The real estate agent said they had arrived at the location. He usually didn't bring anyone here, but he had no other options besides this place. Kang Hyun-moo assessed the house. The realtor said that this house was considered a bomb shelter. During the dictatorship, a paranoid rich man began to build it. He was afraid of the threat from North Korea. But years later, underground labyrinths with monsters began to appear around the world, and seeing this as the end of humanity, his grandson finished building the house. Kang Hyun-moo thought about destroying the world and believes that his fear has become a reality. The real estate agent said that now, thanks to the paranoia of those madmen, they have a wonderful shelter from bombing and even monsters. The more Kang Hyun-moo listened to the realtor, the better the house seemed to him. So he asked why he was only showing it to him now. The realtor replied that something terrible had happened to the rich man's grandson. Several years ago, he had been killed. He was a man who was even afraid to look outside. But in the end, he died as soon as he left his fortress. Who was responsible for his death is unknown. There's only one way to the bunker, and of course, every inch of it is equipped with video cameras. But despite this, no clues could be found. As a result, the case was never solved. But during his lifetime, he modified the building more than once, so now they probably understand why he did not put the house up for sale. Kang Hyun-moo thought that Yumin probably wouldn't want to live in a city like this, but her words surprised him. She said that if they moved here, they could try installing a spectral camera or something similar. Maybe they would find a ghost. Kang Hyun-moo thought that it was probably for the best. She really liked it, and that was wonderful. Kang Hyun-moo told the realtor that considering the accident and the dark past of the house, he couldn't buy it at market value. But he has cash. Yumin also asked him to talk to the owner about a more reasonable price. The realtor said it would be difficult, but decided to make one more call and ask them to wait. While he was talking, Kang Hyun-moo asked Yumin if she was scared. She asked if he even knew how girls liked scary stories. The realtor apologized and said that someone wanted to talk to him. Kang Hyun-moo took the phone and was surprised that this woman knew his name. Especially since he hadn't given his name to the real estate agent, he was curious to know who she was. She said her name was Do Won-kyung, and that she was the director of the Sejong Research Institute. She was pleased to learn that he was interested in the property of the Skills Management Department. She happened to have a matter to discuss with him. So she suggested they meet to discuss everything and said she would be there soon. Kang Hyun-mo told Yumin about it, and she couldn't believe that it was director Do Won-kyung. Do Won-gun arrived very quickly. Kang Hyun-moo was surprised that she had arrived so quickly. She approached them and told Kang Hyun-moo that she was very happy to meet him, and that he looked completely different in real life. Kang Hyun-mo thanked her and said that he was also very pleased to meet her. Then Do Won-gyun asked if this was Miss Yumin. Yumin said that she was and also greeted him. Do Won-gyun asked if she was still working at her old lab. She remarked that her boss was simply exploiting her and that she should stop wasting her talent. Yumin said that things weren't so bad. As soon as she moved there, the work seemed like heaven on earth to her. Kang Hyun-mo watched their conversation and thought it looked like a nightmare. Do Won-gun told him that it was difficult to meet him in person, so now they should get straight to the point. She asked if she understood correctly that he didn't belong to any clan. Kang Hyun-mo replied that this was the case. Then she said that she would not sell him the house but would give it to him for free. She would also give him a certificate equal to an annual salary of $8,000, a civil servant's pension, and insurance at the level of a vice minister. In return, he would work at their research center, so she asked what he thought of the offer. Kang Hyun-mo replied that he doubted he could be of any help in science. Do Won-gun replied that it was easy. He would have to answer questions and tests, and from time to time they would take blood samples and conduct physical examinations. Kang Hyun-moo thought that they wanted to make him a guinea pig and said that it was generous of them, but that he didn't look like a poor man. She replied that such a building could not be bought with money alone. Kang Hyun-moo asked if she liked to talk people into things. Do Won-gun apologized and said that he was a busy man just like her. Their day was scheduled down to the minute. Therefore, she would like to discuss all the details or get a final answer. Kang Hyun-moo said that her offer did not suit him. Therefore, he would set the conditions. First, they must not object if he decided to join the clan. And second, the research results would only be shared with their institute and him, and no one else. So he gave her time to think about it. They shook hands, and Do Won-gun said that it was wonderful and that she accepted the conditions. If he needed anything, he should let her know. Kang Hyun-moo was surprised that she agreed so quickly. If she is the director of a research center, shouldn't she report the results of the research? She understands that she will have to carefully hide the information because she knows something about his body. But with Kang Hyun-moo's help, her plan could come to fruition even faster than she expected. The hunter arrived at the cold underground, but the guards told him to stay where he was and asked him what he was doing there. He shows his documents and says that Ha So-jin's team has not returned from an expedition that began a week ago. If the group did not return within 6 days, they had to be sent supplies, so he was just delivering the goods. After that, he would return to the station. The guards looked at the documents and said that today was indeed the 7th day. One of them said that his luggage should be checked, but another said that everything was fine and he should be allowed to pass. Moreover, it was already time for them to finish here, so they had to hurry. The guard warned that there were many changes in the dungeon now. As soon as he entered, he would be met by monsters, so he should be careful. After that, the guard entered the underground. Then he opened the bag he had brought with him, and Kurson came out and said that they were already there. The hunter asked if that was all and if he could leave. Kurson replied that it was and that he could go. He was very surprised that the goblin could talk. He didn't know what Pahiso was planning, but at least his debt had been paid. Kurson was surprised that the hunter was running away from the monsters in fear. And then he heard something. He remembered the words of the old man who said that it usually took a week to clear this dungeon. He took out his weapon and thought that people were very pitiful after all, and decided that he could handle it in 3 days. Kang Hyun-moo heard Yumin screaming that she hated him and asked what had happened. She said that she had destroyed him. These mosquitoes are as big as mountains. She beat him and poisoned him, but he couldn't die, so she had to burn him. So now she understood how her grandson had died, and that he had probably been killed by mosquitoes. Kang Hyun-mo wondered if he could control his power consciously. As a result, Yumin got hurt. She asked him what he was doing, and Kang Hyun-mo replied that he was trading stocks. Yumin asked if he knew what to do with them, then asked him to let her take a look and asked if something terrible was waiting for Seoul. He said he wanted to leave the country. Yumin asked him why he was selling shares in a profitable company. Did he have some kind of secret? Still, she would support him and thought that he would soon realize how naive he had been. Kang Hyun-moo thought that she probably thought he was stupid, but he couldn't tell her that he knew the future. Now he had to establish a clan before it was too late. At least as powerful as Tiso, it was necessary for his plan. Yumin noticed the diary and asked what it was because she noticed that he always carried it with him. He asked her not to be surprised and said that it was a diary of Judgment Day. It contained records of the destruction of humanity. Yumin said that maybe he also has type 2 disease, which affects people with special abilities in the early stages of awakening. Moreover, he gives his skills pretentious names and poses pretending to be cool. It's a terrible disease, and he definitely has the second type. Kang Hyun-mo asked if she really thought he was playing kindergarten. Then she laughed at the words, Doomsday Diary. She asked if it was from the lab. Kang Hyun-moo received a message and asked her to wait. The message said that the package had been delivered. Kang Hyun-moo told Yumin that it was just the cornerstone of his brilliant debut. She asked if it was also from the records of the destruction of humanity. Then she started laughing at him again. Kang Hyun-mo was offended by her. She repeated the words Doomsday Diary and asked about the joke diary. After that, he went to a certain place and thought about how no one even suspects how dangerous it is to be here right now. And then he thought that very soon, right here, the destruction of humanity would begin. The invasion from the cold underground would be its starting point. And he, as a man who constantly bathed in sewage and collected fragments of crystalline moss, would be reborn. So now he was the savior of humanity. Then he looked around and thought that it had to happen somewhere here. And then he saw a photographer dressed as a government official and was delighted to have found him. This is Kang Hae-chul. He was the first person to notice Chol-do on the embankment from the dungeon. Kang Hyun-moo approached him and greeted him. Then he asked if he could ask him what he was doing there. Kang Hae-chul asked who was asking. Kang Hyun-mo said not to worry and that he had no complaints. He showed his documents and said he was just interested in clearing the dungeon. Kang Hae-chul said that he did not look like a local hunter and asked why he was interested in Chol-do of all places. It looks very suspicious. Kang Hyun-mo said that he was just a beginner, so he was interested in everything. Then he apologized for his indiscreet question and asked what he was doing. Kang Hae-chul replied that if he wasn't from around here, he probably wouldn't understand. Kang Hyun-mo said that it was still worth a try, and he replied that he was investigating visible changes in the dungeon. He also researches ways to predict the risk of monsters breaking through in advance. To this end, he watches the gate every day. He records everything with photographs. Kang Hyun-mo said he had heard about this and asked if the information about Chol-do's instability was his. Kang Hae-chul replied that it was not that simple. The changing dungeons were like new ones that had not yet taken shape. It was impossible to study them thoroughly and know what was there. In addition, there is a more serious problem. The entrance is very unstable and there is a risk of encountering completely unknown enemies. Kang Hyun-moo said that the appearance of various monsters in the center of Seoul was a real disaster. Kang Hae-chul said that he should not worry. There are many hunters and soldiers here and he is simply concerned. He is frightened by the risks, but no one is interested in his research. Even if the monsters come out, they won't break through. In the worst case, it will be like the second gate of Paektu 8 years ago. In the dungeon, the number of monsters is rapidly increasing. The population is uncontrolled, and they are multiplying and their hordes are growing endlessly. At that time, a mushroom cloud was observed in North Korea, right in the area where the gates broke through. That country is closed to the world. They do not know what is happening there, but battles with monsters are still raging on the front lines. Kang Hae-chul said that he shouldn't have told anyone about this, as it only causes fear. He often hears from others that he is paranoid for no reason. After that, Kang Hyun-moo wondered how much his years of independent research would help humanity. In his opinion, this man is truly incredible. Kang Hyun-mo asked how things were going today. Kang Hyun-moo replied that the patent for the gate was indeed strange today. Kang Hyun-moo asked if he could take a look. He replied that the photo was taken in a hurry, so he was probably mistaken. It would be very difficult to draw any conclusions. Kang Hyun-mo looked at the photo and said that he should be proud of himself. He was sure that one day his research would help all of humanity. After that, he said he had to go. Kang Hyun-moo thought that this was the first person who had not laughed at him. Then he wondered if he had told him his name and how he could possibly know it. Kang Hyun-moo had seen this photo before. Then he noticed that they were well prepared. But according to the Doomsday Diary, in a pitiful 10 minutes after the invasion, the barrier would collapse and the Hapcheon-dong district would turn into hell. Judging by the records, there were only 2 months left and he had to stop it. That was why he sent Kurson there, so let him go there and have fun. He needs to finish this before it's too late. He wonders if the dungeon will open and everyone will rush to clear it out. He has to think about it and there is still time. Until now, it was just a tutorial. Now, when the real game begins, he will survive. But not as a hunter, perhaps as a clan leader. But that's not enough for him. He wants more and to rise higher. Until he touches the sky itself to reach the stars. Hardly anyone can know what will happen very soon. It is very quiet here now and he feels a little uneasy about it. But in a moment, it all began, and he realized that this was an invasion. Kang Hyun-moo said that Kurson had done very well. After that, everyone immediately headed for the dungeon. The news announced that the gates of the cold underground had recently been breached. The sounds of battle could be heard from behind the wall, and it seemed that the defense was going well. But there are many monsters, so they continue to observe. There are concerns about the need to announce the invasion. But at this time, the government and the clan continue to accuse each other of negligence. The branch manager does not understand what happened. He thinks it is the work of hunters or a peculiarity of the changing dungeon, but most likely the latter. A subordinate reported that the first line of defense has been destroyed, but the second is still holding. However, the monsters continue to advance, and the second line will not hold for long. So they must urgently announce the invasion. The manager said that 200,000 people live in the Hapcheon area. What will happen if they cause panic prematurely? He thinks that if he announces the invasion, all responsibility will fall on him. He then asked if Commander Odason was still in the basement of Jiri Mountain. His subordinate replied that he was. He has not been in contact since he left to rescue the isolated hunters. The manager asked about the branch in Konami and the other clans. The subordinate replied that CEO Lee Jite was currently in Switzerland at a Chrome launch ceremony. Manager Park Doan was unavailable as usual. He asked if there were any free teams. After all, there are no Nae-il and Ma Taram. The subordinate said that there were reports of no Nae-il squad moving out from the Great Unknown. Other clans also promised to support them. The leader thought that the hunters would deal with the situation themselves. But due to the absence of leaders, the damage could increase. If that happens, the authorities will burn the bridges and blame everything on him. Then they were informed that the barrier was about to fall and the leader told everyone to prepare. After that, the rat people made their way to them. These monsters are much stronger than orcs or goblins, but his skills should be enough. They began the battle and realized that they could not stop them on their own. All that remained was to buy time with his skills. After that, the barrier was completely destroyed and many were injured. The subordinate asked the branch manager if he was okay. He replied that he was fine and asked what had happened, then saw the monster boss that had broken through the barrier. It was a level 28 werewolf. In their opinion, it was impossible to compete with such a boss without commanders. Then he noticed someone approaching him and asked if he was Captain Odason. Kang Hyun-mo replied that he was unlikely to be the person he was waiting for, but he would take care of this big guy himself. The branch manager asked who he was. After that, everyone noticed that the wall had fallen. A large number of rat people broke through the barrier, but someone is heading straight for the monsters, though it doesn't look like he has enough strength. Kang Hyun-mo told everyone to watch carefully because the rescue of humanity was about to begin. He approached the rat people who were at level 17 and said that they didn't even have nicknames. Kang Hyun-mo immediately dismissed them and said that the worthless rats in hell are much stronger than the soul rat people. Therefore, he could not consider them worthy opponents. He began fighting them and heard sounds like broken bones. The leader does not understand who this person is and how he could defeat the rat people so easily. Kang Hyun-moo does not understand why they die from the first blow. It seems that these rats are much weaker than the hellish ones, so he became curious about how strong the werewolf is. He decided to stick to the plan and used his capture skill. Thanks to this, he dealt a powerful blow to the monsters. This killed all the rats, which surprised him again. He doesn't understand whether he is too strong or his opponents are too weak. Kang Hyun-moo didn't know how they could have died from just one skill, and it even confused him a little. Then he saw a werewolf approaching him. The branch manager thought that now it would be really dangerous. Then he told everyone that the boss was approaching, so they should group together. Kang Hyun-moo realized that he was the boss here. In his opinion, this was very timely, and he would definitely be able to show him how successful the raid into hell had been. The werewolf attacked him, and he immediately struck back. The branch manager said that this was not a game and that he could die, so he should dodge. But then he saw that this guy had knocked him off his feet. Kang Hyun-moo asked his opponent not to die so easily. Then he saw the werewolf tuck its tail. No one understands what is happening, and could it be that the giant werewolf boss of the dungeon has tucked its tail? The subordinate asked the branch manager if he knew him, and he replied that he did not. The subordinate said that he had never seen anything like this with monsters before. He asked if he had used any special skills. The manager replied that it was possible, but that he thought it was strange. Monsters always fight humans, even if they are weaker than them. So he thought that this guy might be a monster himself. The werewolf ran away, and Kang Hyun-mo called him a pathetic dog and remarked that he was very bored. But before leaving, he decided to give him a rabies shot and took out his small hellish dart with a drop of his hungry blood. He threw the dart at the werewolf and it fell. Kang Hyun-moo said that now he would become much stronger than anyone could imagine, and then he would strike terror into the hearts of all. The branch manager noticed that the boss had changed and thought that this must be the end. This monster instilled fear in every cell of the body. To defeat him, they would need at least a vice captain. Then he saw that several more werewolves had joined the monster. There were too many of them, and it was impossible to defeat them. The branch manager thinks that this is a real invasion, and even if they put all their strength into it, they will hardly be able to cope. Previously, the werewolf was at level 28, but with the help of Hungry Blood, it became a level 38 mad werewolf. Kang Hyun-moo said that the level had risen by 10 points. Previously, he would have run away as soon as he noticed his level, but the difference in difficulty was too great, and he was no match for those who lived in hell. So now it was time to play. Kang Hyun-mo also used the dart and turned into a real monster. At the same time, the absorption of his own kind was activated. There was also a slight increase in stats, and he temporarily gained the ability to consume blood. The thirst lasts for the entire duration of the effect. The branch manager was afraid that this boy would meet his end. The werewolf lunged at Kang Hyun-moo, who repelled his attack. And then he said, "Has his mind been clouded, and has he forgotten that someone just almost destroyed him?" The werewolf roared, and Kang Hyun-moo said that he also had a wild temper. After that, he struck him. But then he noticed that the werewolf was trying to attack him. All the other werewolves surrounded him on all sides. Kang Hyun-moo said that he liked their cooperation. Unlike those rats, they could even entertain him. The branch manager thought that joining the battle now would be tantamount to sending himself to his death, so he decided that he had to get out of there as quickly as possible. He considered himself pathetic because this guy was risking his life to fulfill their duty, and they couldn't even take a step out of fear. Therefore, they cannot be called hunters at all. Kang Hyun-moo said that even though they had become stronger, he was still disappointed. So he asked them to try harder than his brilliant debut. Then he noticed someone attacking the werewolf. The branch manager knocked the werewolf off his feet and asked Kang Hyun-mo if he was okay. Then he noticed his animalistic gaze. Kang Hyun-moo doesn't understand what he's doing because he could die. Then he saw that the werewolf was about to attack him from behind. The branch manager didn't have time to understand what was happening and thought that he was attacking him. But Kang Hyun-moo struck the werewolf standing behind him. Then he jumped over him and grabbed the werewolf by the tongue. After that, he cut off its head. Kang Hyun-mo asked if it was their relative. Then an even bigger werewolf approached him. So he asked if he should scratch him behind the ear too, but then he saw the werewolf falling. The branch manager and his subordinates attacked him from behind. They managed to destroy him. Kang Hyun-mo approached them and asked what they were doing during the invasion. Then he said that reinforcements of rat people were arriving. Therefore, they needed to get to work. They agreed with him. The branch manager said that the boss had been captured. So now they had to get rid of the rat people and clear the front line, and then get down to business. Kang Hyun-mo looked up at the sky and thought that about an hour and a half had passed. During that time, he had made his debut. But the impact was a little weak. The branch manager approached him, apologized, and took off his cap. Then he said his name was So Tae-gyeon. He was the branch manager of the Alliance of the Almighty in Gangbuki. Kang Hyun-mo thought about what he had heard from the hunters, that the average level of the guys from there had dropped significantly, but they were still among the top 10 in the world. Kang Hyun-mo said that it had been dangerous, but now his life was not in danger. He shook his hand and thanked him, so Tae-gen didn't understand. After all, this guy had defeated a transformed werewolf with a single blow, but he still thanks them, so he thought he would test them. At that moment, journalists were broadcasting live. According to the journalist, it seemed that the situation had been resolved. Branch manager So Tae-gun shook hands with the hunter who had made the greatest contribution. After that, they began to ask Kang Hyun-moo which clan he belonged to, and if he knew that werewolves could change their appearance. They also asked him how he felt when he started fighting the crowd of monsters on his own. They asked him to say something. This was because the citizens were eager to learn everything, as they had been greatly frightened by the invasion. Kang Hyun-mo greeted them. He gave his name and said that although he was a novice hunter, he would do his best to protect all the citizens. Kang Hyun-moo thinks it went well. In the past, he was constantly moving from one shelter to another. The life of digging in the sewers for a grain of crystal moss is now behind him. So now everyone should watch very closely because this is just the beginning. The news only discussed the latest events. According to senior researcher Kim Eun-soo, the hunter's ability was analyzed and found to be a high-level skill similar to roaring. Such abnormal statuses only appear in the beastman race. However, it was not noticed that hunter Kang Hyun-moo used any skills. At the same time, the rat people died, and it seems that some new skill similar to madness is involved here. Han Seong-soo believes that there are more skills at work here. The professor of the Hunter Research Department believes that the hunter used a combination of 3 skills: body enhancement, speed increase, and power. But is it possible to have so many skills, and that is why terms such as double or multi-damage dealer appear? They say that skills are usually given at birth, but there is also a chance of obtaining them as a reward for clearing dungeons. Also, don't forget that you can get them when you are on the brink of death. In any case, the skill he has is high level. Presumably, his domination skill only works on monsters for a short time, and it is an absolute skill that hunters obtain upon reaching level 50, and only in rare cases. By taking control of their opponent at the beginning, they quickly achieve victory. Only Lee Jite and Otaeson have this absolute skill. Assuming that he becomes the third person, it can be assumed that their national influence is growing. Du Won-gen is confident that they are wrong. The problem is that he intimidates rat people with his mere presence, as has happened before in the dungeons. Only a monster can scare people with his presence alone. If you look closely, his blood is similar to that of monsters. Du Won-gen tried to chase away the bad thoughts. But if you think about it, the rat people seem to freeze and then just die. But there were no signs of the use of absolute skills. After that, her subordinate, Lee Shiven, knocked on her door. She pointed out that she had asked not to be disturbed and had even unplugged the phone. Lee Shiven said he couldn't argue with that. Won-gon asked if it was urgent and told him to get to the point. He asked if she would understand if he said it was about the Bravo Hotel. She said that he had come here and mentioned some hotel, but she hadn't heard any specifics. Lee Shi-won said that a call had come from the Blue House. She asked if it was the president, and he replied that it wasn't exactly. Then she picked up the phone and said she was very busy, then asked who she was talking to. The man greeted her and introduced himself as Secretary General Park Gyu, but she mispronounced his name and addressed him in a not very polite manner. Then she greeted him and said she was very happy to hear from him. Won-gun realized that they had started acting faster than expected. Park Gyu said that he had asked her several times to pay attention to the pronunciation of his name. She said that it didn't matter if she had gotten a few letters wrong. Moreover, she remembers that he is the Secretary General of the Blue House. Then she remarked that she had things to do and asked if it was urgent. And then she asked if the president had taken an interest in the gifted department. He said that it was more accurately a newcomer who had appeared in the news. She laughed and said she was speechless. A person who had never been interested in such things had suddenly changed his mind. Probably because he stopped the invasion and she asked if they wanted to take a picture and give him an award. So it's not him who suffers, but one of his subordinates. Park Gyu said that this was to be expected from her. She asked what tone he was using, and he said that it was better to postpone the foreplay because this was the Taesong clan. He had to contact her personally because she wouldn't answer the phone. Du Won-gun thought that the president wouldn't be interested in such a thing, but real estate was involved, so she asked what she should do, because she said they knew nothing about Kang Hyun-mo, and the rating calculation machine was not working. He told her not to joke around and pointed out that she was deliberately not announcing his rating. The talent management department probably wants to get this guy. After all, he is needed for their project. She was surprised that he knew everything himself and said that it was true, which is why they did not want to disclose the information. Park Gyu thought that she was still leaking information and said that they weren't going to announce it yet. They needed to find out the information first. And isn't she being criticized for such a long delay? They just need to find out everything before everyone else. So he asked her what she thought about it. Du Won-gun said she was ready to listen, and Park Gyu realized it was time to bait her and said that Tae-sung promised to donate 10 billion won. This will happen in the near future, and they will donate the money to a fund for hunters who have retired. Regardless of their previous statements, they were ready to double that amount. Du Won-gun knew that the big unknowns had cost 1 billion won. In a few weeks, the amount jumped 100-fold due to Tai-sung's involvement. She could be in danger if she decides to reject his offer. But in that case, she risks losing Kana Hyun-moo. Park Yu thought that she was quick to grasp things and waited for her to give in. In the end, she agreed and said that they would hand over the documents right away, but that they shouldn't be too surprised. He replied that they had already seen enough yesterday, so it was unlikely that anything could surprise them. Sometimes he had certain thoughts about the fact that such people breathe the same air as him, and it even makes him tremble. In his opinion, they should be under their control. Won Gyeon asked if that was his opinion of gifted people. Then she said that he had the documents and she was hanging up. Park Yu said that it was time to send the data to Tai-sung, but first they had to wait for the payment. Then he received a message that the promise had not been fulfilled, and they were terminating the contract. He realized that there was a problem and decided to turn on the news immediately. On the news, he saw that the gifted management department had just published the results of the rank evaluation. Park Yu couldn't believe that she had revealed everything. The management department shared the results of the test taken by Hunter Kang Hyun-moo, whose name is now on everyone's lips. Yuman said that the world was going crazy and that his rating was 5 stars. The news reported that it was unknown whether the 5-star rating was accurate. Previously, there were no errors in the assessment. Ratings were often raised, and no one in the world had ever received more than 3 stars on their first test. It's not just about raising the rating. As we know, each rating has a corresponding level. 1 star is the 20th level. After each new level, the limit increases by 10. Theoretically, 5 stars correspond to the 60th level, but the difference of 10 levels is very large. It turns out that Kang Hyun-moo is the strongest among Lee Ji-tae, Park Do-ren, and Oh Dae-sun. Although the limit is not important, skills also play a significant role. The higher the level, the rarer the skills. In addition, it is said that at the 50th level, an absolute skill may appear. And at the 60th level, there is a chance of other advantages appearing. But since his level has not even been confirmed yet, it is not worth rushing to conclusions. Lee Ji-tae greatly surpasses him in terms of his achievements. But then where is Kang Hyun-moo? As far as they know, he took the assessment test just a few months ago. This is a record at the national and international level. Kang Hyun-moo said that they play well. Yuman noticed that the calls were not stopping. And not just from hunters. They want to see him for interviews and commercials, and there are also several letters from game developers. Kang Hyun-moo believes that when you become famous, people will even pay for your waist, and then told Yuman not to worry so much. He asked how their stocks were doing after the invasion. Yuman replied that the price was still falling because the recovery process would take a long time. Kang Hyun-moo said he thinks they have about 30% of the net profit in their hands. Yuman asked what they would do. He said that if they were currently in a winning position, they should buy all of the Taeseon clan's shares. She said that although the price had fallen, there was a solution. They would be able to prevent losses thanks to the plan to conquer the north. Kang Hyun-moo said that everything was correct, and he was sure that they would not have to wait. Because Lee Ji-tae was just as he thought. After that, Park Hee-soo decided to visit Kang Hyun-moo. Kang Hyun-moo said that he had come such a long way to end up in this miserable place and asked if he wanted to come in. Park Hee-soo refused and suggested they take a walk. Kang Hyun-moo told him to follow him. Park Hee-soo decided to tell him about the businessman. He had created a charitable organization for hunters using his own resources. He had gained extensive experience working abroad. After that, he moved to Korea, starting from the bottom and learning the realities of the underground industry. Park Hee-soo asked what he thought of his assessment, and Kang Hyun-moo replied that it was all thanks to him, especially for creating a good disguise. He replied that he was glad to hear that, but he meant something else. After that, he tried to attack him. Kang Hyun-moo asked what that meant. His stats had increased as a result of being the strongest in hell. He saw that Park Hee-soo was at level 40. Park Hee-soo asked if the invasion was his doing. Kang Hyun-moo replied that the answer seemed obvious. Therefore, he asked him what he would do if a disaster occurred. Kang Hyun-moo said that he does not take on what he cannot handle. Moreover, he had only used a fraction of his power. The invasion was stopped without a single casualty. Park Hee-soo said that he not only controlled the monsters, but also caused the gate to break. So, what was his goal? Is this how he raises his price? Park Hee-soo asked what he wanted. Perhaps honor and glory. Kang Hyun-moo grabbed his weapon and struck him. Then he said that it sounded good. Park Hee-soo told him to calm down and then remarked that he had a pretty good sword. Kang Hyun-moo thought about how he had heard that a cane sword breaks easily. However, it was able to withstand the blow of gluttony, which meant that it was considered an artifact. But Kang Hyun-moo said that it didn't matter. It doesn't matter how powerful a weapon is if it is in the hands of an unskilled person. After that, they continued the battle. Park Hee-soo noted that he had become stronger since their last meeting, and that it was truly impressive. Either way, he must win now. Kang Hyun-moo asked what he wanted and explained that the invasion of the hold underground would have happened anyway. Instead of simply forgetting about it, he adjusted the timing and dealt with it earlier. Park Hee-soo asked what that meant. He then noted that he had not even thought about the possible casualties that could have resulted from the invasion. Kang Hyun-moo said that it was because he had made sure there was no risk. Moreover, it had to be prevented. Park Hee-soo said he would rephrase the question and noted that if Cheol-do hadn't been so preoccupied with public attention, would he have dealt with him? Kang Hyun-moo thought that either he was imagining things or the old man was really very conscientious, and then remarked that negotiations with him were futile. Moreover, it was not his place to teach him, so let him try his best and give it his all. Besides, he had attacked him. Park Hee-seo said that in that case he should apologize first because he did not want to use his gift. He decided to take advantage of Urhast's trust. This ring doubles the wearer's senses when used. Then Park Hee-seo blocked his attack, and Kang Hyun-moo thought that was too much and became even more angry with him. Park Hee-seo attacked him by surprise, but he repelled the attack. Still, he noticed that he had become very fast. Kang Hyun-moo decided to attack him by surprise, and Park Hee-seo asked if he thought he could just come up behind him. Kang Hyun-moo struck him anyway and said that if he had seen his abilities, he should have realized how much stronger he was in a real fight. Kang Hyun-moo used the mosquitoes that had bitten him. Park Hee-seo realized that he had secretly poisoned him with what appeared to be a very dangerous poison. Because of this, he felt very ill. Kang Hyun-moo kicked him and said that he should cool down. Park Hee-seo's guards noticed that he was injured and rushed to his aid. Kang Hyun-moo called out to Kurson, who immediately came out of the bushes with the other goblins and rushed into the attack. After that, the goblins quickly dealt with them. Kang Hyun-moo told Park Hee-seo that he thought they trusted each other, so he was sorry that things had turned out that way. After that, he hid his gauntlet and showed him Elhart's obedience. He allowed them to track the location of the man who possessed Urhast's faith and temporarily reduce his stats by 50%. Park Hee-seo thought that he had made the right observation. Still, he had underestimated him. Kang Hyun-moo apologized and said that he had already made his decision. And then he pointed his weapon at him. Park Hee-seo thought he had made a mistake that would cost him his life. Kang Hyun-moo still did what he had planned with his sword and drew his blood. After that, Park Hee-seo moved. Kursong asked what to do with them and inquired if they could be killed. Kang Hyun-moo said that there was no need to kill them and that they could return. He would stay for a while longer because he still had something to say. Then he told the old man to stop pretending and get up. After that, Park Hee-seo rose. Kang Hyun-moo said that the poison he had been injected with had a special ability. It was toxic to enemies but beneficial to allies, and only he decides what effect the poison will have. Park Hee-seo said that it was really impressive. Then he asked why he had spared him after all. Kang Hyun-moo said that he did not think he wanted to destroy him, because in that case he would hardly have come out into the open. Park Hee-seo said that anyone could consider him a veteran. Kang Hyun-moo recalled the events in Hell and thought that was true. Park Hee-seo said that he was quite kind-hearted, even despite his outward cruelty and arrogance. But he was worried that he might not have enough experience to make the right decision. Kang Hyun-moo said that he couldn't know if he was right or not, but he could say for sure that he wasn't a monster. At least he was trying not to be one. He asked if he would have dealt with Chol-do if this place had not attracted so much public attention. If there had been any sign of an invasion, he would have stopped it. Kang Hyun-moo said that he did not want to be known among the people as a monster, but he was moved by Park Hee-seo's sense of justice. Before that, he considered him a pathetic criminal authority. Park Hee-seo said that he was partly right, but he had his own principles in philanthropy. Only altruism will save humanity and civilization from inevitable collapse. That is why the provocation of the invasion drove him out of his mind. Kang Hyun-moo said that he loved people, but then noted that he preferred only two types of people: good comrades and stupid enemies. He is not interested in useless allies, but intelligent enemies who are capable of competing and simply annoy him. And there is no point in mentioning the others. Park Hee-seo said that the greater the power, the greater the responsibility. Kang Hyun-moo asked who cares about responsibility. Most people do not feel it, but he felt something similar. But how indifferent are the strongest in this world to the weak? Park Hee-seo asked what about him. And wasn't he the same? Kang Hyun-moo said that he still had a lot to learn. At first, he wanted to buy a nice house, to finally live a luxurious life. But then he wondered if that would really make him happy. And when he became so famous and powerful, would it be enough for him to just be a celebrity? Maybe instead of reaching for the stars, you have to become a star yourself. Park Hae-soo is interested in how far this guy can see. Kang Hyun-moo said that he tried to stand in his way, but he will forgive this mistake for one reason. No matter how hard he tries, he doesn't even have a chance of destroying him, especially since he said it earlier in the gym. And now let him swear allegiance while his words still have some meaning. Otherwise, next time he will fall to his knees and wash his shoes. The Red Butterfly was on a mission with her team. The Red Lotus warned her of the danger. An orc tried to attack her, but she dodged the attack and realized that it was the boss. The commander reported that the orc leader had appeared. He told everyone to step back and regroup, but Red Butterfly decided to act on her own. The commander told her to stop because even she was not strong enough to defeat such an enemy. But then he saw that the members of her team had also joined her. They rushed to her aid to deal with the monster. Working together as a team, they were able to defeat the orc. Each of them used their own skills. In the end, they defeated the boss, but the commander noticed that the Red Butterfly had ignored the order of the operation commander. He asked if she really wanted to be disciplined for disobeying orders. The other team members approached her, and the Red Lotus asked if something was wrong. The Red Snake told him to repeat himself. The commander of the operation did not know what to say and was very frightened, but the Red Butterfly apologized. She agreed that she had disobeyed the commander's orders and that her actions could have endangered her comrades, so she sincerely apologized for her behavior and was ready to accept any punishment. The commander said that there was no need for that. She apologized because there was no need to make a big deal out of it, and besides, her comrades had covered for her, so he suggested that they drop the subject. He also apologized for his rudeness and said it was his mistake. He lost control of the situation and got angry. But it was an honor for him to see the Red Butterfly defeat the boss. With her help, there were no casualties. And she is a wonderful fighter. Red Butterfly still feels uneasy and is afraid to even think that the mission will fail and the team members will suffer. The commander shook her hand and then said it was time to get ready and go, wondering if he had been too harsh. They left the dungeon where Lee Jite was waiting for them. He congratulated Red Butterfly on reaching level 21. The Red Butterfly replied that it was all thanks to the support of the team and the Tisan clan. Lee Jite said he was proud of her, but they needed to talk without her team present, so he asked if she minded. The Red Butterfly agreed. Lee Jite noticed that she looked bad and asked if something had happened. She replied that she had made a mistake in the dungeon. She ignored the commander's order. Lee Jite said that they completed the mission without casualties, so everything was fine and she shouldn't worry. Then he thought that maybe she was worried about Kana Hyunmoo and didn't want to waste a second. For the sake of the test, she puts herself and others in danger, and surely that is not her only goal. The Red Butterfly asked him why he had come. Lee Jaihae said that she was on a mission, so she hadn't heard the latest news, and they only found out after returning from Switzerland. So he offered to show her something and showed her a video of the invasion. She was very surprised that it had happened so unexpectedly. But then she saw the same guy in the video. She asked if it was Kang Hyunmoo. Lee Jite said that was correct. It was the hunter Kang Hyunmoo. He was trying to find out as much as he could about him, but there wasn't much information available, and even the slightest clue would be helpful at this point. And he remembers the only person who fought him, and for 30 minutes at that. So he asked her what she thought about it. Is it possible that he was hiding his skills or letting her win? Red Butterfly said she had a similar feeling. Judging by his strength, she felt that he wasn't competing seriously. Lee Jite asked what she meant. He wasn't using his abilities. She said that she obviously had an advantage in terms of physical skills, but at some point she began to hallucinate and found herself exposed. Lee Jite was surprised by her words. Why, with such a skill, did he not use it? It seemed as if he was deliberately limiting himself. Lee Jite showed her another moment in the video and said that it was strange. The overall picture was terrifying, and he had the advantage in physical strength. In the video, Kang Hyunmoo destroyed several werewolves with one blow. Lee Jite told the Red Butterfly that their thoughts were now similar. They saw something supernatural. The Red Butterfly doesn't understand how and when Kang Hyunmoo was able to grow so fast, and she wondered what she had been doing all this time. Lee Jite said that she had tremendous growth and potential. Moreover, she was not a beginner and was a truly excellent fighter. A few years ago, she could even have had an advantage over him. That's why he wants to ask for advice on such an unusual situation. It seems that she is the only one who understands the full extent of it. Red Butterfly said she didn't know anything herself, so she apologized. Lee Jite said he heard she was going to wipe out cold. The Tisan clan is organizing an expedition to prevent the invasion. He will try to gather as much information as possible about this dungeon. Therefore, they need to focus on the forces they have and stabilize them in order to be ready to conquer Paektu next year. The Red Butterfly has only recently reached level 20 and is too inexperienced in dungeons, especially high-level ones. Therefore, Lee Jite believes that the current state of the Cold Gate is too difficult for her, but he and the Tisan clan believe in the Red Butterfly. In this regard, they would like to see her on their raid and offer to go to the dungeon together. The Red Butterfly returned to the team and thanked them for waiting for her. The Red Lotus asked if she had heard that there had been an invasion in Seoul. But the Red Snake asked Rina to wait and asked how her conversation with Lee Jite had gone. She said that as far as they knew, the breach in the gate had been blocked. Lee Jite said that he was forming an expedition team to stabilize the dungeon in Cheoldu. A girl from the team said that the invasion had been stopped by that boy. Rina became angry and asked if it was really him. The Red Butterfly confirmed her words. Red Snake asked how this was even possible, saying that he had found him strange even back then. Then he asked if Lee Jite had asked her to join the expedition. She replied that they needed more experience, so she agreed. All the members of her team said it was great news. The Red Butterfly thanked them all, and Rina said there was no need to thank them, because they were not strangers. The Red Butterfly thought that no matter how high Kang Hyunmoo climbed, she would continue climbing without stopping, and would definitely surpass him. Lee Jite wondered where he got such pure crystal moss. In his opinion, Kang Hyunmoo was like a mysterious monster. After that, he received a phone call informing him that the preparations for tomorrow were complete. Lee Jite said that they had done a good job. Then he wondered if he would be able to get everything for himself, which he was eagerly awaiting. A press conference began, attended by Lee Jite. He introduced himself, gave his name, and said that he was the leader of the Tisan clan. Last week, a tragic event occurred at the Cold Mountain Shrine. As a hunter who protects the people from monsters, he took this as a wake-up call. This could jeopardize people's safety, but despite the trials, fate has miraculously given them a 5-star hunter. At the same time, this incident became an opportunity to rethink the responsibilities of the Tisan clan. The invasion could have led to disaster. If it weren't for the heroism of Mr. Kang Hyunmoo, the world had never seen anything like this before, neither such a dungeon nor a 5-star rank. Despite the fact that not much time had passed since the opening of the first gate, they were able to get quite far. This was because the path chosen by the clan was traveled together with them, not alone. It was only thanks to people capable of consolidation. Human thought that they would offer cooperation. Lee Jite said that the clan, although late, was going to completely clean up Cheoldu. Taking full social responsibility, the armed forces of the Republic and concerned hunters are defending the territory where the invasion began. However, the crisis is not over yet, and for the safety and peace of the citizens of South Korea, their clan, the Tisong, will fulfill their duty to the end by organizing an expedition. and there will be no fundraising. Park Hee-seo believes that the responsibility for the poor organization in the early days lies with the alliance of the powerful. But if Taesun justifies them and takes it upon himself to solve the problem by taking command of the raid, he will monopolize all the items and the remains of the monsters. This is a win-win option, and in Lee Jait's style. Lee Jite said that this is the highest power of humanity, and he wants to present the one who will be at the forefront. Lee Ji-tae thought that Kang Hyun-moo had already proven himself strong enough. Therefore, it would be the right decision. Kang Hyun-moo thought that Lee Ji-tae would not be able to understand his power or where it came from. At the moment, he had no choice. Besides, how could he use his crystal moss to raise his rank? Lee Ji felt a little nervous before the announcement. Kang Hyun-moo believed that Lee Ji-tae could now only get rid of his pride and desire to obtain what Kang Hyun-moo had achieved through hell. At the end of the press conference, Lee Ji said that he represents Mr. Kang Hyun-moo. No Na-il, observing the large number of people in the establishment, realized that something important was happening. Then she saw that the man she was rooting for lost the battle to another athlete and wondered if he would ever win. Kang Hyun-moo approached her and asked if she was No Na-il. She replied that she was, and he said he was pleased to meet her. She said that when she met him in the basement of Cheonggae, the atmosphere was completely different, and he had changed. He replied that his girlfriend had chosen his outfit for the day and that she was much better at such things than he was. Using a combat assistant allowed him to master the skills of etiquette perfectly. But if he had come here as a beggar, he still would not have been ignored. But he needed manners and decency worthy of fame. So he said that perhaps he should have dressed more comfortably like her. But Nail said that at first the hunters' meeting was not so formal and quite noisy because there were so many young people here. Now there are many hunters who retire before the age of 30, and this is to the liking of the pretentious Lee Jite. Kang Hyun-moo remarked that he couldn't see him anywhere. Then he asked her if she knew when the meeting would start. No, Nail said that he was talking to a group of foreign hunters. She heard that they had a lot of experience in dealing with invasions, and as soon as they finished their discussion, everything would begin. Kang Hyun-moo said that if she was already there, he could assume that the great unknowns were also participating in the expedition. She said no. They decided to ignore the raid being carried out by the Taesan clan, and she came to inform him of their refusal. He probably knows what kind of relationship they have. Kang Han-mo said that he remembered that they had worked together at the Crazy Tiger and then split up. But Na-il said that the name came from a bar, where hunters used to gather every day. Lee Jite took their core from there, but the big unknowns decided to stay behind as backup. It is a necessary role, even if it goes unnoticed, but Park Do-yoon doesn't want to see Lee Ji, so she came instead. Kang Hyun-moo realizes that the circumstances are not bad. If the Mad Tiger were to be reborn, it would be the strongest organization in the country. Then he wondered if he could take over both clans. And then he noticed that the meeting must have ended. He noticed the people Lee Ji-hae was talking to. One of them seemed strange to him. He was dressed as a priest. Therefore, Kang Hyun-moo thought that perhaps the pastor had experience with the invasion. After that, Lee Jite began his speech and thanked everyone for joining them today. To begin with, he decided to introduce the leadership. These people would lead the expedition into the cold underground. The head of the Kangbuk branch, So Tae-geun, would be responsible for preparing the alliance of the Almighty during the raid. And also the captain of the Obsidian team and the representative of the Taesan clan, Kang Hu. He didn't want to say anything, but he would take charge of the joint command. But Nail didn't like that he excluded them without even hearing their answers, and on top of that, he will lead the expedition himself. So she drank some champagne for courage and then said it was just fine. Moreover, the Great Unknowns came to say that they had no intention of participating in the expedition, so she wished everyone a good time and left. Kang Hyun-moo realized that the clan would not be restored. Lee Jite asked permission to introduce an important person, Johann Hesner, a priest from Germany, to everyone. He was one of those who took a risk and stabilized the invasion in the Syrian underground. They invited him to participate. He would play a role in their expedition as an advisor. Kang Hyun-moo was surprised when he heard his name and remembered the words of Kavo, who had mentioned him. Kawaro said that after Johann and Maria Kelly, he thought humanity had gone out like a candle. He also read about him in the notes he found near the skeleton. This is the same Johann who allowed humanity to exist until the very last moment, but he took his own life. Since then, the days of everyone else, including the skeleton from the gym, have been numbered. But still, Kang Hyun-moo doesn't understand something. How can a priest take his own life? Especially since it is a sin that cannot be forgiven by God. But if not, it means that he is undoubtedly connected to surviving the future hell with the help of Admiral Ren's monocle. Lee Jite said that the key to the expedition is here with the priest Johann. Because as a level 50 healer, he possesses healing abilities. He also has defense and the advanced skill of compassion. Kang Hyun-moo was surprised that he had 3 skills, just like a triple summoner. But at the same time, immobilizing such a huge workforce is pretty cool. So Lee Jite did a great job. The deputy head of the clan, Tai Seong Tai Min-soo, approached Kang Hyun-moo and thanked him for his visit. Everyone present immediately turned their attention to him. They think that Kang Hyun-moo looks much better than in the invasion footage, and that this suit suits him so well that he is unrecognizable. Tae Min-soo apologized for distracting him, but some people wanted to meet him, so he asked if he could follow him. Kang Hyun-moo agreed and thought about how long he had to wait to meet Lee Ji-tae. Tae Min-soo escorted Kang Hyun-moo and his guards to the head of the Taesan clan, Lee Ji-tae. They arrived at a luxurious house, and Kang Hyun-moo looked around. Lee Ji-tae turned to him and said that he was here. After that, Kang Hyun-moo went up to him, and Lee Ji-tae treated him to some refreshments and said he hoped he would enjoy them. Lee Ji-tae asked if he could ask where he had trained and what organization he belonged to. Kang Hyun-mo replied that, of course he could. He added that he had trained on his own. Lee Ji-tae said that he could say that to him, but that he should come up with a more plausible excuse for the authorities. When uncontrollable things continue to happen, the authorities react very nervously. Kang Hyun-mo said he was considering buying a wheelchair. Lee Ji-tae said it would hardly help him. Then Lee Ji-tae asked which star's whisper he had heard. Kang Hyun-mo pretended not to understand and laughed. Lee Ji asked what his level was. Kang Hyun-mo thought he had shown enough during the invasion, but if he wanted more, he should start with him. He saw that Lee Ji was at level 57. The effect of the title Strongest in Hell increases stats compared to the current level. Kang Hyun-mo was angry that he said he had 4 stars. Lee Ji took him by the hand and asked him not to be nervous. Because he didn't call him to fight, Kang Hyun-mo was surprised that he didn't even notice his movement. Lee Ji took his hand away and apologized to him, thinking that he had missed such a simple move, so perhaps he had overestimated him. Then he said that he had been so unexpectedly alarmed, but he just wanted to make sure that everything was okay. A man with strength like his should probably be more vigilant. Kang Hyun-mo asked how old he thought he was. Lee Ji-tae replied that, to be honest, he looked a little older than 30. Kang Hyun-mo thought that fortunately he was wrong. Then Lee Ji asked if he really had 5 stars. Kang Hyun-mo remarked that he wanted to ask him the same question. Lee Ji-tae was surprised and then said that he must have misunderstood him. He meant something slightly different. He wanted to know if he really had a rank higher than 5 stars. His aura was slightly different from that of other gifted hunters. Kang Hyun-mo thought that there were definitely other 5-star hunters. Lee Ji-tae said that he felt that something was beyond his understanding. Then he asked if he had 6 stars or even 7, and how high his level might be. Still, he was sure that he had already surpassed the level of current humanity. Kang Hyun-mo said that he was not that powerful. Then he felt a sense of foreboding. Lee Ji said that he was indeed strong, but he meant something else. He doesn't know, and it may sound a little strange, but he is interested in whether he knows about Arthur C. Clarke's novel, Childhood's End. According to the plot, a creature called the Overlord appears. The race of this creature is far ahead of human civilization and science. People saw them as demons and were afraid of them, but in the end, humanity turned to them for help, and the entire race reached a new level. The author compared the process of becoming something new that goes beyond the limits of humanity to childhood. He does not know if this story is widely known today, but when he read it for the first time, he was thrilled. In the novel, the ruler maintains the level of development until he leads humanity beyond its limits. But when many of his subordinates said goodbye to their starting point and turned into transcendent beings, the ruler could not end childhood. He thought long and hard and realized that leaders and the awakened are identical to each other. There were countless teachers who taught Buddha until he attained nirvana. As soon as he saw him, he immediately sensed the smell of evil and fear, as well as the self-confidence characteristic of those who can predict the future. Kang Hyun-mo thought about the complexity of it all, but he was still curious about what he knew about hell. Lee Ji said that he smelled like him and his kind. To a certain extent, the future is also subject to him. The invasion of the cold underground is only the beginning. The increase in the overall complexity of the underground was predicted by scientists. This was known even earlier, and soon there would be radical changes and an unforeseen future would dawn. Lee Ji decided to get to the point and asked if he thought they could work together as friends who support each other in difficult times. He does not know how deep the malice hidden behind his face is, and if darkness truly reigns within him, he suggests using it for good. Kang Hyun-mo asked him to answer one question, and then their conversation ended. The guards escorted him to the exit, and he wondered if he had gone too far. In 1967, Kang Hyun-mo asked him if he shouted out the name or magic spell when he used his skill. Lee Ji-tae was surprised by this question. He said that he had never done such a thing since he turned 20. After that, Lee Ji said that he understood everything and thanked him for the conversation. Then he noted that he needed to organize something in the banquet hall, so he would leave first. His subordinates would escort him, so he had to take his leave. Kang Hyun-mo thought that he was just mocking him by mentioning the leaders and the awakened ones. Kang Hyun-mo remembered the words that they could work together as comrades who support each other in difficult times. He says that when someone is so confident in their success, they are itching to ruin everything. Besides, Lee Ji is one of the best in the world, but he will catch up with him in a short time. Kang Hyun-mo returned to Hell, where he fought a giant rat with level 21 spores and said that it had a very disgusting voice. Then he asked if he really wanted to be in his hands so badly. After that, he struck him and destroyed him instantly. He said that he had no choice but to deal with him. If he inhaled the giant rat's spores, he would become a parasite, and he would remain in the sewers for the rest of his life. Kang Hyun-mo took out a dagger and said that it was good that he didn't let the glutton devour him. In this form, the Black Hand dagger is much more convenient. It is ideal for concealed carry and unexpected strikes. It also slightly increases the speed of its owner. This dagger is intended for blind and deaf assassins who are fanatics of the Black Church. Many died from the appearance of the blade as if by magic. The assassins were mostly members of the same sect with whom they had personal scores to settle. Kang Hyun-mo said that this dagger was created for such work. The system reported that it was known that the dagger had never killed anyone particularly noteworthy. After obtaining the necessary items and substances, Kang Hyun-mo came to the goblin's lair and called out to Kurson. Kurson welcomed him back and offered him something to look at, then opened his inventory. A bunch of different items fell out of it. Kang Hyun-mo asked the goblins why they looked so sour and if they were dissatisfied with something. They had very little time, so they had to hurry if they wanted to finish by tomorrow. So the goblins immediately rushed to pick up all the items. Some of them were still dissatisfied, but when the goblin looked at Kang Hyun-moo's face, he immediately ran off to do his work. Kang Hyun-moo asked Kurson if they had spit in his potion. Kurson replied that they would not have done that because they had decided to follow him themselves. Therefore, they were most likely grateful to him for not destroying them. Kang Hyun-moo thought about his words and then remembered something. He took out the spore he had managed to get from the giant rat and showed it to Kurson, who asked him why he needed such a dangerous thing. Kang Hyun-moo said that he had finally figured out the giant rat. Then he asked if eating the spore in its current form would turn him into a parasite. Kurson said that was correct, so he asked if it was possible to add the reversal effect to the poisonous blood. Kurson asked if he was joking, especially since he had already added the characteristic of hungry blood. Kang Hyun-moo asked if he had a reason to stop. And if he suddenly goes crazy, then he should just deal with him and that's it. Kurson told his boss that he trusted him and relied on him for everything, but he asked him not to overdo it. To be honest, he had been acting very strangely lately. Even if he has the ability to constantly revive himself, the desire to deliberately die is insane. After all, one must realize the value of life. A person who treats his life lightly treats others the same way. Kang Hyun-moo pondered his words. In some ways, Kurson is right. He climbed the mountain and noticed someone's presence nearby. And then he said that new goals had appeared at just the right time. After that, he climbed onto the building and threw a hellish dart at one of them. Another rat lost control due to the smell and attacked him. Kang Hyun-moo watched this from above. Then he said that this was a familiar scene to him, and then he snapped his fingers and all the other rats died. Kang Hyun-moo was delighted that it worked, and then noticed a notification on the screen that there were 87 hours and 34 minutes left until the next quest. He jumped off the roof thinking that the next mission in hell would only be in 3 days. If he didn't clear the cold dungeon within 24 hours, he would be dragged back there during the raid. There was nothing he could do about it, so he had to come up with a reason to disappear from there during the battle. Meanwhile, the news emphasized that no monsters were visible in the vicinity of the whole dungeon. It was as if there was a lull before the storm. The first South Korean raid into the invasion zone promises to be the most powerful in the country's history and the largest of all. From all those who were in Tisan and the Alliance of the Almighty who have united today, this expedition consists of hunters of level 30 and above. The team is joined by the hero of the recent invasion, Kang Hyun-moo, whose level is currently unknown, as well as the priest Johann Hesner. His abilities have gained international recognition, so everyone is eagerly awaiting the start of this unique raid. Lee Jite himself is leading the entire operation. Viewers began to comment on why Lee Jite, with his 5 stars, would even go into the dungeon. Lee Jite said it was time to go in, but a subordinate ran up to him to report an emergency. He said that an invasion had begun in the Cheongcheongbuk-do area. All expedition members received notification that the gates of Legoland had been breached. Kang Hyun-moo does not understand why this happened now, because according to the records, it should have happened next year. The records said that it would happen 10 days after the invasion in Gyeongju, so he thought that there might be an unknown connection between the dungeons. Perhaps he shouldn't have touched that first domino, but nothing can be changed now. Now we need to postpone the expedition and stop the invasion where it started. Lee Jite reported that there were 2 stars in Legoland and that if things got worse in the cold dungeon in the meantime, it would be disastrous. The team members began to argue among themselves. Another asked if he thought everything would be fine with the other dungeons that were changing. Even if only one gate is sending danger signals, reinforcements must be sent there. People have already begun evacuating deeper into the country. Although there are no signs of danger in the Hala dungeon, they must show that the state can effectively prevent natural disasters. So, Taegan reported that Commander Odasan had learned about the situation on Jeju Island. He said he would stay there to prevent panic. A subordinate reports that a message has been received from the Great Unknown. Fortunately, Ho Yoon-gi's team is currently in Cheongcheong. They are defeating the monsters. In that case, they should not postpone the expedition to the cold underground as planned. Lee Jite told them all to leave and that he would go to Cheongcheong himself. This response surprised everyone. He said that they do not know the full situation there, but measures must be taken. He had previously encountered a werewolf of unknown rank in the hold dungeon, so he will leave the Obsidian team here. So let them continue the rest of the raid according to their plan. The branch chief can take charge of the operation. The head of the branch of the Alliance of the Almighty, So Taegan, has participated in dozens of raids and monitored the situation in the cold underground. So Taegan definitely has more experience than him. And if any problems arise, he can seek advice from Priest Johann. He has also faced many invasions in the dungeons, and besides, Mr. Kang Hyun-moo will be here. Lee Jite asked Kang Hyun-moo if he could ask him for a favor. The Red Butterfly wondered if everything would go as planned. If Lee Jite enters the battle, nothing bad will happen. But in that case, her reputation could be damaged if she does something wrong. Kang Hyun-moo said he would help as much as he could. Then he thought that he would have to try hard so that no one would die. Lee Ji-tae said that was great. Yuman's colleagues watched what was happening near the Koldu dungeon. The guy said they were going back to the entrance, but he couldn't see Lee Jite. They must have split up after all. One of the girls asked who was in charge now. Yuman received a message from Kang Hyun-moo. He wrote that he would return very soon. Yuman asked him to come back safe and sound. As soon as the team entered the dungeon, they immediately encountered a large number of rat people. Kang Hyun-moo watched the fierce battle and thought that even though he didn't believe in the Alliance of the Almighty, they were still professionals. The Red Butterfly also seemed to be doing well, and Johann was beyond words. In a few minutes, about 50 rat men were eliminated. One of the Alliance members noticed Kang Hyun-moo. He told him that he was here alone and not doing anything. Kang Hyun-mo explained that he was interested in the team's skills, which is why he was watching from the sidelines. The guy asked if he could show them his skills. He had only seen his competitions on TV and really wanted to see it live. Kang Hyun-mo approached him and asked if he really thought he should see it. After that, he approached the rat people and picked up a whistle that was lying near them. Then he said that there were special individuals among the rat people. They are called the 10 leaders, and they use similar whistles. This is necessary to call for help in case of danger. The boy replied that he had never heard of such a thing. Han Hyun-moo thought that of course he wouldn't know anything about it. After all, the evolution of monsters would only take place years later. After that, he blew the whistle anyway, which frightened everyone present. Then he told the boy to wait. He asked what had happened, and Kang Hyun-mo replied that reinforcements had arrived. The guy thought he was just crazy. So Taegun told everyone to prepare for battle, but Kang Hyun-moo told him not to worry. Then he suggested they rest a little, so Taegun asked what he meant, but Kang Hyun-moo did not answer. He just walked into the darkness toward his enemies. All the members of the alliance stood still and couldn't even move. They could only hear the sounds of battle and waited, but then suddenly it became very quiet. So Taegun decided to check what was going on. So he suggested that everyone go and check it out. Then he turned on his flashlight and started calling out to Mr. Kang Hyun-moo. He saw a pile of ratmen who had already been destroyed and asked Kang Hyun-mo if he was okay. So Taegun said that they shouldn't relax and should keep moving. So they started walking and saw even more destroyed ratmen. There was also a werewolf among them. Kang Hyun-mo asked them how they were and if they enjoyed the show. So what would they say to that? He asked the guy if he had shown enough of his skills. He replied that he had and apologized to him. Kang Hyun-moo said that everything was fine and that it was time to move on. He thought that Lee Ji-tae's absence was to his advantage. Such a spectacle would only instill fear in people, and if they were afraid, they would respect him. They moved on, and so Taegun said it was time to take a short break. Then he told Kang Hyun-mo that he had noticed something. It was as if he had prepared for battle with the monsters in advance before they even appeared. So he was curious to know if he really could sense their approach. Kang Hyun-mo said that of course he did. About 150 meters ahead, a group of shapeshifters and ratmen had set up an ambush, so they would probably attack as soon as they turned the corner. And about 60 ratmen were approaching them from behind, at a distance of about 200 meters. In his opinion, there would be no attack until they started moving, so he asked what they should do. So Taegun said that if no attack was expected, then everything was fine. Kang Hyun-mo asked what he thought about whether he would be able to find the right path. He replied that the structure of the dungeon had changed, and much more than expected. In the past, he had seen a certain pattern. He was able to find a clue that would lead him to the boss's room, but the structure is constantly changing, so it will be difficult to complete the expedition in a short period of time. Kang Hyun-mo asked how significant the changes were. He replied that the damage was much more serious than at the other gates. There are many dungeons that change. The same is true for Choldu. The bricks here are repeatedly destroyed and reassembled. Obsidian bricks form the structure. The scale is small, but it is better to remember the route clearly. So Taegun touched the wall and said that he had just felt something and wondered if it was an unexpected attack. Kang Hyun-mo replied that it was not and that it was just fear. So Taegun said that the dungeon was changing and that everyone should gather together. Then Kang Hyun-mo felt something and said that it was a huge horde resembling a tsunami. Waves of ratmen were approaching them. So Taegun told his men to find a way out. 2 of his men rushed forward. One of them fell into the abyss, but they managed to catch the other one. So Taegun realized that there was no way out, so they had no choice but to fight. Johan told everyone to set up a line of defense, so they immediately set up shields to protect themselves, but there were too many rat people. They were barely holding out against the attack. Johan did everything he could with his magic. This helped strengthen their defenses. Kang Hyun-mo said that they wouldn't be able to hold them off for long, so they needed to prepare. So Taegun told his subordinates that they had to hold out until the next structural change. So for now, everyone should help Johan's priest squad. After that, everyone rushed to their aid. Kang Hyun-mo noticed that Obsidian's team was also doing quite well, and he was really impressed. After all, there were some pretty strong fighters among them, so he thought that maybe he should have some fun too. The red butterfly thought about how they needed to break the rat people's advance, but still, the numbers were uneven. So Taegun also joined the battle and wondered if they would survive until the next structural change. The werewolf broke through the shields and threw many people straight into the abyss. One of the team members said that werewolves were approaching them, and to make matters worse, lycanthropes were coming too. So Taegun thought they would not be able to hold out, and at that moment a lycanthrope tried to attack him, but the red butterfly protected him. She told the branch manager that it was very close and that if they wanted to get out of there, they needed him. The red butterfly realizes that with her skills, fighting him one-on-one is too much, but she has to defeat him. So she decided to fight him in the air. She used So Taegun's help to rise higher. Red butterfly strikes him and throws him into the abyss, but as he falls, he grabs priest Johan with him. The other members of the team also fell with him, but Kang Hyun-moo came to their aid. He jumped into the abyss to catch them. Then he struck the werewolf and caught Johan. He then told him that if he died, he would be in trouble. So he grabbed him with his spider web and told him to go back up. And while doing so, to save as many people as possible, the red butterfly and the others caught the priest Johan. They helped him up and asked if he was okay. After that, the dungeon began to change and the abyss closed with a wall. The red butterfly couldn't believe it. She began to knock on it, trying to break through. So Tegan thought that it didn't matter how difficult the invasion had been. He didn't think that even one rat man had survived, and it seemed that everything had been resolved. But in the second battle, they lost more than half of the expedition. If the number of casualties increased, they would definitely not be able to escape. So he asked everyone to listen to him. He had no idea that the structural changes in the dungeon would turn out to be so radical. In addition, many of the raid participants are missing. He feels sorry for them, but they will probably have to go back. The red butterfly asked him to wait. Many of the hunters were still alive and somewhere deep in the dungeon, and she was sure of it. So Tegan said that the expedition was strong, but to be honest, it was almost impossible to survive, especially if they were left alone and faced a horde of rat people. Red Butterfly said that it was possible, but that Kang Hyun-moo was definitely alive, and if they found him, it would not be so difficult to clear and stabilize the dungeon. In that case, the expedition will be successful and the branch manager's responsibility will be reduced. The thing is, the invasion is dangerous, so Taigen believes she is right. Lee Ji-tae is currently missing, and Kang Hyun-moo has disappeared. If the raid ends in failure, the blame will fall entirely on him. But Kang Hyun-moo is surely alive, and if they find him, they will be able to complete the expedition. Then all losses will be considered a necessary sacrifice for success. The red butterfly turned to him again, and he said he understood. It was a momentary weakness, so they would not leave anyone behind, including Mr. Kang Hyun-moo. Therefore, he told all the expedition members to gather, because it was necessary to check and search the entire dungeon. Red Butterfly believed that he was right, but she had to check it right now. Namely, why Kang Hyun-moo was so much like that man. Kang Hyun-moo was transported to Hell and said that he was very timely. He was only concerned that the quest was not starting for some reason.